Wait a minute.
Yeah,
Hunter.
exactly.
You,
Right? Like, why not?
you have to add in the BIPOC as
Exactly.
well.
Can I
Why
ask
not add
Hunter?
that too?
Language is just
Well,
subjective,
let me-
right? So what's wrong with this?
There's nothing wrong with it from a standpoint that this is incorrect, but this is clumsy, not usually how language forms, which sort of makes it so because
defeats
this
the
is
purpose
this is
of
such
language, right?
yeah, it's just not how people would usually communicate, so
It's also
it
just
feels
poor
really
messaging overall.
clumsy and awkward, and it becomes a laughing stock because it's so clumsy and awkward. There's nothing objectively wrong about it,
Yeah.
but yeah.
As a black
It
man, I
violates the
agree.
categorical imperative for sure.
True.
And I'm using black.
That's my
in a-
opinion.
We've got a novel definition of black, by the way. Which
Oh, okay. That hasn't
to
been
be fair, hold
confirmed
on.
to the
But there
population.
wasn't.
does it have to?
Yes.
But there were no. From what I
Yes.
understood of
Yes, it does.
that
100% it does. Go ahead, sorry.
From what I
Brian.
understand, no, sorry, it's fine. I'm sorry. I just, from what I understood of, and again, I'm just hearing this from Hunter. I haven't heard or seen this, right? But from my understanding of like the acronym she used, like there's no novel definitions used. It's just that, yeah, like they're creating like basically like a marginalized supergroup. And I think their heart's in the right place, right? Like if they're talking about, hey, like there's not enough, discussion about these groups with maybe, I guess, in the Canadian Parliament or something, right? Like if she's saying along those lines, well, good. Like let's bring more attention to those people because, yeah, missing and murdered Indigenous women, yeah, that's a group that doesn't get nearly enough attention. Right?
Yeah, but that's it's probably not the way that you bring attention to it is just by adding it into an acronym.
No, I agree. I think that like this acronym is becoming too entirely like unwieldy, right? Like,
Do you support the
and
ebony
maybe-
alerts, Prime?
I don't know what that is.
In California.
Is that just for black girls or something?
Yeah. In California, if a black
It's like
person-
Amber.
There's like an Amber Alert if a child goes missing, and then if a black child goes
Oh.
missing, there's an Ebony Alert, and I'm not kidding about the name.
I've heard.
I
I
I've heard
believe you. But, like,
I can confirm that this is
is
correct.
there something different about it, or just like
Yeah, it's a separate.
Wow.
It's a separate alert, so like black people get their own alert.
Which is
Well,
what's the reasoning? Is there
I want to
any?
clarify, as in like the message is only sent to black people?
No.
Or...
No, it's about black girls. Only
So,
it's only
no.
for black girls.
Yes. So
Can't
like,
trust the
so
whiteys.
if a kid goes missing, they issue an Amber Alert. If like an older person goes missing, they issue like a Silver Alert to like all the different phones. Like, hey, this is a Silver Alert. There's an old person missing.
a Centrum
And-
Silver
and-
Alert.
Yeah, and then and then if a black person goes missing, they issue an Ebony Alert. So your phone would open up, and there'd be Ebony Alert right at the top of the screen.
Yeah.
Is there any explanation for why?
But there's
you
no
wanna do this?
meaningful difference
My-
between other than the labeling, just a word.
Right?
Yeah,
because you
the
could
se-
just
the
put the
separate
black
alert.
girls.
So
in
my
the Amber Alert.
understanding, and like I have only the slides of
reason.
understanding, so maybe what I'm about to say is complete bullshit. Okay, all right.
Mhm.
But like my understanding of the situation is that like the reason they did that is because that group like doesn't get the same amount of attention or like the number of
That was the
alerts
argument.
that, yeah, the argument, so
The
that
argument was that people
that-
saw I was a black person, didn't care as much, and so in order to combat that, they created the Ebony Alert so people would care.
How would
more.
that
Okay.
combat that?
See, that's a good question because I could just set it to Ebony Alert. I'm just going to ignore that.
Right. Like
But
that's
the term
the
is
thing
so
about,
provocative that I
That's the
kind of
thing
now.
about. Here's what I hate about really like the manipulation of language. Just speaking as like someone studying linguistics, I cannot fucking handle when people.
You're being
change-
indoctrinated. We learned that last week.
That is true. So take this with a grain of salt. I can't fucking handle when people just change language and then expect that that's changing how our brains function. It works the other way. It doesn't work in the reverse. You can't just you can't go call them unhoused people and you go shit. I was beating the shit out of him yesterday, but now that you say he's unhoused,
Wait a minute, but hold on, that's not
Pretty
the goal.
decent idea.
But that's not the goal.
What's
and
the
I
goal?
feel like you're being hyperbolic here, right?
I am obviously. But
okay,
what is the goal?
fair.
I don't know what a goal. I don't know how
Sure.
it's helpful at all.
Sure, right? And I'm not like to be clear, I'm not like I'm a huge like booster of like necessarily doing these
Of
things, right? Like,
liberal.
yeah.
weak- Yeah, go ahead. sorry.
no, exactly. Liberals do a lot of silly shit, so that is granted. But no, like that, like, but I think there's nothing wrong with refining language, right? Like, hey, people called them illegal aliens previously, right? And what's the point of changing it? Well, maybe it's because like we understand how this frames, right? Like it frames the conversation. An illegal alien. It puts assumptions on these individuals, right? Whether justified or not justified, right? It could have just been a technical term, or maybe sometimes these terms are created with malicious intent, right? Hold on,
Sure.
with
Go ahead.
malicious intent. We don't know, right? But in any case, we have these terms, right? And as a society, sometimes we stumble upon them. We think, hey, maybe this is kind of like a little bit messed up, right? Maybe there's a better way that we can describe this, either refining exactly what we're talking about, or just like using a different name that like maybe evokes different imagery that like maybe helps people empathize with these individuals more, right? I think there's nothing wrong with trying to do that. Now, again, I don't agree with every time it's done, right? And I don't think that, and I think, and I can even admit that maybe its utility is not as much as people say it is, right? Like, but still, that doesn't mean it's not a useful exercise in general, the concept.
Sure. I'm going to largely disagree with you,
Okay.
but we could see that coming. I'm gonna make a. I know you're being nuanced. I'm gonna be completely non-nuanced. It is wrong every time, and it is unhelpful every time. I really do mean it. The thing that I think really gets me is that when people say you're an illegal alien, they are not. Like the way that language usually functions is that they're just using a different definition of alien, and it's not like there's a sticking point of the first definition of alien that we tend to use being like transcribed into someone's brain. Like that's just like here I'll give an example.
Could you
I'll give an example. A lot of people there's this like famous experiment, okay, where you take French speakers and Spanish speakers. I'm probably gonna get the specifics wrong. I don't really care. Okay,
Nope, I get you.
They have a feminine name for bridge and they've got a masculine name for bridge. So this one says L and this one says whatever the French version of law is or whatever. Okay, the French people describe the average bridge and they'll go, oh, it's really strong, structured, like whatever form.
They use masculine terms.
They use masculine terms, and then the French or whatever. I actually probably mixed them up. Well, who cares? The French will go, oh, it's beautiful.
Not American.
Like,
who cares?
Yeah, they'll use like feminine terminology. The problem with this experiment is it's completely made up and has never been replicated ever. That's just really not how. If you ask any Spanish speaker, they're like, what do you mean the table is feminine? That's not how we see it at all. It's just a word that we put in front of the word. Yeah, sure, it's the same word we use for women, but that's not how we view tables. We don't view tables with vaginas for sure. It's like this idea that like you transplant.
You're just not creative enough.
That's a great point.
I don't understand like what point you're even making here. Okay,
I'm saying.
no. I'll tell you what I heard. Right.
Sure.
You said like, okay, hey, there is like like one of those fake like Instagram type of stories, right? That says like, oh, research paper says this, and this, right? And then you like do one Google search, like this complete bullshit, right? So like, but this is a common way people like it seems intuitive to individuals, right? Oh, this is how people think of language, right? And but it turns out that's not the case, right? It turns out that like the French and Spanish, like they don't think of it that way, and that's not surprising because like even though us as English speakers like learn it on the grounds of being like
feminine or
masculine and feminine words, right? Like that's not how the average speaker of those languages actually interacts with that, right? They're not thinking feminine the entire time, right? So granted, but that doesn't like have anything to do with what I was saying, right? So I'm saying that these specific terms, right? Like yes, they can have like implications as to how you frame things, right? And how like we interact with them. Like if we use the same word, and again, I'm just going to be hyperbolic here, right? Like if like we call black people garbage people, right? That's just the way it has always been, right? It just happens to be the case, right? That like those two words somehow ended up, lining up, right?
Yeah, a good example is if you want an example, the word for wife in Spanish is also the same word for handcuffs. That's a real 100% true.
Maybe they are a civilized culture after all. I don't know. I say open the border.
Yeah, they're Catholic.
Whether it's true or not,
machismo, like
I want
it's
to believe that.
we got a lot of pluses here. Here's
I've never had
what
a
I'm
big
saying
problem
though.
with the Mexicans.
Here's an even better example. Let's talk about the word oh shit, I always forget it. It's what's the removal of a uterus? What's that called? Like the surgery.
Hysterectomy?
Yeah, the word hysterical. Okay, the word
yeah.
hysterical comes from uterus because it essentially means to act like a woman. That's what hysterical means. Okay, so this is like a
Maybe
real life
English
example.
is the real culture.
Yeah,
actually,
yeah,
going
there we
back
go.
to what I was saying before.
But the thing is when I teach my kid when he's 2 years old, okay, my kid is 2 years old. I'm like, dude, you're being hysterical, okay? And then he's like, what does that mean? It just means, I'm like, you're just acting crazy. He didn't become more sexist in that moment when he learned that word, even though the history of that word does mean to act like a woman, because the usage has shifted. It doesn't actually translate to any real world activity by shifting language.
But hold on, but
Have you
illegal
tried calling a woman
aliens-
hysterical? It does not work out.
But I've
done it.
I've called
I've
them
done it many
crazy, and
times.
it's the exact same thing. I get the exact same
No, I
response.
call them crazy too. That one gets less ire than hysterical. Hysterical
That's valid.
specifically.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
It's a great word.
that shit's fantastic. But
He likes the sexist jokes, guys.
I do.
Let's keep them up.
I mean, jokes.
But illegal aliens are actually like being their bodies are being policed, right? Their bodies are
I
being,
agree. But that's the problem,
right?
not
And the
calling them
conversation is
aliens.
about like their legality, right? And then you frame the
Right.
conversation as illegal aliens. Well, it already frames it from the start that you're illegal. Like there's not much like maybe now we're like talking about what we do with these individuals, right? Like how badly we and brutally we police them, but we're going to police them because they're illegal aliens, in fact. And you talked about like undocumented immigrants. Well, they're immigrants. We have plenty of immigrants. And immigrants, there are all kinds of immigrants, and these immigrants just happen to not have their proper paperwork, right? That doesn't mean they're necessarily like they're doing something bad. It doesn't imply like breaking the law
So,
or anything, right?
Can I-
I'll
can I-
work
can I-
with you
the law.
a second. Okay,
Can I
go
give a
ahead.
quick response?
Lactoid can jump in. Yeah, sure.
So that's how you interpret it. How I would interpret it, and I think a lot of people interpret it, is that the illegal immigrant is referring to the action that's being taken. Like I would refer, like if somebody was driving without their license, I'd refer to them as an illegal driver.
People don't do
Same.
that though.
I do.
But people don't.
Wait, what?
But people
Yeah,
don't
for
do
sure
that.
we do.
No, we don't. We don't talk. We don't call them illegal drivers. No, if
Driving
I'm like
illegally.
if I'm speeding, right? I'm doing illegal driving, but we don't call me an illegal driver.
Fine.
Right?
You're actually probably
Like-
right. Yeah,
No,
that's
no,
actually true.
no,
That
so
sounds a little clunky.
With speeding, maybe not, but with somebody without a license, if they're driving without a license, like unauthorized driver, illegal
We call
driver,
them
driving illegally.
Driving illegally. Yes, we say that. But like,
Okay,
that's
so
not
is this like
an
a person of
illegal
color thing
driver.
where we just got to start calling them immigrants of illegal? Is that or immigrants? Immigration
if-
is
But you're
illegality?
treating
treating
annoys you, then
adjectives
yes,
like
Max,
they're
but you have
super
to do that,
static. They don't
actually.
need to be static. Like we use adjectives to be temporary placeholders all the time, right? Like it doesn't. When we say
Right.
illegal, that's not like a status that we're branding them with. Now, I will grant you something, Prime, which is that if someone calls someone an illegal alien or calls someone an undocumented immigrant, that's probably indicative of two things. The first is where they picked up that language, which is probably indicative of like the cultures that embedded in there. And the second is the framing of how they view Mexicans or illegal immigrants when they created that term. But what I'm saying is the solution can't just be to change the name. That does nothing. And to like all you're gonna get is that you just create a shibboleth.
The
go ahead.
solution isn't like part of the response is changing the name, but the solution are the policies, right?
No.
When we're talking about the policies, right? Like part of it, like when we're trying to like convince people is framing, right? Hey, we got a bunch of illegal aliens in this country, right? And we need to do something. It's different than we have a bunch of undocumented immigrants in this country. We need to do something. right?
I'm
Like
just,
those
I'm
are
just,
two
I'm
different
saying,
framings. Sorry, go
I'm saying my personal belief, and also I can point to a number of different studies where I'm sort of basing this off of, where it's like the linguistic universalism is kind of the theory that I'm kind of basing this in. But
Mhm.
largely speaking, one, you could distance yourself from the people you're trying to argue with because they see you as this weird, awkward outsider who doesn't use language like them. Or two, you're not gonna frame a conversation in any particular way. Like that, like just because you
What?
gave that name doesn't mean that they're treating immigrants any differently.
Hold on, I didn't say the hunt, but again, hunt. What did I just say? What did I just say? Right, like part of the response was change the name because that affects the framing. The second
No, but it
part
doesn't.
is
That's
the
what
policies.
No, wait, hold on,
All
hold
the
on.
policies.
I'm only arguing
It
with the
does-
first
it
part.
does-
The
it
second
does
part,
temper-
obviously.
No. But the part
Can I
that
say-
actually does matter because you're saying that nothing. You're saying nothing is being done by this, right? One, I think they're like in and of itself, the name change actually does do a thing, right? But we disagree on that. That's fine, right?
Right.
But that's not the be all and end all, right? All of that is in service of changing policy.
But I'm in favor of changing the policy. I'm pretty damn against ICE. I think we should largely abolish it rather than
Hold on,
some
why
key
should-
features.
And one other thing, and sorry, and I'm interrupting you. I do apologize.
Yeah, go
but
ahead.
Just like one thing quickly, right?
Mhm.
What is the big like so like I said previously, like I don't necessarily like love all these things, like and the one I'll use, right, like to build a bridge here, right, was the whole Latinx thing. That was like ridiculous. So I agree. And that was like kind of imposed, right, on like Black community.
That's
We're
my
like,
issue.
They're like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like we don't call
When you
ourselves this.
impose
And in
language-
fact, it literally doesn't even make sense in Spanish because like you wouldn't attach that within Spanish, so it
Totally.
makes no sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm with you here, right? However, right, what is the detriment of engaging in this? Let's say,
Yeah.
like you're correct, and that it doesn't actually do the thing, right?
Mhm.
But like we still like decide like to refine the language as we do all the time, even outside of like this
100%.
niche that we're discussing right now. Language is always being refined,
Right, but it
Why
usually
don't we
happens.
just
through-
do it here?
Well,
Sorry.
it usually happens naturally and through negotiation, but this is
What is
skipping that
naturally?
step. Through negotiation. So largely when you're
Okay.
speaking to someone, you're going to use a term slightly differently. They're going to use a term slightly differently, and you're going to meet in the middle. And the definitions are going to shift slowly through language as you do so. This is shortcutting that process, which I find, and most people will find, extremely awkward, imposed onto them. And to like, it's like, what the hell are you talking? I'm not going to use words like that. Like, don't,
But-
you know what I'm saying? Because you're skipping that
No,
negotiation.
I hear you, and I get what you're saying. But Hunter,
Mhm.
first of all, someone came up with the term illegal alien, right? Someone sat down.
It was
There
me.
was a day before that. Well, he was someone who certainly looked like Lactoid.
Mhm.
There was a day before that term existed, and then there was every other day afterwards, right?
Sure.
Really,
they
it's when the
simply
Chinese started
imposed-
coming in, unironically.
It might. That actually might be.
That
okay. I
literally
would
is the
believe
case.
you.
No idea. Maybe.
I believe you. I believe you. But like, yeah. So like, there was the time before, then there was the time afterwards, right?
Right, but that went
There's
through a
someone
process
that
of
made
negotiation.
Made that term. Yeah, there wasn't.
Mhm.
There wasn't really a negotiation time. Like it was simply
No, it
imposed.
100%
And-
was
And-
because
and-
there are
I'm
different.
sorry. Let me
Go
just
ahead.
finish my
Go ahead,
thought.
sorry.
Yeah. So like. This was imposed, and government does this all the time, right? Government will come up with terms, or government will say, "This is the thing that we're doing," right? We're like, we've come up with either a new process, we got the new department,
Right,
a new
right.
thing,
That's-
right? And we're this is what we're doing, and then the media disseminates it for us, right?
Totally.
And so
The-
now this is the word we're using for a thing that happens all the time,
I'm
and so like, there's no reason why we can't just decide we'll do something different. Go ahead.
sure. A couple of things that I'm going to say. Firstly, speaking, the term illegal alien 100% went through a negotiation process. 99.99999% of words go through a negotiation process, wherein there was a whole bunch of different definitions that were competing for the term being used. And I'll work with you. I'll say largely a pretty racist society said alien. That sounds like a good one. Let's throw that one in. There was a competition of words. Now, also, when a government disseminates a word, or when like academia disseminates a word, it's 100% of the time for a word that we don't have a word for. And that's why we're grasping for a word. We don't have anything. And they're like, hey, here's a new word for this new idea. Okay, great. Now we can grab it. It's not shifting an already existing, pre-existing word that has like it's a colloquially used word, and then they're just replacing it. That's never going to work.
But
Can I-
yeah, but hold on.
Is there
So last thing, and
Mhm.
I'll go straight to you, right?
Thank
like,
you, Bram.
if it's sorry, if it's
I don't
on
know
a
why that was so
government
funny.
form, if it's on a government form,
Uh-huh.
right, or if it's in a government processes or whatever, right, that becomes the name, right? There
Can you
could
give
have
me an
been maybe some
example?
sort of sure. Like even our racial categories, right?
Uh-huh.
What racial categories are there? Those
White,
things are
Hispanic.
yeah. Like the census, like,
But they're using
makes it
pre-existing
real.
terms.
So hold on a second, right? But like our imagination for how many categories there are limited by these processes, right? Not like we're shackled to it. We're not. My mind is not shackled to a
Sure.
form.
No, I get
Like,
it.
yeah, what is the legitimate categories, right? What are the categories that are going to be read out, right? When people are like listing a bunch of racial categories, right? What are the ones that are going to be let out? Probably the ones on the census form, right? Like
100%.
these things shape our language, and
Mhm.
so I don't think any reason that like just because a power has decided these things, right, doesn't mean that like the people can't also decide. Even a tiny subset of people, they put in the effort, and all of a sudden many of us, not all of us, right, are using unhoused individuals, right? Many of us are using undocumented immigrants, right? And so yeah, I just don't like you're saying like I get that there is a big step here, right? Because when you talked about negotiation, you talked about how like incremental it is, right? There's a big jump, and I acknowledge that big jump, right? But like that doesn't make it illegitimate to me necessarily.
When we say illegitimate, I just want to be super clear. I fully recognize that all words are arbitrary, all categories are arbitrary. There is no like platonic ideal of a word that we can just snatch and say this is what a chair is, right? Certain when you say illegitimate, though, specifically from a descriptivist perspective, it's whether or not the public latches onto a word. It's whether it's through usage. It's whether public uses a word. And they seem to be rejecting the word, which sort of signals that we probably shouldn't.
Depends on who they is, though, right? Latinx,
what do you mean?
Maybe like
no, totally.
But who is they? Like, I think that's a lot more complicated than just to like say that.
I think most lexicographers usually use just like any 5 to 10% of the population, as long as they're using a word. What?
I've got my comment on this is sort of along these lines, which is, first of all, I think alien is a great word, right? It just means a stranger basically to a foreign land or in a strange environment. Perfectly fine. Illegal, alien, somebody who's in a strange land, foreign land, illegally, right? Makes perfect sense. But what I think that the real communication that's happening when people say things like undocumented immigrant, or when people say things like Latinx, right?
It's a shibboleth.
Well, that's a word I don't know.
Oh, sorry.
If it's just a second.
He's trying to get it to catch on. He's workshopping.
Hey, it's a good word.
I'm sure what I'm about to describe is that word, and I'm going to try to remember it.
Go for it.
Probably to no avail, but I'm going to use a better term.
Okay.
I think it's just like a virtue signal, right? It is a
fucking look up the word shibboleth. 100%.
That's what it is.
This is well, it's a better linguistic term for what it is. It's a signaling of an in-group. That's what a shibboleth is.
Right, but it's more than that to me. To me, it's potentially, I guess maybe in-group does fit under this, but to me, there's actually a lot of information that's telegraphed when somebody uses the term Latinx. And if somebody uses the word Latinx specifically, I already know probably 95% of their political positions, unironically, right? I can probably clock almost everything they believe. If they use the word undocumented immigrant, it's a little bit more difficult. I don't really, I know probably 50%, maybe 50-60% of what they believe, so it's not as effective. If someone says illegal immigrant, that one is very like I probably can't clock anybody's position on that. I mean, that's kind of used by kind of the central position of I think most Americans. But if somebody just calls them illegals, that also telegraphs to me some kind of political position this person has. So there is information being communicated, but it's not actually information that's, I think, tied to the word or how like much the word makes sense. But it's simply the fact that it's a political debate, contemporary political debate in America as to how these words are used. That alone makes it a useful information provider.
I 100% agree, but I will say that there's a counter to this. And there's a reason we're using illegal aliens. When we're looking at like which pride flag you use or which LGBTQ acronym you're using. I'm always MMIWG2S LGBTQIA Q plus.
What
I
was the
feel like
S
I
again?
fucked up that.
I
Close,
don't think that
Hunter,
was-
but you forgot a very important demographic, and I
Right.
am offended. Go ahead.
You're often like that is 100% true, but that's only if you're using like pretty negotiated terms already that are like pretty amenable to the public. But if you pull some like bullshit where you just grab something that the public won't use, you're just going to sound like a moron to like everyone with a rational brain, and only like the most virtue signaling leftists are going to go, yeah, that's one of us.
Well, but hold on. But the moronicism, I think that's telegraphed, is because what you're telegraphing is like an insane, like a very extreme political position, right? Like when
I fully agree with you.
yeah, like
Yeah.
when I listen to this person talk who says that long phrase,
Mhm.
if they said any other acronym that was actually like in common use with government, whatever,
Right.
I might not think that's crazy. But the fact that I know what this is telegraphing, that this person's trying to be hyper inclusive as to a whole bunch of categories that I think are I guess all categories are invented, but maybe very recently and tepidly invented. I'm thinking, okay, well, I already know this person's belief. This person has very strong beliefs as to every political issue, and I can predict exactly which direction that belief is going to go. And they're going to be very uncompromising. They're going to be very
100%.
aggressive, right? I can predict these things.
Resisting negotiation, which
Resisting
is a big,
Which one?
negotiation.
Which-
Exactly.
Which groups are the tepid in the bad groups that were created? Which one of them? And within that string?
That's a question of lactoid.
There's a T in there, right? That's what lactoid means. The T in LGBT.
all the
If
ones
you-
all the ones I don't recognize, plus some of the
Hmm.
ones I do recognize.
Hmm.
And
I-
sorry. Could you? No, sorry. Wait a minute. Could you list those for me? Which
The
ones?
LGB, I think, is
Okay.
I recognize. Yeah.
The conservative is fine with that. Amazing how conservatives have moved over the years. Okay. All right. So we've got that. So
Hold
we've
on,
got
hold on.
LGB.
Donald Trump was the first president who was elected their first term that was okay with gay marriage.
Yeah.
Obama
well,
wasn't.
hey. Well,
90s
Got
Democrat,
Obama.
Trump.
90s Democrat. Yeah. Like that's fine.
Trump
Sure,
walked
okay.
in supporting gay marriage. You can't say that about
which-
Obama. You can't say that
Yeah,
about Clinton.
that's fine. Yeah. Screw Obama.
Oh
Screw
my
Clinton.
God.
Screw, yeah.
Yeah,
all day.
I
every
fucking
day.
hate
True.
this
We
shit.
have to get
Another
we
reason
have
to
to
hate
get
them.
behind the true progressive.
Obama
Donald
stood.
J. Trump. Thank you.
Obama
Brian.
stood
Another
by
reason to hate them.
stood by gay marriage when it was so politically infeasible, and actually got that shit passed and made it so fucking grounded in like it became such a political.
But did he go
reality
in
that the
support of the
Republic-
gays? That's
Who
the
the
issue.
fuck cares? Who the fuck
Let me.
cares?
So,
gays.
Well, he made
let
it
me-
a term
let
two
me-
issue, according to Biden.
Look, there are
Let me,
problems that
uh,
come about with the LBG or whatever, but I mean, that's,
I know we'll get back to you in a second.
Mhm.
Don't worry, we're not done with you.
I got
Lactor.
you.
But
Hell
let me just
yeah.
read the super chat very quickly. Grassroots hegemon, absolutely true. If I said I was a Georgist, you would think I'm a leftist. I'm in every meaningful respect a conservative libertarian, and I'm a Georgist because of my
Based.
libertarianism.
Fucking base
I
libertarian
wouldn't know what to
Georgist.
think because I don't. I'm sorry, I've never heard the term.
Speaking
Georgist
as a
ever.
liberal Georgist, hey, Georgism is based.
I'm
okay?
kind of a Georgian.
I-
I just thought
Hell
there
yeah.
was somebody from
Hell
Georgia.
yeah.
I was like, am I Georgist?
no.
You guys
I have
support
no
George?
idea.
Wait.
Thank
hold
you.
On, hold on.
Thank you for
Georgism
the
is when
kind
you hate
$10.
income tax more than property tax, and that's what I am.
Really? Okay.
Maybe.
Well,
It is the
here-
right
Very
of
simplistic.
Mr. Henry George.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would
so
you-
can
would you
define
accept
it
that,
for
Hunter?
us?
Property tax is
Hunter,
probably a more
I missed
important
it.
tax.
So my definition that I gave is a Georgist, a libertarian, but I would somewhat put myself in the category of a Georgist
Mhm.
libertarian is somebody who thinks that income taxes are worse than property taxes.
Oh my fuck. Sure. Okay.
Sure.
It's one of the- it's one
The
of the-
linguist
entire
says
book.
sure.
That
Thank
entire
you.
book is just yeah, like I hate personal tax more than
It has nothing to do with personal taxes. It's how good,
it's
it's how
everything.
good and based property taxes are,
Yeah,
and how we should
it
reform
really
them.
is. Yeah, it
Yeah,
is.
it's how we should
Okay.
reform property taxes to upzone. So, if we want to go on this tangent, we could talk about the difference between property taxes and land value taxes, and how we should
LTV
shift to
is
a land
better.
value. They are better.
They are better.
It's a much better way to.
It is.
It's like economically way
One of the
more.
best.
Yeah, it's so fucking good.
I
And
actually
would
have a
love- wait,
study
give
on
me a
this, by
pitch.
the way, that like in terms of
TDLR.
economic disruption, like GDP loss per dollar, like property taxes are one of the least disruptive compared to
T-
one of the
here, I'll-
most disruptive is corporate tax.
I'll give a TLDR on land value taxes. So basically, right now, property taxes are based off of how much you develop on the area. So it's actually economically feasible to not build anything on a plot of land and just hold on to it. That is fucking stupid. So instead, you just say, actually just pay for the plot of land and then you can do whatever you want for it. We're not going to tax you more. And then the capitalists are like, oh ho ho, I'm going to fix your loopholes and just build as high as I want and build a towering apartment that can house 100 people, and then we get to upzone and build cities that are a lot closer.
which is what you want to
together.
encourage anyway.
You
So
you incentivize
Yeah.
like apartment buildings, more building, more housing.
Thank you for the
things like
$10
that.
super chat. What do you want to say, Bam?
Oh no, that I was asking for the explanation that Hunter was giving me. I mean, I guess I like more dense building, but it's also maybe it's because I'm a dude from the country in the South. I don't have a
Mhm.
problem with people owning like swaths of land that they don't build on.
Georgians don't either.
Yeah, no, yeah, totally. It's just a way to incentivize it.
No, so,
So-
the LTV, it doesn't actually disincentivize owning large tracts of land away from population areas. In fact, it sort of encourages that because that land has lower value and thus you're going to be paying a lower tax on that. What it does is if you have property in dense urban areas, it highly encourages you to
Mhm.
build up on those. So like the biggest probably opposers of LTV would be like people in San Francisco row houses who are like they're sitting on this property that like if it like realistically efficiently it should
Fucking
be built into a
NIMBYs.
skyscraper, but instead it's like being occupied by a 2-story building.
I know
No.
a lot of California has issue building over like 3 stories. A lot of
Yes.
places, but
Yeah.
I'm curious if you had to make the steel man against it, what would be the strongest argument for
The
why we
steel
do
man
property taxes the way we do
against
now?
urbanism is largely speaking, it prevents the American dream because the American dream is to have a single family house. Just where I'm steel manning it.
And a fence. And a
No,
fence.
Blackwood, this is a bullshit argument.
I understand, right? But like, okay, go ahead. Sorry.
I'm trying to develop the best argument that I could possibly have. For
No,
a
I do.
NIMBY.
This is you're catching in real time. I don't
I-
have an opinion. What you think sounds good. I'm just trying to hear what like.
My
Sorry.
steel manning
So
too hard.
here. I think here's the best steel man I can think of. It's quite literally like the gentrification argument. It is if you had somebody living in an area and the land keeps raising in value because people are moving in around them, then eventually they're going to be taxed out. And because that's the only tax, ideally, I mean, this is the only tax I think George advocated for, or at least
Yes.
definitely the one that Adam Smith advocated for. This is, going to be somewhat substantial if their property value continues to rise and rise and rise, and eventually they're going to be forced to sell and move.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
So,
that was one of my first videos on this. Huh?
I love talking about tax policy.
So, sure. Lactoid.
Prime's like, let's fucking
A.
move on.
No, let's move back. Let's move back to where we were
Okay.
previously.
That's
Hey,
fine.
Lactoid,
A
right?
tax on
Missing
gays.
Missing and murdered Indigenous women, right? Should that not be? Is that a group that doesn't? What? No.
In,
What?
in the
What
gay
are your
category?
thoughts? No. I'm saying like no. You said you listed these as groups, right? That didn't need
belong in the gay category.
or were illegitimate, basically.
Yeah.
Oh no, I didn't. Well,
I don't think missing or
You-
murdered people are illegitimate, like in terms of their identity.
Wait, hold on.
I'm saying that, like,
You
what
just said-
does.
Oh
you
my
just
God.
you just like listed like you like on there's a super group here, right? And you're like, yeah, I don't like.
Yeah,
all
and
these
they
things,
one of these
right?
things is not like the other. You got people who
I
are like,
agree,
I
I
like to
agree.
bang dudes,
I
and then you
agree.
have somebody who's like, I was murdered.
That's why. I said
Why
to
are
Hunter.
these in the
Hold on.
same bucket?
This is. I agree. That's why I said to Hunter, but that's not what you said, right?
That's what I
Like,
meant.
You weren't. Okay. All right. Well, then I'll leave it there.
All right.
I don't think the murdered person's doing
Um,
much talking, just FYI.
Well,
Yeah,
fair
I
enough. Fair
By the way,
enough.
I was murdered. It's just like, that.
No, hey, this is the thing. Like,
Maybe they weren't.
I don't know. Like,
$5.
Sorry, go ahead.
If you can only choose one between urbanism and suburban sprawl, which one do you guys choose?
You guys know my
Thank
answer.
you.
It depends on the
you-
generation you're
Numinax.
born in.
I like all
Thank you
three.
so much.
I want there to be a strong urban area, a strong suburban area, and a strong rural area.
I want
diversity.
suburban sprawl to be fucking banned like they do the apartment
Absolutely.
buildings.
True.
We should
True.
ban suburban sprawl. We should absolutely
Fuck
do it in
them.
the future. Yeah, fuck
No,
suburban-
it's a
And after that, ban
that's a
football.
generational thing. That's very Gen Z.
Yeah,
There
I
was
like,
a time that like people.
Hey,
there's
I'm a
actually
millennial,
Some
Sir.
people that like the idea of like I want to have a backyard I want to have but I want to still live in a community in a neighborhood.
I don't want to hear my neighbors
I want to have
fucking
a house and,
across like on the
live around
wall.
other people who have houses.
I do.
Weird.
Can I get a video feed? Like what?
You made it so
Rhyme,
it was so
Jesus
funny.
Christ.
It was
Prime
so
wants it
funny.
live
and then-
streamed.
Bro, no, I'm good. Especially if they're MMIQ.
Yeah,
If
and
you don't
then
like
my
your murder,
WG,
how do
Murder
you
indigenous
LGBTQIA+.
women.
LGBTQIA plus.
Hold on. If they're missing,
I think I missed the
indigenous
Q.
women, you don't want to be notified.
No,
of that?
because
Like,
they're
to be-
missing.
Oh,
I want
oh,
the-
so you don't want to. You don't.
Oh, I don't want to find them. Yeah, because I don't want to hear them.
find them.
Well, the murdered ones. I hope I don't hear the murdered ones having sex. That'd be. Oh God.
You have special powers. at
That reminds me of
point.
the first debate I ever had on here.
Reminds me of the
Oh,
Sixth
God.
Sense.
The United
Censored
States is
version.
like way too big to for us to only focus on efficiency. Like don't get me wrong, I think that our cities need to be more efficiently built, but like the United States doesn't all have to be like as efficient as possible when it comes to how people.
We don't have
No,
to
it
have the
doesn't, but it could be,
cities
and
and
that's better.
skyscrapers everywhere. It wouldn't be feasible.
No, wait a minute. Hold on. I'm going to make the argument that it does, right? Not in the sense that we're running out of land. We got plenty of land, right?
Totally.
And so we've used it liberally in that case, right? Lowercase L. But like I think for climate change, right, to actually tackle that, we need to be making a whole list of changes. And one of them, I think, yeah, it makes sense to have more compact
100%.
cities, right? Cities
It's a
that
great environmental argument.
exactly that you can
100%.
walk around. That for some reason, like conservatives feel like this is an offense to like.
Yeah, you talk about
design a
15-minute cities, and there's
neighborhood,
a
right?
Fox
Because walkable
News
cities
segment
are
about how
nice,
they're
but
turning. They're gonna have
Walkable
Mao
cities are
in
nice,
charge.
but most
and it's
people
like,
don't want to
shit.
raise families in
Crazy.
apartments and have to walk to a park. They'd rather have the park in their backyard. Which
Let
is
me
like
just
their
tell
yard.
you,
Like,
I
this
live
is
in a
the thing.
15-minute city. I live in an apartment, and I've got a park in my backyard, and I have 2 parks in my backyard, and it's fucking awesome.
Amen. That's sick. I'm glad you love it. Now, people like you will move to apartments, right? But then people who
Yes.
don't want to move to apartments, they'll, you know what they do? They move to the suburbs.
I'm not going
right?
to
I'm a
tear
city
down
guy.
the suburbs, but we shouldn't incentivize.
I
Yeah,
prefer
totally.
living in the city, me personally. But I'm saying like
I don't.
there's a reason why the suburbs are where most people live versus like in the cities where less of the people. end up
Because it's
living.
illegal to build those
Yeah.
cities.
Nah, it's not the only reason.
Why they
I mean,
people don't want
that
those
is
cities
part
to
of it.
build.
It's the
Part of it.
epidemic
Part
of
the
it's
cities
the
have to
epidemic
live
of neighbors
I
in
agree.
fucking.
I agree. There's a lot of conversations.
Actually,
about
those dead
Not in my
neighbors that are
backyard,
having-
baby. Not
Yeah.
in my
Oh,
backyard.
yeah,
Okay,
by the way,
so-
by the way, just be clear. Not just fucking, but also like spreading fucking cockroaches into my fucking place.
Yeah,
or,
rats and
or
all
being
that
very
shit. Like,
loud,
listen, the city's nice,
or
but the cities are
crime,
dirty, and apartments
or
are
I hear you.
dirty.
and all this
I
shit.
hear you.
And to me, like there is something very awesome about like having a garage that I can park my vehicles and having a backyard that I can put a grill and have all my friends over in lawn chairs and we're all grilling meat and having
I'm
a
totally-
conversation. Fucking
Hold on.
awesome.
I was being.
I'm
I was
totally
being
with that,
hyperbolic.
Lacto, but you gotta
I'm not
understand
saying
it's
we
not the
channel-
best.
Fuck
route.
your
my
friends,
meat.
fuck your grill, and fuck your meat. Yes, exactly.
One of the best.
Do you live in an
But
apartment? Prime?
honestly,
Or
the
do you have a house?
argument against I'm about to say Prime. The argument you have about climate change, that someone who really think climate change matters, like legitimately, I mean, about to say maybe this is the only thing I've ever been optimistic about. I just feel like humans are just like gonna figure it out. Like we're like,
True.
man, the
I love it.
the carbon
Because
is
fucking
a
people,
problem.
unlike you, are dealing
I
with the
do think
issues.
that I do think that like the
I don't live in the Maldives.
economic interest is going to be in like, I mean, to some degree, electric cars have their own issues, but like it seems like, oh, okay, figuring out how to do things in a way that's more recyclable is better for the environment. I think that humans will figure it out.
I 100% agree, but I
You
also
don't live
think
your life that way though.
better-
Like,
exactly. We shouldn't. We should be anxious about it, and that anxiety propels
We should
us
be
to fix
always-
the
only
issue.
only
do everything
morons
as
would say I'm going to take up
efficiently as
smoking because we're going to figure it out, or I'm going to just have the most unhealthy diet. Because yes, they will eventually.
I heard Russia
I know
developed
Lacto.
the vaccine.
I know Lacto makes that calculation. He doesn't care about his health, but most people don't.
Did Russia
Sure,
develop
but
a
I'm
cancer
saying
vaccine?
that
Great point.
housing is the only place that we do this with. Like we don't say like if I'm sure someone could make an argument about like, oh, some people shouldn't be able to have kids because it's it's inefficient to the global scale. And you would say, who cares about
It's
efficiency?
extremely efficient.
And I'm saying hold that position.
I would make an argument that if it weren't efficient, to have
Are you
kids-
pro telling poor people to stop having kids because it's inefficient?
No. I think
Yeah,
the
or,
only
like,
reason they
requiring
should
it.
wait. Poor people? How poor?
If you're streaming,
They
use
can't
it.
afford
Yeah,
themselves.
I'm
Why are
saying,
they
like,
having a
like,
kid?
some legally enforced.
Hold on.
Exactly.
I've got a brother.
Yeah, I don't
who-
think Yeah, but Prime would never enforce it. If he would fight to the death if anybody tried to like fight, push back.
Hold
against
on. I'm gonna say this.
Correctly.
I've got a brother who has two kids. He's got a kid on the way, and he's got another kid. His wife is so disabled that she can't work, and he works probably an 18-an-hour job.
You're gonna
Okay.
make all that people shouldn't. I'm not.
I'm
disagreeing
fucking
with you
gonna
about
strangle
what
him
they
if he
should or
gets
shouldn't
another
do.
kid.
I'm saying
It's
the
fucking
Prime
crazy.
will
Sorry, am I
Yeah,
interrupting?
and
Bam?
that's not the argument though.
Okay.
We're
Cutting out
talking about
hardcore,
legally.
Bam.
Yeah, Bam.
I'm
I
saying
can't hear
Prime
you.
will-
I'm sorry if I'm talking over you.
Am I?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
you are
roboting.
struggling and stuff.
Hello,
You're
hello.
struggling real hard.
Yeah, maybe you should
Jesus Christ.
check the internet. I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, maybe if you lived in a more dense urban area, I don't know. You'd be
It
all
would.
right.
It's
I'm
going
I'm
to
in
be cheaper.
Atlanta.
Or paid for better
Uh,
internet access.
I couldn't be
Well,
any denser.
I don't know about that.
Could I just
Too
give?
much people on this.
hold on,
There's too much people
Hey,
using the
just
internet.
quickly before you
around
do, Hunter, are you streaming? Are you streaming on Twitch or?
I am. Yeah.
Okay, well then, in
On
Lactoid,
YouTube.
you can use the stream together link in the thing. Have you ever done that before, Hunter?
I don't know how this
Absolutely.
works.
Hello, hello.
Just click the link
You-
and join the
Click with your
call.
mouse
We can hear you, Bam, but like you're massively delayed on your video.
Prime, have you ever had a grill?
I have grilled, but I've never owned a
You
grill.
never owned a grill, so you don't know what
Really?
it's like to grill meat on your own
I own a
grill in
smoker.
a
I've
backyard.
grilled-
I have a
I've
smoker
grilled-
in my backyard.
No, no,
bro.
no,
grilled meat.
On your own grill in a backyard
What
full of
difference does it make?
people that you
What
love.
if I rented?
I've
it?
never owned a
If I
grill.
went to rent a center and rented a grill, would that make a fucking difference?
A little
you-
bit, yeah.
Did you do that?
No, but like,
Also,
what if I did?
a little bit? A little bit. It would make it
Someone
different.
else's
Owning-
grill.
No, like
owning
no.
your
There's
own
a
grill-
huge
difference
stop.
is
No,
owning-
here's
owning your
what I'm
own
trying to get
grill
across.
and having it placed somewhere and being the master of your own grill it's a different feeling
Yes.
than renting a grill.
No, not just that, not just that, but like I think what Prime is referring to is I think he went over somewhere and somebody said, "Hey, I need you to flip the patties every once in a while." This is a massive. There's a huge
Sorry.
distinction between this and like I'm gonna set up the grill and I'm gonna like plan out the meats and it's gonna be a great fucking time
This
in
is so stupid.
on my property that I own.
Not stupid. Do you have a smoker like
It is stupid.
I do.
I got a smoker last year. I'm trying to learn how to use it. It's
So-
man, listen, it's
That
nice
sounds-
having it
it
in the
sounds nice.
backyard.
It's great.
It's nice having in the backyard.
And
Walk
I-
out.
like
I can
that's
smoke a whole salmon.
Mhm.
What?
like the and maybe this is just because I'm claustrophobic, but like like just the room, right? Being able just to be like I have this space, and I can like legally tell people to fuck off if they walk onto my space. It's very
Sure.
liberating,
Sure.
Yes, I know.
Listen,
very
and
concerned
not
I
for
hear
nothing.
about
Not
that.
for nothing.
and
this
that's
is
what
a
America
group
was
of
based
men-
on.
Wait, I'll flip
women-
this.
Yeah,
Women
no,
feel safer in the
after
suburbs.
slaughtering the people that live there, then yes, then it's like, oh yeah, this is my space, right?
Listen,
And this is
women,
mine,
women
you
feel
can't come
safer
on
in the
here, right?
suburbs.
Now
Women
this
don't-
land
Most
is
of that was
important. Now this
smallpox.
is
Most of that was
important
smallpox.
when it wasn't important before. Okay, Lactoid, click the stream together link.
I'm
Go
clicking
ahead.
right now. I got you.
Anyone else can go. Sorry, Hunter or
I just want to clarify. I don't
click
think
it
that we
too?
should ban suburban sprawl, but I do want to make it more expensive and cheap. Sorry, more expensive to live in the suburbs and cheaper to live in the city. Mostly because it's economically viable. So you should be essentially paying a carbon tax if you want to live out in the middle of buttfuck nowhere. And we have to,
And a
Add a
carbon
whole
tax
bunch
for
of-
grilling. Huge carbon tax for grilling.
yeah,
Oh
low
my
key.
God.
Yes, absolutely.
Carbon
Bro.
taxes are based.
Oh,
Hey.
hey, carbon taxes on my fucking grill.
Yes, absolutely. That's stupid. Get it out of here.
Yeah,
Ban
no, no,
it.
no, hold on. I agree. You guys should advocate that for advocate for that next election. I agree. You should try that. That's a good idea.
Dude,
That's a
I-
brilliant
I
idea.
hate-
actually.
I fucking
we would
hate-
lose so hard.
I hate anytime you have a conversation with some leftists and they're like, dude, our policies are just so everyone loves them. Just like you just need to go find them. And I've advocated for carbon taxes specifically because there was a we wanted to put it on the Utah legislation. You go fucking talk to people and they go, what's going to happen with gas prices? And I'm like, yeah, it is very possible that it will increase gas prices, but here's all of the other benefits. And they're like, fuck out of here. They like start yelling and it's like,
Yeah.
dude,
Can
no
you
one
imagine?
wants
Can you
the
imagine
benefits
walking into
don't-
somebody
the
while they're
benefits
grilling and
don't
being like,
matter to them.
"Here's your ticket."
we're all
Fucking-
saying we
benefits don't
care
matter
about
or apply to
environmental
those
issues.
people.
What?
The benefits don't matter or apply to those people if their costs go up, right? Like
I agree,
that's
of
going to be
course.
the issue.
Well, I agree
Like,
that that's what they think. I do think that the benefits do outweigh the costs when it comes to environmental issues. Like, for example, not setting the world on fire. I think that is a
Yeah,
You know,
but
our
that's
grills
also
are the
just a
big
non.
difference
That's
maker
also
here.
the
no.
issue is
Shut
that
the.
you're
But
talking to
that's a
selfish
fallacy of the
people about
commons
non-selfish
or tragedy of the
perspective.
commons.
I don't
We're
think
all
it's
That's
tragedy.
just like
conceding. It is tragedy of the commons.
No, tragedy of the commons is like I guess maybe the broader conversation as to pollution, but I'm just talking about like, and this is more of a scale issue. Like, you're right that you could come and like, fucking nitpick my grill or my gas range
I know. Wait,
or
hold on.
this
I'm
shit.
not
You could
I'm
do
not actually
all this,
advocating for that.
and you could reduce the overall carbon emission of the world. You're right, but like everything that I do is going to put out like the same amount of pollutants in a whole year as like within half a second in some Chinese factory making fucking God knows what leaded
course.
No,
Tire
wait, hold
factories.
on, hold on. But hold on. Oh my god, I got to deal with this. Oh my god, Larry, why are you making this?
That's why I throw my straws in the
let's-
ocean. Really, it's not a big deal.
But oh my god, one
I
second.
pierce
Right.
turtles' necks with them. personally.
$5 from Numanax. Again, thank you so much. It says, is the solution to suburban sprawl to tell city working suburban livers to move further out to allow room for cities to renovate and control prices?
No, you don't need to allow room
Um,
for cities. They build up and then not out. That is what
Yeah.
sprawl moves out. Cities move up.
I mean, I know I can see like a metropolitan area like growing, right? Like, but like growing because like we've reached maximum density or something, and we have to like move
We're
out a
nowhere
little bit.
near maximum density.
I agreed. But like I get that, and I get maybe like a city just taking control of the suburbs, right? And so they can impose on these idiots, right? And then like have better building policies from there. That'd be good. But like yeah, I don't know if telling them to move further out. I mean, I want them to move in. I want like to get to suburban sprawl. I mean, we should dismantle the
telling
suburbs.
So
them
then make
move
it
out.
cheaper
I'm
to
gonna
live in
make
the
it
city.
cheaper to live. Exactly. I'm going to make it cheaper.
No,
to live in the city.
but
Yeah.
like this conversation, like
Thank you so much.
the prospect of like making the city cheaper, like it sounds great. Listen, I'm down. I agree, but
Mhm.
just like it hasn't been ever proven to me that you can actually make it cheaper, right? It's only like all I ever hear is build more and then things will get cheaper, but I don't see why things get cheap, like why they would get cheaper. It never really gets.
Hold on, didn't we have this conversation before?
Right.
We've tried. I'm like once again, I just don't I'm trying to understand it.
Just building
right? I
more
talk to
housing
people.
helps like push like supply up so demand goes down. Like demand
Well,
is
demand doesn't go-
satiated,
Yeah,
and so
yeah.
prices go down. Yeah, like
So,
prices are.
I'm not trying to
higher when
be.
there's
I'm not
less-
trying to be like a dick about it, but like
Yeah,
it
yeah.
is like econ 101 of like increased supply.
the supply
prices
go up
down.
and demand, you know, blah blah blah. blah.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, there is a
So-
more complicated conversation to be had. I'm just saying like that. The
in
basics.
its simplest, the way I see it is that when you build a new building, the new building is going to be expensive. So the only people that are going to be able to afford it are the people who can obviously afford it, right? Rich
Right.
people are going to move in and get into those buildings, which
And then they're
leaves
gonna-
the other people living in their same buildings, right? It's
Would you
not
advocate
like
for
no,
the
but
building
it's
less
supply went
alley
up for
then?
anyone.
As in,
The
would
But it
you
supply
build
doesn't-
less and
but
less?
they move out of a different area.
out of the suburbs. If you're going to build more,
No, wait, hold
expensive,
on,
like
hold
if you're going to build new apartment buildings, right? It's not like the people who are living in the cheap apartments are going to then move to the expensive apartments.
That's
'cause the new
exactly what happens. That's exactly what happens.
If
Like
they
I'll give
can't-
an
They
example.
can't afford the apartments they're in now. Why would they move to the expensive apartments? That's the that, like,
No.
that's the whole idea.
No.
That's what I mean by
Middle-class
can't get
people do
cheaper.
live in cheap ass apartments because there's not a lot of housing to go around. So when, like, for example, I'm going to use my example. We're middle class ish. My wife has a decent job. We were living in a shitty ass apartment before, and low key, it was really hard finding that housing. We had to be put on a wait list for like 2 months to find that place. This is the this apartment building opened up, and it was like this nice ass place with like 3 different rooms, and we're like, oh shit, let's go move there. Hell yeah, we
Okay,
leave that area.
maybe I'm just used to being like I'm used to like in Detroit where it's
Being
like
poor.
there's just a bunch of apartment buildings. Maybe I'm like not used to areas where there aren't that many. Like
Sure.
like yeah, I'm used to living near cities, so I like that argument for within the cities just never made sense to me.
Yeah,
Maybe in,
I don't
like,
know-
newer areas. Yeah,
I don't know what to classify where I'm at. I might be in the suburbs myself, but it's like I don't know. It's
you're
kind of,
probably in a college town,
I am.
realistically.
Yeah,
right? Yeah, so like yeah.
No,
but it's like
Just
it's
me.
not.
I would
It's not
argue
Salt
as
Lake.
far as
Like
cities
Salt Lake.
go,
I'm like
the-
an hour south of Salt Lake.
Yeah.
I think there's probably a lot of people. I mean, as far as cities go, Detroit probably is on average a bit below the typical metro area as far as cost of housing. Like it, I would for a number of reasons, but I imagine the amount of available housing is probably a factor in that. Like I'm not against the supply demand argument. I do think that there's a number of other steps that's missed in that. Like you're saying, like, oh, okay, like we want people to move back to the city. Well, people who own those suburban houses are going to have to sell those suburban houses to somebody else. and that likely going to be somebody either moving out of the city or other people who are moving into the area who weren't in the area before, and now you're just increasing the population, which is in turn going to increase that population density.
Right, but then you should just increase increase the supply to match that demand.
I also have a subwoofer, and so
But I'm saying,
I'm just saying I can't do that in the city.
I don't know what this is happening.
Yes, you can. Well, have you ever lived in a city? Like
I have
there's loud
absolutely
music
lived.
all-
Whoa.
like,
I have
but then
absolutely lived
you're
in a
saying
city.
You're saying subwoofers don't exist in a city? And
Yeah,
not-
I can't have my
Puerto
fucking-
Ricans.
I can't
You
have my.
can't crank it.
Okay, I didn't live in
at 3
fucking
a.m.
Puerto Rico. Yes, no, Bam is
No,
correct. I'm correct.
No,
I'm-
live around Puerto Ricans.
Okay,
brother.
well then, okay,
They're
I'll
subwoofers
go
in their
move around
phones.
Puerto Ricans then. Maybe that's my solution.
The
Or-
city is
Or-
notorious.
Some
The
woofers in the
city
city.
notorious
Or-
for no high level sounds. Definitely.
Yeah, no,
in my city,
Corey, you're just wrong.
in
If
downtown
I'm-
Montreal, definitely no loud music like
Corey,
ever, for
if,
sure.
if your upstairs neighbor has a subwoofer and plays it as loud as I do, as late as I do, you're absolutely going to complain to the landlord.
Depends on like I
Wait, you're
there's,
playing
there's,
music on
there's
a
a lower
subwoofer and your
limit, but
neighbors
like
don't hear you?
soundproof apartment complexes like exist. Just FYI.
Do you want every apartment to be soundproof? Are they paying for that premium?
It's not. As somebody who's lived in the city, I'm telling you,
They
I'm
should-
saying
is-
neighbor.
They should be soundproof. They actually no.
okay, but the
Wait a
vast,
minute, no
vast,
problem.
vast majority of them are not.
Okay,
But no,
It's-
you're
it's expensive to live
ignore
in.
that. I live in a city. I don't live in an apartment.
What the hell just happened?
And I do have neighbors who like take out their giant fucking subwoofers
Mhm.
and start blasting.
And it sucks, doesn't it?
All days. But as I'm not an apartment, it doesn't even matter. I'm saying like it can happen any which way.
You share a
right?
wall?
Like we
No, they
don't
play in
share
the
a wall.
backyard probably.
He plays in the backyard.
I got people.
right?
I got
And he
people.
does
I
it
got
for
people down my
fucking
block that
hours at a
party, and I
time.
can
Okay,
hear them.
and then you're
loud.
close enough. Then you're close
No,
enough.
no,
to
no,
hear
no.
it.
These people are down the block from me. Like they're like. at
Okay,
least
well then they got some hella good
houses.
subwoofers. I'm
Yeah,
sorry, there's nothing to do about that.
They got
I'll tell you about
banging
my
speakers
subwoofers.
in the back,
My
bro.
subwoofers, I can blast them
You're
in my house,
weak
and my
ass
neighbors aren't.
subwoofers.
My neighbors aren't gonna fucking.
Yeah, you
get pissed
got
off.
weak.
Yeah, you got weak
I
shit.
do not
Like,
have
okay.
weak subwoofers. I
Yeah,
got good
you know,
I
walls.
can't
oh,
hear
yeah,
you.
you
He
do.
said,
You got a
"Don't
feminine
disrespect
You're
subwoofer.
amazing.
I've
I
got
can
thick
hear
walls.
you. You have
This
big
my
ass-
subwoofers.
King
Kong you don't know my
That's what,
fucking.
that's what a subwoofer is. I can hear you before I see you. That's the
Bro.
whole thing.
Yes.
That's the whole
Yes,
thing.
my fucking ground is
But if I-
shaking. Shit's falling
Oh,
off the
yeah.
walls. That's how. Yeah, that's what how I do
How
it.
far
Okay.
away from your neighbors do you live, dog? How far away from your neighbors do you live that your floors are shaking and they can't hear your fucking
I
subwoofer?
legitimately-
can
I-
rock your world.
I legitimately have had shit fall off my walls before when I'm cranking it. This is a common issue that I started.
I
That's
do
just
too.
poor structural
Yes.
integrity.
But I'm not cranking my subwoofer.
I've got good
No,
walls.
no.
I've got good
I'm cranking
walls.
my
No.
subwoofer.
How many inches are your subwoofers?
They're
At
big. They were
least five.
expensive.
You
They're
know,
one of my larger purchases.
yes.
It doesn't matter. It's big enough. You're saying no,
Big
of
enough.
course, right? It's all, yeah, but
Like,
it
it's
doesn't
big
count,
enough
is what you're
to
saying.
shake. Like I
Yeah.
feel it in my
It's
chest.
not about the size of the
definitely.
subwoofer.
Yeah, and so I can't
But the
do that at
motion
2
of the
o'clock in the
bass.
morning. Like 2 o'clock in the morning when you're really fucking laying it down and you're like getting hyped and pumped and I can't do that if
You
I
having
got
like
like
solo rap battles in your
Lactoid,
home?
do you have any videos of you doing this? Because
Yeah,
I would
I
pay
need,
there might
I
be.
need video confirmation of you.
There's
just
videos.
jamming out
There's
with
weird.
your
There's weird videos
subwoofers.
of me.
Pics or it didn't
I hope,
happen.
hopefully you guys will never see them. There's weird videos of me floating around out there. There's videos that I didn't even know existed of me out different
that
places.
part I can believe.
Yeah.
One day we're gonna figure out that fetish. So
I used to
thank you.
dance pretty hardcore.
Mitch, well, okay, now we got to touch on that one. Michael
In a cage.
Hatch, to Connor cometh soon for the $5. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Yes, we when he can take his time. I know he's got to deal with his children. They are, of course, his priority. That's
They're
okay.
not mine.
I
showed up.
You are correct, Hunter. They're not yours.
I got
Random
two
question
kids.
because it has nothing to, like it's relevant, but it has nothing to do with the topic. Is anybody here Catholic? Was Trump
Nope.
stuff today not crazy?
Yo, that was
it's always crazy.
insane.
Well, what do you think is
That's
true
pretty crazy.
Catholicism? Just what do you?
That was insane. Posted a picture of himself
Protestant
as Jesus
people,
healing
that's
someone,
followers
and
of
then
the-
and then
of the
and then his
Catholic Church.
answer to the
Being a
question.
Protestant.
No, I thought it was just being a doctor.
I'm a
It
brother.
looked like I was a doctor, and someone said it
thinking
was.
right,
Jesus.
yeah,
I
like-
don't know.
Yeah, he's like he lies so bad, but they take it. It's insane to me. I don't know. He thought it was
deleted it.
funny because
No,
they
no,
think
he-
it's funny.
The current story is he deleted it and he said that he thought he was a doctor, not Jesus, in the name.
And we believe this, right?
And
We believe this, Lactoid.
Yeah,
We-
like,
we
And he
believe
looked
that
like
Trump
somebody
didn't-
was being healed.
Yeah, by a doctor, right? Because
By a-
doctors
by
are
a golden
notoriously known for
hand.
wearing
Hasn't he done
long,
this?
This is
white
very
and
culturally
red
insensitive.
robes.
Doctors can wear all
Before.
sorts of different things.
red
Didn't
robes
Donald
with
Trump
angels
tweet
in the
him
background
as
and a
Jesus
mecha god
before?
behind them as
No, he was
well.
the
I don't know
Pope
what
last
that
time.
They had
mecha
a
god
demon
was.
at the
Oh,
top.
you're right. It was
Yeah,
Pope.
yeah, yeah.
It was the Pope.
The center angel
Now
was
he's
some
Jesus.
fucking
He
demon.
upgraded.
And yeah.
It was a demon. Yeah.
Listen, I don't know, man. I think it's insane that in today's age, right? We have Trump and the White House doing a meme war, and they're losing the meme war to Iran, which I think
To
is
Iran.
fucking.
Yeah.
Did you see Trump 2028 prices? The gas price they posted
No.
Trump
Man.
20.2.
No, we're actually good on that front. Stocks are up again. We're good.
Fire.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
the-
but
the
I
radius.
saw like
I don't know
the
to tell you this, but gas
strongest,
prices is a-
Catholic Christians, MAGA people.
Big deal.
They were on Twitter talking about the Pope need to keep his damn mouth shut.
Yeah,
I was like,
man. What the
Jesus, like, you
fuck?
literally
Yeah.
picked-
The Pope
you
is
picked
like
Trump
pretty
over your
unpopular among
religion.
conservatives right now. I
The
know
Pope
some
is, the
Catholics. who
Pope
are-
'cause he's
is
liberal.
pretty
Good.
unpopular
Good.
amongst conservatives. It's
Yeah,
a kind
that
of a
means he's a good
crazy
Pope.
statement.
Yeah, which is
Yeah,
why.
Kind of a crazy statement.
I mean, yeah, I
But
don't know.
I
You know who
think
he's
if
not
if you're-
unpopular
You don't know what
amongst
these
them?
are
I
your
get that a
people,
lot of
Lacroix.
people
You
have
need to
Mexicans.
know.
religion. But I don't think you're allowed to like disagree
Pretty
with the with the Pope.
This is
when
one of
it
the
comes
biggest
to
problems with
things
Catholicism.
regarding
Yeah,
scripture.
it's
Correct.
you know,
You
the
got to
Pope
treat
says
it.
it.
It's true, and it's like,
Well,
wait, wasn't
Pope's
that
that
different from
dude.
what you said before?
No,
It's
there's two different. There's two
God
different.
works
I think
in
if he
mysterious
says this is just
ways.
my opinion.
You're right. There's two different papal statements. There's the I forget what the actual Latin phrase is, but there's like it's like from the chair, like that kind of statement is infallible, right? If he makes a statement of faith, it's infallible. But he can also make statements like, I don't really, it's kind of my opinion. I kind of feel this
So
way.
he's like the Ayatollah in that way.
Maybe.
But yeah, if he
Makes
bases it on, like,
religious
scripture, like,
decrees.
he's
Some
like-
statements are,
he's like,
you know,
yeah, war is
truth.
bad. They say-
Maybe.
she's like,
I will say,
"Shut
growing
his
up
damn
Mormon, it's pretty in the text that like it's from the chair, right? Like if the prophet says it, that's true. And like the amount of loopholes that like the entire community has to go through, and I myself went through to like explain, well, why is it that the prophet said that black people were people only in the 80s? Like, why did it take him that long?
That's
And
right.
why did that
you guys had that
change?
problem? Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Why did that change?
Mhm.
Like,
That was a
why
tough
were they
one.
not people for so long?
Mhm.
You got an update?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a
Yeah,
it was a big deal, and that
Oh, it was a new gold plate. Oh, fuck.
Update and reboot. Update and reboot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Founded in backyard, very next to grandma.
The FUBU
Okay.
package upgrade.
Oh boy. Hey, Lactoid. Videos, you dancing. What's this about? You dance? Like what's
Yeah.
this? What's
All right,
going on
He
you
here?
jams out to the musique.
Yeah, I used to be in good shape. I used to be like in really good shape, and yeah,
Okay.
like,
what
I-
happened?
I-
It's not too
Stop,
late.
Rich.
You can like
many things happened.
Heartbreak.
Saturated fats
He started
is
practicing.
one of the
Mm.
things.
you can just not put that
beer.
in your mouth, right? You know, a little bit of self
I
control.
see. I thought about that, but I didn't.
Are you a child? Like you just like things
Nah.
just shovel into your mouth, and you have no.
They just
agency or autonomy
happen to make
whatsoever.
their way. Yeah. It's,
Oh,
it's
Just
Yeah,
kind of-
imagine
it's happening to
saturated
burgers.
fats
Your
or
mouth.
penises
Yeah.
lactoid.
Yeah,
If you
exactly.
imagine
No,
those
penises never
penises,
go.
you
Penises
put them in your
never-
mouth.
penises never get in my mouth.
No, they just fall in. You have no control, no agency whatsoever.
This is
You
one of
know,
those
the
like few
saturated
things
fats,
Corey
okay.
is
I
gonna
know,
start
I'm
on.
a hardcore
Well-
determinist. Okay, I can't choose anything. I'm not a fault.
that
I'm
was
a
what
victim, I'm a
conservatives
victim of my
believed.
circumstances.
True.
In fact, society's to blame. You know
A
what?
true
Oh.
conservative with that
I need-
local
I need
self-control
welfare.
that he always advocates for, but now no
Um,
agency when it suits him, right?
So I used to be in good shape, and yeah, there were. I absolutely. I would dance, and in fact, I would dance pretty good. And
What kind of
there was
music?
any kind of like heavy kind of like loud beats. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
some nice
Like
bass.
EDM?
No, I'm saying it came
So
out.
no, I'm
you
saying.
know?
So I'll give like a quick story.
Yeah,
So
you felt
basically, I went to a club, and I was really throwing it down, and then there's a cage at the club, and I was very drunk. Okay, this was a long time ago,
And you dance.
and I danced in the cage, really throwing it down.
Nice.
and
Go dance.
the
with
Wait,
next-
is there a correlation between your dancing and the amount of drinks and alcoholic drinks?
Yes,
Or
of course.
okay.
This
So
is the
that
case with
answers
every
the
white
question.
person ever. Okay.
Okay,
So-
this
so
is not a natural behavior.
No,
It's
no,
like,
it's natural for white people.
No,
That's the
it's
thing,
not.
right?
Wait, it's natural when all your insecurities are like blacked away in your brain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, when the inhibitions aren't there.
The inhibitions
So-
aren't there.
so-
Yeah.
What happened the next day?
The next day, there was people I didn't even know that were coming up to me in the hallways in my college, and they were saying, "Hey," and they had their phone out, and it was like, "Hey, is this you?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's me."
Hell yeah.
Do we have a copy of this video?
Somewhere, but there's zero chance this is ever going to get published. No,
I will. No. You
I don't have
publish-
one.
you
I don't have one. I could probably.
What
find
college did you
somebody
go
who
to?
does.
Yeah.
I'll find it.
I'm not going to
Something
tell you.
something Toronto.
Lactoid,
University.
wouldn't it serve you better as
but-
a lawyer to
Do you
get
late at
back
night?
into shape?
Sure.
Probably get more gigs. Yeah.
Look,
I'm sure that would.
I got weights right here. I'm actually, my arm
you use
strength is
them?
doing pretty. Yeah, my arm strength is doing pretty good right now. I can do like there's 35-pound dumbbells each. I'm doing like 50.
Yeah, but it's all
reps.
about the aesthetic. The amount of weight you can lift is It's all about
Okay.
the aesthetics.
Well, no, I think
Yeah.
being able to pick up heavy things is like an important.
I'm just
part of it.
messing around. I'm just
Yeah.
messing with.
But,
Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Lactoid,
Yeah.
please.
Go
I
ahead.
think
Find the
Ali.
person.
I think Ali's in
Find me
really
a
good shape.
copy.
I just believe it.
I won't
Fine.
publish anything. If we just you can even stream it to me. I won't. That'll
Years
be
ago.
Hey, Lactoid, if
I
you
just
send it to
want
me,
to
I
say-
will distribute it.
I believe it.
I
Oh,
won't.
100%.
I won't. I promise.
Look,
you.
if it
Make a
happens, if it
Twitter
happens
page
to fall in my,
dedicated to it.
if it happens to fall in my lap again, I'll consider it. Okay, because it was really good.
Please.
And here's the thing:
Please.
I thought it was super cringy, because it's like, oh, it's kind of the thing you would cringe at. But now, like I distinctly remember rewatching it, and I was like, oh, it's not
That's
too
pretty
bad.
good.
It's pretty good. I actually I was kind of going with the beat a little bit there for a second. Holy
Different
shit!
career
Yeah.
path in a
For a
different world.
second, for a
Yeah,
split second,
yeah.
I
It
was
was not
synchronized.
good. Yeah, it was good. It's good shit. It's cute.
Okay.
The lactoid lore grows.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, it does. This is something new.
I have
You got to integrate this into our understanding of him.
No, it's not a surprise that a white person gets drunk if they start dancing.
That's
That
true
is
as
pretty
well.
stereotypical.
That's-
I mean, but
That's not
but
unheard of.
imagining Lactoid dancing in a cage and then hearing his arguments are going to be completely different now.
But he doesn't
you know?
remember
Yeah.
it. That's the whole
You
point.
just have to
That's not- that
imagine him
wasn't-
dancing in a cage.
Oh, I remember it somewhat.
Don't give him. Don't give.
Lactoid.
Don't take the credit
That
away
doesn't
from
surprise
him.
people because I'm black.
Okay, so let's get started.
Gangnam Style
Um,
was my
this-
song for a long time.
Oh wow.
God.
I
Wow.
knew, the
Wow.
full,
Definitely a
I
white
knew
guy.
the full thing, like with the
How old are
you?
you?
White.
Oh my god,
You're like mid-30s, huh? Yeah.
no, not
Hey,
Why?
sexy lady.
He's middle aged. We
Uh,
established that a long time ago. Middle
Oh.
age.
a middle
I
age
hated
for
Gangnam Style
the
at the time.
age I'm probably
Like,
gonna live
to be
yeah.
clear, I thought that was fair.
Yeah, that was probably
with
31,
that saturated fat diet that you were
He's
referring
born
to
in
before,
94.
yeah. But yeah, I hated Gangnam Style like at the time. Like, I'm not like a new hater. I was an OG hater on that one.
It's a great
that was
song.
really
What's wrong with the
dumb.
song?
It was awful. It was awful, stupid, right?
Why?
Trying to be
Oh.
a new Macarena, it wasn't. The pale imitation.
Wait, the Macarena
it's-
gives I don't know. I don't know if it's that fair because the Macarena like gives No, wait, maybe it doesn't.
Also,
Okay.
the Macarena
I'll hear
is a
this.
song about cheating. This, the fucking Gangnam Style is a song about having.
No one knows
fun
what any of these mean.
I actually take the time to look into what the
He's
songs mean.
cultured.
I'm
He's
cultured.
that way. Did you know? Did you know he's like
You're
he
whiter
has
than me
blue
for
jacket?
sure.
We're both we are in
Um,
tight competition.
You guys are both pretty white.
No, no,
You
no, no,
guys
no.
are
I
tied
agree,
for
but I'm
number
saying,
one.
I'm saying,
we're
if you
both
look
pretty
up,
reflective.
if you look up what the Macarena means, like in terms of like what the lyrics mean, that's whiter than me for sure.
Okay.
Prime, tell
Maybe. I
tell
don't-
me that I'm less
Talk
white.
about your
than
whiteness on your own
Lactoid,
time.
please.
I have. I don't.
Quick,
I need you
credit
to
score.
approval.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So okay. $5 from Michael Hatch2 Hatch2
Mm.
says, "What's it like to be the third most important hunter in Andrew Callahan's life?"
Who's second? Hunter is Hunter Biden for sure. That's number one. I get to be number 3. Who's 2? Is there other famous hunters?
I'll look him up. Give me a second.
Andrew
I don't know who
Callahan.
Andrew Callahan is again.
He's a guy.
Avalon?
He's a guy who interviewed me. He works for Channel 5, and he interviewed
Big channel.
Hunter Biden as well. Yeah,
Millions of followers.
I think it's the most viewed thing I've probably ever been in.
Thank
Was
you
the
so
interview
much
he did with me.
For now.
Yeah, Channel 5
$5.
interview
I
is
much
probably-
It's
appreciate it.
just
bro.
Hunter. It's just Hunter Biden on Google. It's nothing.
Oh, what's Clavicular's real name though? Maybe that's a hunter.
No.
I
don't
doubt
think
it's
so.
Hunter.
Channel
it's
5 is a
more-
guy who discovered the Onocrypt
Whoa.
dude.
The the honor.
Remember that guy?
Uh,
No, the Onocrypt. Again, this goes around saying don't commit suicide.
Okay, wait, hold on.
Never
Can I
seen
just
that
say this
one?
real quick? Could
It
I
was
say
fucking
this?
Funny.
It's clear I'm second. If we can't figure out who number 2 is, it's me. All
I
right,
agree.
I'm
agree.
second
Yeah.
best.
That's good logic.
Isn't there like 100 Avalons out there? Is that a real person?
Hunter
Yeah, Hunter
Avalon.
Avalon.
I don't know if he was
There's
Channel
no way
5
he
in the
got
Huey.
interviewed by Channel 5. Maybe.
That was a pretty crazy story
Mhm.
that happened to him, but
Yeah, he's not like a political like streamer. He's like he mostly goes to like real world events.
There's
Yeah. Maybe
okay,
he
you
did. I
may be
don't know.
number 2 because this
Prime, you need to watch that video.
the list of hunters actually
Okay.
sucks.
It's Crip Mac.
Crip Mac.
I'm watching it now. Oh, I have to watch the whole thing. It's 11 minutes long.
You don't have to
we
watch
should
it right
all
now.
watch
but
it.
the
Just,
game is
just
really
pull it
funny.
up. Just pull it up.
Okay.
We should
It's
all
funny
watch
because
it.
he's serious. Like that's the thing.
I don't know.
Crips.
Reminds me of my uncle.
I'm not-
You don't.
I'm not
You
sure
know
if I
who Crip
should-
Mac is,
Got-
right?
I have no idea any
What?
of this. This is that's why he sent it to me. I don't know who this person is. But okay, I'll have to watch it later then, because I don't know who this person is. But it sounds like a fun internet lore. Okay, so let's get started because this is going to be a contentious issue, and we probably needed more time that I'm already giving it. All right. So hello, thank you for being here. Thank you to the panelists and thank you to the audience for stopping by. This is Every Roundtable, which we do Mondays 8 p.m. Eastern. We got a great group of guests here. We'll do intros and opening statements at the same time. Everyone, if you've enjoying this conversation, consider supporting the channel. Sub to the channel on Twitch. Consider helping us out that way. It's a big help. We'd love to. Yeah, I just did my taxes, and it would like I think subs like count as tips. I'm pretty sure they do.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Donald Trump. Thank you, Donald Trump,
Yeah, thank you, Donald. Thank you, Donald Trump, for
for having
half-assing
a
that
regressive
policy.
tax.
Yeah, for half-assing that policy. It's awful. But I'll take it. So consider
I don't
helping
think it's
us
regressive.
out
It
by
is.
tips. That way. Also, help us out on YouTube. Consider supporting the channel, either becoming a member or easier. The quicker path is using a super chat, and we will discuss your super chat, like these super chats that we had so far. Thank you so much to the 3 people who super chatted. They've been great, and we've they become conversation pieces. So if you want that to happen, right? You want us to discuss your comment for it to be part of the conversation, then consider super chatting. It's a huge help. And if you're on Kick, just hit the follow button. I know you're not going to. I asked you to, but you're not going to. But hit the follow button.
Don't be so negative. It's a yes. Yeah. Every reason.
I'm going on past. I'm going to go past experience here. But it'd be great if you did. Okay. So let's get started. Lactoid not here as usual. Once again. He must be going to get his FUBU jacket. All right. We'll skip Lactoid. We'll go to Hunter to get it started.
Oh, okay. I will.
Oh, sorry, correct. I hadn't read the topic. That's right.
True.
We still got time. On. We'll see if Blackhood makes it. If not, I really want to make
He's
fun of
dancing
him.
right now. Like
He's
Blackwood
getting
Blackwood
ready.
really
He's like
does.
Dwight.
He needs
Yeah.
a better chair than that. Why does he sit in that chair?
his back.
There's
he
a
can't
lot
sit
of
on-
things that
he
Lactoid
cannot
does
sit
that
on
I don't
any other chair
understand.
because of his back.
He's got like
I
a
don't-
bad
yeah,
back
it's
or
terrible.
something, and I think he's got like an ass pad on there. Like
Homie's still on one ply toilet paper, so I
Oh.
don't know.
Yeah.
He's a lawyer. He does know. Get a good, better back chair. I just don't like that.
And
gonna-
Yeah.
2-ply toilet paper, more plies.
There are so many things
Yeah.
to criticize about Lactoid. This is one the least of it, but it is
No,
a
this is
thing,
at the
and we
top of the
can't
list for
criticize it. No, it's fine. No, I'm saying
No, it's
we should do it.
Well,
We
we're
should
allowed
do
to
that.
criticize it.
Yeah.
First
yeah,
of all,
yeah.
fuck you guys. Second of all, it's my back. This is
Put
actually
the
like
glasses back on.
no, the firm kind of like the blockiness of the
It
chair.
feels like a man holding you.
No, the problem with office chairs. The problem with office chairs is like if there's a give, if there's like wiggle, then like my back's not like anchored. It's not supported. And if it's just like literally like a rigid thing, like it's
Like a stool.
So even a pad.
I feel like
Lemon,
it's getting
a soft
worse
pad?
over
No,
time. I
there's
feel like
no- there's
this
no
chair is
pad. It's
causing the
just
back
wood.
issues.
so
No,
I
no,
just
I'm
have, like,
asking. Like, would a pad be bad?
Yeah.
Okay.
because I wiggle too much, and so like if I wiggle, I'll rest on one side, like a one butt cheek
You'll be
too long,
uneven.
and then
You got bad
my
hips?
spine is like kind of turned, and then over time it starts to cause issues. So
I'm sorry
Did
about
you have
that.
scoliosis as a boy?
no, I don't.
No, he
I
just
don't
danced a
think
lot.
so. I
That's
don't
what
think
fucked
so.
up his spine.
There
It was
is
all those
one.
dance moves.
I think there might be some kind of scoliosis because only one side of my back cracks, and it cracks somewhat frequently.
Hmm.
Should maybe see someone about that.
Yeah, work on that, bud.
Yeah,
You're too
I should see a
young.
real doctor,
only 30.
also known as a
Yes.
chiropractor.
No.
Nah,
As much as I
chiropractors are
can
the
criticize you,
devil.
I'm like, yo, do not never let
I
any
know.
chiropractor play
Chiropractors
any
are the
sort of
devil.
Look, I am also skeptical of chiropractors. So
No, you
Let's-
should shun them. and
They're the
criticize them.
devil.
They're witch doctors.
Hopefully,
I mean, kind of.
hopefully,
What's his name?
like our friend Lactoid can get some help because back problems fucking suck. They
do
really,
suck.
they are
Yeah.
not fun. Yeah. Okay. So I'll read the topic. A recent editorial makes the case that all Jews are responsible for ending the nation of Israel, which the author believes is a genocidal project. The author, who is Jewish herself, posits that Jews have been actively complicit in the colonial project rather than hapless bystanders to a rogue regime. She believes that the only way to not be a party to the genocide is to take an active role in dismantling the state of Israel. Do you think there is any merit to her argument? Are Jewish Americans largely complicit? If they don't make an affirmative pro-Israel case, is it a Jewish American's responsibility to do anything about the situation? Or contrary to this author, are you in favor of the Zionist project? And credit to our friend Doobie for sending me this article. It was a long article, but I think was a worthwhile read. I wasn't actually, it wasn't, these arguments weren't new to me, but I don't imagine a lot of people have been. I don't imagine many people have been exposed to this argument. I don't think this is the framing that's used within the United States. So again, what the author is saying here is that one, like Israel is a genocidal project, a settler colonial project, ethno-nationalist project, and that they say that, like, within the Jewish community there's a lot of active support, right? That there's not many people who even pretend to be neutral, according to this author, right? Like there's a lot of active support within the community, like for instance, like sending money, right, to various like Israeli causes, right? Some maybe not necessarily to the settlers or something, but in some way supporting Israel, or like sometimes like the IDF. There's a lot of that, but then there's also like giving political support, standing up for Israel in fucking debates, right? There's a lot of individuals who Jewish Americans who in some way interact with the Israeli project, and she's saying like that there is no innocence here. In any case, even if there was, like, there should be an active effort to stop the harm that Israel causes. So I'm really curious what everyone else has to say about this. I have mixed thoughts myself, but yeah, wondering where you all be. So we'll start with our friend Lactoid and work our way around.
yeah, I'm Lactoid. You can find me at Lactoid TV on Twitch or on YouTube. I actually did have a while ago, before I even knew this was going to be a prime panel topic, and Doobie can attest to this. I had a little bit of discussion with Doobie on this very topic, and look, I'll be honest with you. There are certain things about Israel that I think Doobie has convinced me of. Not everything, of course, but certain things. I think that his information and sources were a big part in, for me, coming to the conclusion that I think Israel's gone too far, and that I think should be taking a step back from what they've been doing, and that the U.S. should stop funding Israel taking things too far, which we do. That being said, there are some parts of this article that I think are really problematic, to use a super left-coded term. The first thing is just right at the start, right? So how the article starts. Quote,
It's very redundant.
I have come to have tremendous disdain for my people, the evil we have wrought, and the demons we have become. Our craven hypocrisy, our Holocaust hand-wringing, our selfish dissociation, our bottomless both sidesing, our catatonic inaction, our feeble sign waving, our condescending condemnations, our wallowing victim complex, our self-indulgent betrayals, and then I just keep going. It's a whole paragraph of just the problem with quote unquote my people, which in this case is Jews. And the article is yes, all Jews. I think there's problems with that. If this article was limited to, I think that there is a problem amongst the Jewish community where Zionism seems to be too widely accepted, and like I think that those Zionists need to do more self-reflection to come away from these beliefs that they hold. I mean, that would be a relatively milquetoast article, but I think this person goes much further than that and makes claims that are much more extreme than that. And I think that's I don't think anybody denies that she's batshit crazy if you look into this person at all. I mean, this person advocates for the complete destruction of America. I mean, it's truly like some pretty harebrained shit. And so I don't like the author. I don't agree with the author. I think there is some semblance of like a point in the article, but it's lost because she just goes way too ham.
Okay. So, and I didn't for the if the audience wants to follow along, it's a long article. But yes, it's called the title, Yes, All Jews. And I would link this, but like I feel like I might get in trouble. I don't know
It's that
what
bad.
happened.
Pretty
I don't think
aggressive.
it's bad, but like I don't know how like the Twitch mods and the YouTube mods are going to be. Like I don't know, right? Which is a problem.
What's that thing
in
Voldemort
of
said?
itself. Yeah. So
You mean
I'll
Dumbledore?
tell you the link.
About Voldemort?
No, I'm in Voldemort.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I know.
So, so age. So if you just read the URL, if you want to take a look, it's AgeLender, AGELENDER.substack.com /p/yes-all-Jews. But if you search Yes All Jews and AgeLender, AGELENDER, you should be able to find it. Okay, if you want to check out the article for yourself. All right, so let's go to our friend Hunter.
Yes, the second most important person in Andrew Callahan's life, as we've asserted, not third. Okay. Yeah, this article is I'll be honest, I didn't fully read it. I had a lot going on today, but I scanned quite a bit. I also want to frame the
I
argument.
sent it to you days ago, though.
Yeah, I know, but I procrastinated until today, and then today was busy.
A true academic.
I did scan it, and I am ready to have the conversation in class. I want to frame the argument. I might describe myself as Jewish, but just to frame it, my dad's Jewish, and I didn't really grow up religiously Jewish at all. I am ethnically, I suppose. My, Israel, I am able to get Israel citizenship and get a birthright trip, and also Hitler would consider me Jewish. So I think I can call myself Jewish for the purposes of the debate. But in case there's an Orthodox screaming at me, I understand you probably don't consider me Jewish. I wonder a lot with this essay, what specifically the prescription is. Like, I understand that it's that Jews writ large should sort of take accountability for what Israel is doing, but are we advocating for people to just sort of stop someone with a yarmulke in the street and berate them about what's going on in Palestine and ask them for their opinion? Earlier in the debate, we kind of talked about shibboleths, right? That like there are specific words that we look to signify if you're an in-group. And I feel like with Israel and Palestine, we're looking for shibboleths to say the right word, to say genocide, or to say, I don't know, there's a bunch of different words to just signify that you're on the right team. And this is a really complex, nuanced situation that I think you can kind of be, I mean, my position is largely pro-Palestine, but I think I'm pretty nuanced about it. I think you can recognize what Hamas is, what Hamas stands for, what their, what their beliefs are, and recognize that doesn't, as a Jew, it can get pretty complicated. And not allowing that nuance to exist as a human being is pretty weird, I guess. Yeah,
Okay.
go ahead, Prime. I'm excited for the anti-Semitism in this debate.
We're
We're all feeling it.
Ew. Let's go.
Sam is
I
out.
see
He wants no part of the anti-Semitism. He's like, anti-Semitism, I'm out.
I see that super chat. I'm going to read it when I get to the person, but thank you. I am going to get to your super chat. You know what I'm talking about. Let's go to our friend Corey.
So at least from what I gathered from the art from this, there's two things that I gathered from this very nuanced and very passionate article. Is like, one, Israel is evil, and two, America is evil. So in my mind, the only solution is like they should just nuke each other. Like, problem solved. Obviously, I think that's the only logical conclusion. But I echo Hunter's criticism that I pretty much I came to the same conclusion. Like, there's no, from what I can tell, and I might just be illiterate, there's no actual substance there of like what to do other than like, yeah, should we just start berating Jewish people? Yeah, I don't. But I see no meaningful prescription in that article. That like is not really actionable. It's not, and I at the very least don't see that's going to lead to any meaningful change. But I could be wrong. But other than that, yeah, I don't think there's like a as much as again I echo Hunter's sentiments as well as like largely pro-Palestine. But I don't think this article does anything to like further that movement in any meaningful way. And I'll leave it there for now.
So I just want to say, I do want to say one thing. I don't know what's this mean quickly. What is meaningful? I don't understand. Like, we're all talking about articles here. None of these things are meaningful, right? I don't know what article does anything.
Some more than others.
No, but there's
I
often
know.
prescriptions
It's fine.
attached.
I shouldn't.
Okay, we can get into that in the debate, but yeah.
Yeah. I just okay. Let's go to our friend Ali.
Yeah. I don't know. This article just seemed like someone who is, in the beginning of the article, she said she's disgusted with what her people have been doing, and especially in her name, right? Like, we constantly hear the conflation of Israel and Jewish people, how Israel's the only Jewish state, how Israel's the only state that keeps the Jews safe, right? Outside of Israel, we have this thing. So there's this tie to like Jews that Israel has, and then the actions that get done by them are also done in their name too, right? So it kind of gets expounded. And after 3 years now of watching people, Arabs go on and Muslims go on and discuss, and having us we had to condemn Hamas. We had to condemn Hezbollah. We have to condemn terrorist attacks all over the world. It's just like constantly in our faces, right? But then when it gets to the Jews, right, or when it gets to Zionists, they don't have to confront any of these things. And then the third part, which is why I think the article is actually just yes, all Jews. It would be the Zionist argument's fault. Anytime you say anything about Zionism or Zionists and how Zionists are bad or Zionism is bad, it always gets met with you. Well, the overwhelming majority of Zionists of Jews are Zionists, over 90%, 95%, 97%. So are you saying all Jews are this way? And it's like, well, you're saying all Jews are this way. If Zionism is a chosen ideology and being Jewish is just something you're born into, well, then no, I'm judging the ideology that you chose to believe in, not judging what you were born into. And so I think this article is kind of pushing back against all that. In her name, in being Jewish, all of these atrocities have happened, all of these arguments have happened, and then this labeling of anti-Semitism going around. At a certain point, all of this creates more anti-Semitism towards non-affiliated Jewish people, right? The 10% or 5% or 3% of non-Zionist Jews who are just trying to live, who are maybe even in support of Palestine, right? This anti-Semitism gets thrown on them. They have to bear the guilt of a nation that does atrocities supposedly in their name and for their safety. So I completely understand why she kind of went off the wall in this article.
Thank you so much. Let's go to our friend Doobie.
So I just want to be clear about like what we're actually discussing, I think. So the reason I suggest this to Prime is because I had a discussion with this about this with Wick earlier. Was it last week? I think it was last week. And Wick's position was that this is anti-Semitic. She's anti-Semitic. She wants to kill all the Jews, yada, yada, right? My position was this seems very standard. It's not so much that Jews are collectively responsible for the crimes of Israel, that there's a collective responsibility within the community to target an evil within the community. Very similar to what we've seen with like Muslims, right? When there were issues in Muslim mosques of jihadism and people calling for violence, the Muslim community was told, hey, you guys have a responsibility to wipe this out of your community. The Black community gets this all the time. right? Issues of criminality, gang culture, etc. They're told, hey, this is a problem within your community. It's all of your responsibility to do something about it, to target this thing and wipe it out. Same thing happened with Christians, right? Like homophobia. Exactly the same kind of rhetoric. So same thing, and if you want going like historically, this happened with the Germans after World War II. All Germans were in some way held collectively responsible for Nazism and the damage of Nazism, right? And there was an understanding that they had that going forward, all Germans had a responsibility to ensure that this evil didn't take root again. So to me, it seems along that line. I think obviously the rhetoric is very inflammatory. I don't agree with the prescriptions. I don't agree with, I'm not like a laying-back lefty person, right? So I don't agree with like just wiping out the United States and Israel and sending everybody to wherever the fuck. But I just don't think it's anti-Semitic, right? Whether or not the ideas are good. To me, this is just like an internal critique of the community, a very inflammatory internal critique of the community, along the same line of like Jewish tradition, right? Like there are Jewish prophets that held all of Israel collectively responsible for moral failings within the community and called them like demons and a pit of vipers and things like this. So to me, it seems like along that line, along the line of Jewish tradition, but also the kind of like collective responsibility frame that we've held for other communities without an issue. So I don't think there's anything anti-Semitic about holding this community to the same standard. I think it'd be anti-Semitic not to do that, actually.
Okay, thank you for that. And we'll go to someone who I haven't had here in a long time. Connor, we're happy to have you back. And before then, just quick super chat from Michael Hadgetube says, holy shit, great beard trim, counterpoints. So they like your beard. Oh, hold on. Well, why don't we let everyone experience it? Hold on one second. Okay. Looks good. Looks good. You look good. You look handsome.
Beautiful.
So shout out to him. Yeah. And thank you, Michael, for again the other kind super chat. Oh, wait a minute. We got another before you do it. We got another super chat.
Awful beard trim counterpoint.
No, this is a longer one. I see you, grassroots, and I will okay, so yeah, I'll once we're done with opening statements, then I'll read your super chat. But I see it. All right, go ahead. Counterpoints, please.
Yeah, so I'm ecstatic to just concede to Doobie immediately. It's so good, but I'm going to walk you through it, okay? So the article, and I think the stat is actually 88%. So 88% of Jews support some kind of Jewish state. So there's like 10 to 12% that don't. But even out of the 10 to 12% that don't, the article points out that roughly half of those people are two-staters, meaning that they don't want to dissolve the state of Israel. They just want to freeze the border and have like a Palestinian state that is viewed as co-equal. So that's where she's kind of saying like, yes, 95% of Jews are guilty of Zionism. And realistically, even the remaining 5% are not sufficiently critical of Israel in order to actually do something about this like ideological scourge on the planet. Now, I do think that Ali was underselling it a little bit. She was not only saying that she was sick of Jews en masse being complicit in the crimes of the state of Israel. She was actually saying that you are insufficiently anti-Zionist unless you're willing to praise the Al-Qassam brigades.
Correct.
And the revered, glorious
spice.
October 7th, 2023 counter-revolutionary
Miraculous.
action. Miraculous.
Yeah,
it was
spicy.
divinely inspired.
Al-Aqsa flood. Yeah.
Right. The Al-Aqsa flood. And then she did say, and I do think this is very interesting. She said effectively all of these people within these ideological frames are the same to her. So if you're a greater Israel biblical literalist or Torah liberalist, where you think that it is the Jews' divine right to inherit the territory east of the Nile and west of the Euphrates, then even the next step, which I would argue Bibi Netanyahu is, which is annexing southern Lebanon south of the Litani River, annexing Gaza, and annexing what they call Judea and Samaria, which is effectively the West Bank. If you're a two-stater who wants to freeze the borders, or basically, if you're even a two-stater who wants to freeze the borders, you are insufficiently anti-Zionist, and the only correct anti-Zionist position is the total dissolution of the state of Israel and the emigration of Jews back to whatever homelands they came from in the past 100 years. Okay. Now, the reason why I'm going to mockingly concede the debate to Doobie immediately is because I fucking love the collective guilt. I love it. It's so great. Okay. So I, as a white guy, I have to take accountability for the sins of colonialism, decolonialism, nationalism, racism, Native American genocide, West African slavery. But now I get to say, hey, blacks, you're responsible for disproportionate criminality. Hey, Muslims, you're responsible for jihadist terrorism. Hey, Jews, you're responsible for Zionism. And then we can just all have like an awesome intellectual political discourse where we just argue about whose community is more fucked up and whose responsibility it is to police their own community more. And while so the real position is, I think that's fucked up, and it's going to be counterproductive if every time I'm on a panel with Ali, I'm like, take responsibility for jihadism, you fucking Islamist piece of shit. Like, I don't think that that's really going to result in good conversation. It could be really funny, though. So I'm like, I'm torn. I'm torn between the comedic value of collective guilt and the actual destruction of our political discourse.
I think you've gotten Lactoid on board with that last bit.
It could be fun. Imagine going on every Prime panel and just being like,
Yes,
hey,
all
Prime,
black people.
apologize for black criminality now. Like,
In his FUBU jacket.
it could be fun.
Could be. And then last but not least, and hopefully he'll be able to make it through the whole thing. Our friend Bam, please.
Okay, can y'all hear me?
So yeah, for now.
Hello. Okay, good. Just making sure. I'm guessing that Connor ended up saying at least something I wanted to point to. I don't think it's good when we do collective blame as a whole against communities as a whole. Like we say, like, oh, it's fine when we do it against Muslims, and it's fine when we do it to black. I usually don't like when black people get pigeonholed into having to accept the responsibilities of criminality, especially when there's a lot of other factors that lead into it. And I don't think that leads to good outcomes. I actually think that it's led to a lot of the negative outcomes we see as a whole, and a lot of the negative externalities end up being sort of, I guess, supposed upon us. I think that we can have a conversation about the links that Israel has gone to in the recent conflict. I even was forced in a conversation make a concession on what
Hey, Brad, it's bad. It's bad.
What?
It's bad.
I'm out again. Don't worry.
You're okay.
Sorry, bro.
I don't know.
Yeah, we want you to, or maybe try your phone. Hey, Bam, like consider using your phone. That might do it.
It feels awful, but I'll try it.
Yeah. Okay. So while he's working on that, we'll jump into it. I have a super chat, so I just want to get this out of the way, and then we'll jump right into it.
I was gonna say
Super
something.
chat from Grassroots Hegemon. It says, "Look of that psycho broad. Wanna all the Jews to be gone. I'm a federalist. I recommend starting the project at home." I don't know.
To be clear, he's
She's
Jewish.
saying-
he probably
yeah,
just
she's
wants
saying-
to deport that chick. That's what he's saying.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
I didn't-
Well, no, he's
Gotcha.
saying she should kill herself.
Yeah. He's a Jew. He wants her to be deported
Okay.
from the United States.
Okay.
I gotta say,
I think she's
Grassroots-
self-deported. She's she moved to like Poland or some shit. Not Poland. I can't remember. It's like one of the Swedish countries. One of the in that general direction.
Yeah,
Mission accomplished.
Lactoid.
There we go. She did it.
So
think she
yeah,
was born in San
Grassroots.
Diego.
Sorry, That did not come across, though I appreciate the $20. You can send more suspect super chats as long as
If you want to
$20.
clarify and
You know,
refine your position, you
if
can
you want
send
to
more money.
clarify, yeah. But thank you, seriously, thank you for the $20.
Keep correct.
We really do
Keep
appreciate
editing.
that. And there was another one from Grassroots Hegemon, $5, says, "Look, if we are going to collectively get on Prime's ass, it should be for being a socialist."
And
to be honest.
Lactoid. He's a socialist.
Yeah,
And Lactoid.
God,
All
at least you're
socialists.
socialist. So that's great. Yeah. Hey, I'll accept that, and I'll whenever you guys want to meet me on the field of battle and to lose, yeah, I'm available. So, but yeah, thank you so much for the kindness, the $5.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll throw it to you, Lactoid, first.
Oh, my God.
So
I'm
I
sorry,
think
Ollie, if you want to, I'll go to you next.
You're-
so. There is in this article a very explicit prescription for what this author thinks should happen. I'm just going to read right here. Quote, genuine Jew. I'm saying quote very clearly to Twitch moderator chat. Okay, this is a quote.
This is a quote from the article.
This is
Not
a quote from the
from
article. This
Lactoid.
is not my belief. Quote,
Yeah.
genuine Jewish anti-Zionists unwaveringly support the total eradication of Israel and the greater Satan, America, spelled with a K.
I said they should nuke each other. That was
Full
pretty
land
clear.
back without a speck of Zionist or Euro-American imperial settler colonial control. This includes Jews supporting removing fellow Jews from Palestine while ensuring they don't do harm where they go, further displace indigenous peoples elsewhere, and open, reverent support for Palestine's armed resistance. Gaza's Mujahideen are the heart of the struggle, currently spearheaded by Hamas's Al-Qassam brigades, who executed the miraculous Al-Aqsa flood on October 7th, 2023. An operation that genuine Jewish anti-Zionist unequivocally recognizes the most prolific anti-colonial operations, or one of the most prolific anti-colonial operations in history. Now, this paragraph.
End quote. End quote.
End quote. End quote.
End quote.
Thank you,
No more
thank you.
thoughts there.
So this
Looking out
paragraph.
for you, Lactoid.
Thank you. I appreciate that. This paragraph, obviously, I mean, throughout the entire article, I mean, there's some crazy shit later on too about how like Islam is actually the wellspring of resistance and Judaism is like godless.
Yeah,
and
she
evil.
knows she can convert, right?
Yeah,
Like,
she can. I mean, the language here is very absolutist. It's very aggressive, of course, but it's also genocidal, right? All people in Israel, all Jews in Israel, all 6-7 million of them, they all go. They all go.
That's ethnic cleansing,
Actually,
not genocide.
yeah, I've been reminded
Does
by
my
Zionists
prescription
that
fulfill
That's
the
ethnic
criteria?
cleansing. That's not genocide. We need to be
Yeah,
very specific with our language when it
yeah.
comes to the people in this region.
Yeah,
so
they're very. Yeah.
that is ethnic cleansing, not genocide. Just so we're clear.
I think if I disagree somewhat. I think that in like a perfect world, you could categorize it that way. But if you're designating this as they all need to go, and then you proceed to praise the Al-Aqsa flood, which was direct killing of civilians, as being a heroic action, knowing full well all these 6 million Jews, 7 million Jews are not just going to leave Israel. The prescription here, I think, is killing them all. I think it's a fair
Is the
read.
prescription that's happening to the Palestinians and being done in her name. So like this whole thing with the conflation of like, oh, the Al-Aqsa mosque and or the Al-Aqsa flood and all this. For the past 3 years, Israel's been killing mass civilians, taking land from other people, and people have been praising it and saying that the IDF is the most moral army in the world.
whoa.
So after
who are we
3
talking to?
I'm not saying that.
though. Because who's saying
Zionists.
that?
I'm not talking to you specifically, but we're talking.
Well,
about
according to the
within
article, I'm a
context of
Zionist,
this
but I'm not
argument.
saying
Yeah,
that.
he's Jewish. He's not
I understand that. But a lot of Zionists do say that. A lot of people do get on and debate and
Sure,
have this conversation, and to the point where our government funds this, and we are in agreement that they are one of the most moral armies in the world. They drop their pamphlets and they make their calls. So for 3 years, we've been watching these people do terrorism in the Middle East. No one says anything. No one calls it out. There's no condemnation. So after 3 years of condemning Hamas and condemning Hezbollah and condemning the whole thing, yeah, I think it is kind of weird that like we're okay with one version of ethnic cleansing and genocide and bombing and white phosphorus and taking over land, but then when the other people do it, it's that one's terrorism. But this
This-
one
Yeah,
is-
those people are psychopaths.
yeah,
the
Ollie,
people
Ollie,
who
I mean,
Well, just to quickly respond, this would be a perfect argument for making an article that was like ironically about this and saying like, aha, so
That's a
this
great
is
point.
crazy, isn't it? Well, isn't it
No, I don't think
also
she's
crazy?
being ironic. I think she's.
I know she's. I know she's not being ironic. That's the problem.
Yeah, I think she's watching a genocide happen in her name, right? At least a perceived genocide happen in her name. I think she's watching anti-Semitism go on.
And something she's like, let's genocide these people.
I think she's
instead.
watching. I think she's watching the leaders of the only Jewish state in the most practical state go absolutely terrorist crazy, and she's she's
Yeah, and then
officially.
she falls into
would you say that Israel's committing genocide in Lebanon right now?
Well,
I don't think so.
Wait, hold on.
I
Because,
think
hold on.
areas.
Balactoid. They're specifically requiring. They're calling the Christian and Druze communities there and telling them they need to kick out the Shia Muslims.
Don't hide your
Expel
Shias.
them. Yeah, don't hide your Shias. like it's.
I get
like,
it. At least
I can say Connor made this point earlier.
but I think
Apple Maps has effectively
hold on,
erased
hold on.
the
So
bottom
so
of Lebanon off
like,
their
Connor-
maps. The cities are no longer listed now.
Yeah, so Connor, if that's if that's ethnic cleansing and it's not genocide, then why is what she's suggesting genocide? I mean, I'm assuming those people also don't want to leave. Many of them will not peacefully leave.
Well, so sorry for interrupting, but I would categorize, if we were to take, let's say that we dissolve the nation state of Israel, and let's say that we had almost like a magic wand. Nobody's going to shoot each other. We're all just going to like hive mind it and execute the exact same agenda at the same time. So all of the Jews in Israel agree this is no longer safe. We're joking about the last 100 years. We're going to head out. So all the Maghrebis and the Mizrahis and the Ashkenazis pick up sticks and go back to wherever their grandpas were from. Okay. So if we did that, I wouldn't consider that a genocide because these people still exist. They still have their culture. They still have their religion. I would consider it ethnic cleansing, though, because effectively you've taken an ethno-religious group and you've removed it from the territory. But this isn't even the most interesting aspect of the conversation for me. What is the most interesting aspect of the conversation to me is how should we hold people, quote unquote, accountable for the collective guilt of their ethno-religious, racial, demographic group? Where do we draw the line? And also, what are we asking of those people prescriptively?
Yes.
Because I
So
do
she
think
actually.
well, hold on,
Go
real
ahead.
quick. I just think that this article is wild because it's demanding that Jews become complicit in the dissolution of the state of Israel and of the United States. And it also says that if you don't praise Hamas, then you're not sufficiently anti-Zionist, which that's not going to happen, right? So what's the real ask?
Okay, so I mean, I think she's pretty clear about what her ask is, right? So she sees Zionism as an evil that has taken over the Jewish community, taken over just about all the Jewish institutions. She thinks that if you were in this community and you're not doing anything to fight this, you were complicit. I think we would hold. So if 80 to 90% of white people were Nazis, right, and they were having Nazi meetings and the white institutions were pushing Nazism and parents were sending their kids off to Nazi camp, I think you would agree, hey, if you're in this community and you're not saying anything about this, you are complicit in some way. She's making that exact same argument. And what she's demanding is that Jews unite against Zionism and cut it out of the community. I think it's like in the heading of the article, like the subheading of the article. It's the Jews must unite to cut Zionism away from Judaism or something like this. Right? She wants to disconnect the two because right now she believes that Zionism has basically infected the Jewish community.
But I want to press you on that because I feel like you're saying washing the article a little bit. So
no, not at all.
Well, hold on. So does let's say we all agree hypothetically that this is a good idea. Okay. Anti-Zionism is base. Let's go. Okay. So do you think that if all the anti-Zionists fail to praise Hamas as revolutionary freedom fighters, they are insufficiently anti-Zionist?
Okay. So I understand what she's.
That's what she says. I'm asking you for your opinion.
But you're talking about you're disagreeing with her prescriptions now. You think she's going too far, and like I said, I think she's going too far. She would say that I'm not a true anti-Zionist, right? And I fucking hate Zionism.
Correct.
However, disagreeing with her prescriptions does not equal anti-Semitism. First off, it doesn't equal. She has no prescriptions at all. Yeah, I think she's going too far in her prescriptions, but I think short of demanding that all Jews fight to destroy the United States or whatever and destroy Israel. Short of that, I think the core of her argument or the core of her prescription is if you're within the Jewish community, we need to cut Zionism out of the Jewish community because it's an evil, and defending this evil has reduced us morally and has brought us to the lowest point in history in terms like our morality.
I want to.
But okay, that's not even true though.
Why is that not true?
Hold on to that. I want to toss it to
Yeah.
Corey. And I do have some super chats. Let me get through the super chats, and I'm going to Corey, and then we can go back to you, Connor. So like, don't forget what your objections are. Okay. So we have a few super chats. $5 from Flare Runner. Explain grillhudism to lactoid. He might be down, which is
On
weird
his
for me,
grill,
but
his
that
grilling.
would be anti-grillism. Oh, grilladism, anti-grilladist. Is
Grill
this a real thing?
hotism. So being extreme about being normal.
He wants to spread the grills all around the world. He's on.
Being
The
extreme
grills
about
are a
being-
deep well of moral justification that I
So
draw
it's
from
like
to fight the evils.
it's like being
Invading
hardcore on
veganists.
centrist or like down for the status
You're the
quo.
evil
Is that
one.
what it is?
No, so unironically, my community is the COG. It's the community of grill hotists, and
Okay.
basically, we're just extreme about trying to be as fucking normal as possible.
Okay, which means status quo. That's another way for status quo, though.
Yeah,
but-
radically moderate.
Yeah.
That's oh god, kind of lame. But thank you.
Having
Fell
friends and
Runner.
family
Better
to
than
grill meat
LARPing.
with.
Better than-
Sorry, wait a minute, hold on. Wait, no. Actually, no, it's a problem. No, it's a problem. No, fuck that. Right. So again, thank you, Fellrunner. I'm not saying fuck you. You're cool. You're the coolest person here.
Give me more
actually,
money.
You're only saying that because he
Um,
gave you $5.
Yeah, but
He'll say it
no,
again too.
but like, no, fuck this idea of being aggressively normal. No, actually, you should
I am
be
normal.
questioning the status quo. That's the good thing to do. The good thing to do is actually to
Should be glorifying Hamas.
Right.
Okay, that's what I
Hey,
said.
out of
All
your-
moving
out of
on,
your
that's
mouth.
fine. $10.
The miraculous Al-Aqsa flood.
But grassroots hegemon. I appreciate Connor, a non-Jew, inviting me, another non-Jew, into the tribe, and I humbly decline out of respect. Okay, so I guess he's not Jewish.
My bad. That was anti-Semitic of me. I assumed because he had money, he was Jewish. So my bad. My bad.
The Jewish
Yeah, but he
mods,
tipped, so
I
that
do
should have been
not
a sign.
support.
Just so we're clear,
I-
Doobie isn't Jewish either, Connor.
No,
Jesus
the Jewish
Christ.
mods, I do not support. I
I didn't say anything. I don't know what you're talking about.
But no, I am 1.1%. Okay,
That's true. That's
according
true.
to
He got a
23andMe,
test.
it's true.
He's got a test. Yeah, he is.
23andMe is like
I-
dissolved.
I mean, to be fair,
Really.
I'm probably part Jewish if we were to test.
Probably. So
So you agree they're from that region?
Last one, also from Grassroots, $5 says, "I've humbly invited you over to my neighbor's house." Me? Is that me? I don't know.
He's talking to
Um,
Connor, I think, still about the
maybe
calling
Connor.
Jewish thing. Yeah.
He probably has a grill.
He probably has a grill. But thank you for the kindness, Grassroots. Seriously, much appreciated. But yeah, like fuck being like quote unquote normal and like elevating that as if that's like uncritically, right? I think most normal things are probably good. That's probably why they're normal, but not all normal things. And I don't like the idea of aggressively defending normal things just because they're the things that you're used to, right? The things that you grew up with. And so they must have some sort of value to them. No, actually question all of it. Every single bit of it. The things that are worth it will stick around. All right. My opinion. All right, let's go to our friend Corey. And we'll hit up Connor later on.
Doobie, and I guess maybe the others, like assuming, okay, like working under the assumption that it's an ethnic cleansing or a genocide. Like, do you think then the United States should invade Israel,
Personally,
or let's say the world?
I'm look along that line, but I don't think we need to go that far.
Why not?
I
Well,
think-
because I would say, like,
Don't
is
ask
there-
me, I'm all
is
Sounds
that-
like you're not
like-
sufficiently
like most-
anti-Zionist.
is there not a moral imperative to stop a genocide? As
Yes.
in, like,
so hold on. So like
Yeah.
most Democrats now, which I was actually Prime. I don't know if you've seen those polls, but most Democrats now favor sanctions on Israel. The same sanctions that took part South Africa.
should we have
during
sanctioned
apartheid.
Germany?
Yes. What?
You're right,
Yes.
But no, as in only
No,
sanction Germany.
I think
That's,
no,
that's the
no,
response
I
that
agree.
the
Hold on.
world.
So I agree. It does make sense to go a lot further, and I think it would make sense.
But why
to go
not boots
further
on the
with Israel.
ground though? If it.
I'd be in favor of that. The issue with Israel is that I don't trust the United States to be like.
So what about the
neutral on
world?
that.
Let's say
I think
Europe.
that
Europe
would-
invades Israel.
Yeah, I'd be fine
Okay.
with that.
I'd be down.
Then coming with the military and providing
Okay, I'd
security
support.
for both sides. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
But
But
I
I mean,
think
the
that-
really
last
quickly,
thing.
go ahead.
Sorry.
I was going to say, so you guys keep hitting on this miraculous Al-Aqsa flood thing, and I understand, given what happened on October 7th, that's very fucked. It's a fucked language.
To put it mildly. Yeah.
However, looking at it from her perspective and trying to understand her perspective, I think is important here because it's through her perspective that she's calling it this. And from her perspective, she doesn't believe that there were like mass rapes. Actually, I don't believe that there are mass rapes. Rapes happened, but I don't think it was like a systemic mass rape thing like that was pushed initially. So she doesn't believe that happened. She also doesn't believe that as many civilians were killed as by Hamas as is claimed. She believes that a lot of these people were killed by the IDF, right, by their helicopters. And this is true, that at least some of them were killed by the IDF. We know this. But I'm not going to say that most of the civilian casualties were killed by the IDF, obviously. But I think from her perspective, and I think I agree with Hassan on this actually. I saw him do an interview recently with was it Pod Save America where this came out because he said that like Hamas is like 1,000 times better than Israel or something like this. And I think that the perspective that he looks at it through, that I looked at it through, is you basically have a population that has been subjected to brutal oppression for decades. A lot of these people have grown up in this brutal oppression. It's all they've ever known. All they know is the situation where they're being bombed and ritualistically like humiliated every day. Family members being detained with no charges, raped, tortured. There's fucking countless studies and research on this where you can look at this happen all the time. It happens all the time, and in the Israeli society right now, and previously, it favors this kind of behavior toward Palestinians, right? I mean, we can look back to the first Intifada and the break their bones policy, right? Where they were breaking the bones of protesters on purpose, like, including children. So this is the brutal oppression they've been subjected to. So yeah, if you're subjected to this, if you're a Jewish person or you were outside of the Aryan box that Hitler had, and you grew up in Nazi Germany, you'd probably fucking hate Germans, right? Like I would totally understand if you hated all Germans because Germans were the ones oppressing you, even if it was actually this political party or this military, and not every individual German. But I think that's kind of what you need to. That's the lens that I see it through. That yes, there is hatred toward all Jews that exists within Hamas, absolutely. But I think the root of that is the oppression. It's sort of like if you were an African American growing up in the South during slavery, you'd probably hate fucking white people. You'd hate all of them because they're the people that have been oppressing you. Even if, there were some white people that were trying to undo slavery, right? That's also true. But from the perspective of somebody who's living, with getting the whip to their back every other day, that doesn't fucking matter. What matters is that people oppressing you look like this. They all look like this, and all of them support this from your perspective. So fuck them, right? So I can understand her not wanting to bash them or condemn them or focus on the condemnation of the civilian murder or the tactics or whatever, because the root of the problem isn't Hamas, it's the occupation, it's Zionism. Just as in the South, the root of the evil or it wasn't Nat Turner's rebellion, right? And he did kill civilians. It was slavery, right? So you can say, hey, this is the wrong way to deal with this, but I'm not living under that. I'm a privileged person, not living with this kind of oppression every day. I don't know if I was, I might fucking do the same shit, right? So
I don't think John Brown said to all the white people, leave or die.
Well, hold on, but again,
I think if he did, that'd be a problem, right?
Hold on, do you think? And this is another reason I don't think it's anti-Semitic at all, right? When she mentions the destruction of America, I think it's because I think she mentions that she believes the United States is built on basically the graves of indigenous people, right? Which is true. Being real, it is true. And I think that the reason she says America needs to be destroyed is because it's also an evil colonial project built on rape, torture, and death. Yeah, she's totally consistent. She's applying the same standard across the board to different people groups. It's not something she's applying just to Jews.
Well, it's to all of those that she's a part of, right? Because it's self-hatred.
I don't think self-hatred. Is she applying this consistently to migrants in Europe? I don't think so.
You'd have to ask her. But she mentions the United States. She mentions Israel, and why?
I don't know for sure.
I mean, she was a Jewish
American. Why would she apply it to migrants of Europe? It wouldn't make sense to apply it to migrants of Europe.
Oh, absolutely.
It's not migration.
Jewish American.
Hold on. Do you understand that? Migration
I can make the argument.
Issue she's talking about?
No, I can make the argument, right? The argument
because if you don't understand it, then you don't understand what the hell she's talking about.
Let me make the argument.
Go ahead.
It'd be yes, all North Africans, and then she'd point to how the North African migrants to Germany have their rape rate is 18 times or whatever the fuck it is of the native born Germans, and the systemic problems, blah blah blah, and the Germans
take over?
And the
Did
Germans,
they take
and
over
the
Germany?
colonialism is
Stop,
fucked.
calm down, stop being triggered so much. Let me just go through the argument. And the Germans, they're like this in their native land. These migrants have no right there. That their kids have no right there. I mean, it's like, there's something in here that actually reeks a little bit of blood and soil arguments, right? That
Yes.
this land is tied to the blood of people from back in the day, right? America is tied to the blood of, I'm guessing she doesn't believe the Native Americans that the white colonizers took it from, but I'm guessing the original tribes, the first ones that crossed the Bering Strait, I guess they have, we'll trace their genetic ancestry, and then they have first dibs on all of America. I think that this proposition is like inherently racist. I think it's inherently blood and soil. I think it implies that communities that have established themselves for long periods of time on these areas, have some obligation to leave or die. I mean, you look at the article; she's very like this part right here. Long live Hamas al-Aqsa brigades, men of honor and steel, who rise above the subterranean below with homemade weapons and unshakable faith to strike fear and fatal blows into the hearts of the Zionist enemy. Where it's like this right
End
here.
quote.
End quote. This is like psychotic poetry. She's
It
ranting.
makes sense in her argument.
It's not psychotic.
No, it is psychotic.
not really that
Yes, it
psychotic.
is.
Really?
Yes, Hamas
Crazy
rising.
is real.
Hamas,
Israel does the same thing.
stop
I don't
saying
see
we.
what's the
Stop
difference.
saying
Oh
we.
my God, we.
This is insane.
America,
This is
Americans,
insane.
most people,
Great.
most Zionists.
Bro,
that's
how
we.
can
That's
you
we that's being
pos-
spoken about.
how can
Don't
you
be so
po-
offended because I said the
Hey,
word we.
hey.
Don't say we. I don't say that.
Chill
But
out.
we know what
Chill out.
when we say
Why-
we.
how the fuck can you consistently criticize the Jewish politicians in Israel that are advocating for removing every single Palestinian from Gaza and say this is genocide, this is genocidal talk,
Mhm.
this is fucked up, whether they're advocating for ethnic cleansing or they're advocating for
spent 3
bombing
years
it until they're
condemning
all
the other
gone,
side.
etc.
spent 3 years condemning the other side.
And so right, so this is just racial tribalism for you?
No,
Wait,
this
hold
is
on,
just.
Lycott, I think
Wait,
you're-
is this just racial tribalism for you?
No, it's not
They
racial
did it.
tribalism.
They did
It's-
it to
no,
us, so we get it to them. Is that like
No, it's not
Crips
racial
and Bloods?
tribalism.
Is that what's
It's
going
not-
on?
You're
it's-
disconnected
guys,
from reality
it's-
right
it's-
now.
it's-
Like,
As a Muslim,
ethno-religious
since
tribalism,
9/11
if it's
in this
anything.
fucking country,
Wait.
I've had to condemn terrorism or jihadism, and like all through the past 3 years, right when this
You
first
still-
happened,
respond.
Collective guilt, you son of a bitch.
There was no problem asking the Arabs or the Muslims, do you condemn Hamas every 5 seconds? But you can't ask the Jews if they condemn Israel, or you can't ask them to condemn Israel if you see Hamas doing terroristic
I don't
actions.
think
but
it
then
was
you turn
every
around and you see
Muslim
this-
being asked.
and you
Wait,
see
hold
this
on.
government-
It was
100%
everybody
exactly.
who wasn't
Government-
who wasn't
And they got
told-
criticized, and you guys criticized the people.
Exactly.
behind the Muslims.
That's it.
Lycott,
So you see
Lycott,
Hamas-
hold on. I need
you
to-
see Hamas doing terrorist actions, but then
oh,
right to the
sure.
left of them, you see a country doing the
No.
same actions, but there's no condemnation on
just-
those countries. I mean, I think there's an issue
There's
just
no
because they're Jewish.
condemnation.
I'm gonna
just
throw myself
want
in here.
to read. Sorry, before you do, I just
Yep.
want to read this. The bits. Right. It says from Latinx 100 bits says this is misleading. In September 2025, the UN Independent International Commission of Inquiry report concluded Israel is committing a genocide. Absolutely. Thank you very much for that. 100 bits. Really, really kind. I was going to say to Bam before you dropped out again. I hope everything is okay. That I thank him for the super chat, not a super chat, gifting a sub. And then let me just read those super chats. I got so much to say to you guys, to people. Oh my God. But $5 from Horse God. Doobie, if the entire international community agreed on the genocide definition, would they then do anything against nuclear armed Israel to prevent it?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, I think so too. I mean, like, yeah, you don't, it doesn't have to be invasion.
Yeah,
Can we
you
boycott
just
divestment,
sanctions.
sanctions?
You know,
Why
but,
can't?
yeah,
But like,
boycott,
why
like,
shouldn't
yeah.
it be invasion then? Well, like,
I
I
before
I
that.
thought they all had to go.
Yeah, before it.
Hold on,
Oh,
before
you
that, I
be
just
for
think it'd
a
do more harm
full
than
armed
good.
invasion of Israel?
that's why I
Yeah,
asked. Of like,
Yeah, hold on. Yeah, like I
why
said earlier,
not?
I think it's
Corey's a
reasonable.
good
They
That's a good
conceded
question.
this before.
I think it'd be totally reasonable
yeah.
for outside forces to come in and provide security for the Palestinians.
Wait, provide. Wait, no,
We
no, no, no.
cannot-
As in, like,
because we wait, hold on.
No,
because
that's
we cannot
not what's
trust
being
Israel to do that.
advocated for, Doobie.
Listen,
Mott-
because we
look
cannot-
up Mott
because
and
we
Bailey
cannot-
for me.
because we cannot
No one's
trust
using
Israel to do
we
this.
use a word here.
No, I
No
do.
one's
Like I
using
said, I
these
do,
words here.
yeah, no, I do think that it would also be reasonable in the current context, right? We have a genocidal ethno state committing ethnic cleansing and genocide, yeah, I totally I think it's totally reasonable for a military to go in there and force them to stop. Right now, I understand. My issue is, yes, they do have a nuclear weapon. I don't think they'd use it. I think that'd be
They
suicidal
stole
to use
from,
it.
from America.
Yeah, they stole from
That's
us.
not
Yeah,
our
greatest
friends.
ally.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Stop
I
them
don't think they'd use
how?
it. But however, well, I was going to say, I think it
You
would
already
be
said it.
reasonable if we're any other country to invade them to get them to stop, to force them to stop.
No,
So,
no, you're-
and
no,
even-
that's
even
not
do-
what I'm
and
asking.
even
War,
do-
go to
That's
war.
not what I'm-
Even
that's
do-
not what I'm
even
asking.
Let me-
do
let me-
quote
let me-
unquote
let me-
regime change.
But
to
he's
force them to
against the
stop, yeah.
Iran
So-
war.
This is
So-
very
Just go in
straightforward.
and just fix
If I
the
remember-
regime.
It's not
if I-
straightforward, Prime, because the article is advocating
I
for
need to-
every
oh, God.
Jew needing
Yes.
to leave.
So,
is he advocating
if
for
I
that?
remember-
Hold on, no,
Hey,
no,
if I
no,
remember
no, no,
correctly,
no,
if I
no,
remember
hold on,
correctly,
go back to it. Don't mix that in. He asked a question. Corey asked a question, and he asked, like, would it be reasonable to invade? Right? We're answering that question, not about the article. Okay. So
Yeah, I'm not
for
talking about the
that
article.
question,
And I'm
it is
clarifying as well.
completely
Go ahead and
reasonable.
clarify, Corey.
It's completely reasonable to invade to stop a genocidal nation. Absolutely, 100%. Now, would that be complicated by the fact that we have a nuclear a device that they stole from us, right? Or nuclear technology that they stole from us? Yes, that would be complicated by it. But that's not the only way to do it, right? What Doobie is also saying, he's like, he understands that because he's not an idiot, and he's saying, yes, there's other ways to intervene here, right? Boycott, divestment, and sanction, which you mentioned before. This is something that we could apply. Like the Israeli
Anti-Semitic, by the way.
project, right, is actually very fragile and can collapse quite quickly if we apply the pressure. Especially like what we did to South Africa, we can do it to Israel. But you're narrowing down to like, hey, what do you want to invade? Do you want to invade? No, we don't say that we necessarily want to invade. We're just saying that, but it would be reasonable to do so.
Hold on, can I ask Lactoid a question? Because you were saying earlier, like, we're excusing the Palestinian mission, right? Or her mission to like
This woman
retake the
is.
land for Palestinians, right?
Yeah.
But we think it's ethnic cleansing and genocide when the Israeli politicians advocate for the same thing or do the same thing. So I understand how it might look that way, but I think it looks that way to you because you were ignoring the fact that one of these groups is the occupied group and the other one is the occupier, right? So from her perspective, actually, just in reality, it is just true, right? So, for example, the West Bank, with Israeli settlers there, hundreds of thousands of them. If all of them were to be forced to leave, yes, it would be ethnic cleansing. Yes, we'd be ethnically cleansing this group from the area. But the reality is, these people are occupiers. They are invaders that are occupying a land that is not theirs, right?
I mean, we laugh and roll our eyes.
So I
but
think
do
there's
laugh
a
because-
different.
because
I think
it-
there
there's
absolutely
a
is a
little
different
bit of
standard
straw
in that,
man
but-
of my position.
it's not. yeah.
I'm saying that like you could there are Israeli politicians I understand that are like very expressly using genocidal rhetoric in the sense where it's like the ones who are saying let's turn all of Gaza into a parking lot, all the people that are there they can just get wiped out, kill them all, right? This is like very obviously genocidal language. The politicians who say like they all have to go, and if they don't go, which they're not all going to go, then let's just kill them all. This is also genocidal language for sure. I don't think that the people saying like, strikes against.
Did she speak to all the Jews? I'm
stop,
sorry, you keep saying that, but like
stop.
I read the article.
Yes,
no, no. I'm asking you. Hold on.
Okay.
She didn't actually say that. Did she say that?
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to what I said. When you
maybe
say,
I missed it.
yeah, so I'm gonna repeat. I made this point earlier. Maybe you didn't hear it. I very specifically said when you say like a very specific statement of let me bring up the quote again. They all have to leave. Give me a second. I'll just read the quote and then you can draw your own.
You can just also
conclusion.
read the title of the article, maybe.
Yeah, I mean you could do that. Or I think that's fair as well. Okay. Genuine Jewish anti-Zionist unwavering support of the total eradication of Israel. Land back without a speck of Zionist or Euro-American imperial settler colonial control. Without a speck. Everybody has to go. This includes Jews supporting removing fellow Jews from Palestine, while ensuring they don't do harm wherever they go. And open reverent support for Palestine's armed resistance. Gaza's Mujahideen are at the heart of the struggle, spearheaded by Hamas's Al-Qassam brigades, who executed the miraculous Al-Aqsa flood on October 7th of 2023. You agree with me that October 7th, 2023 attack primarily killed civilians, right?
Okay, but again,
Only if you
Stop
agree
that.
that
I
Israel's
wanna
defense
answer-
primarily killed
I want to
civilians.
answer. I want to answer.
Yes,
No, hold on, no,
we need to
I'll
look
deal
at
with
this
it.
from her
Sure, sure.
perspective.
Yeah,
Only
I'm-
if you
I'm-
agree
no,
that
don't worry,
Israeli
don't worry.
has only killed
I'm
civilians.
listening to you.
Prime
primarily
ain't
killed
dodging
civilians.
shit.
I'm listening
I
to you.
can
I'm listening to
guarantee
you.
you.
I'm
Prime,
listening to you.
great. Prime. All right, sure. Yes, it killed civilians. I'm not sure if it was the majority of civilians, but let's just say that it was.
Overwhelming majority.
I'm not I'm not fighting you
Yeah.
on this.
Okay.
I'm not, but
Yeah.
in any case, right?
Yes.
The point is, even though it did that what the point was to strike back against Israel, not genocide all Jews. That
No.
wasn't the point, right?
We're talking about the author's opinion here. You're missing the point. I'm saying when you look at the author's opinion, when you start,
Yes, I know.
Yes,
I'm
when you
looking at
start
the
by
author's
saying
opinion.
all Jews have to go, and then you follow it up with the operation that was targeted to killing Jewish civilians.
It
was a great
targeted
thing.
to
It wasn't targeted.
Yes,
to
it
like
was.
Jewish
It wasn't
civilians.
targeted to it. No, it
absolutely
wasn't.
It absolutely was. They were going
No,
in
it wasn't.
residential homes and
No, it
shooting
wasn't.
kids. What are
They
you talking about?
passed
Because
by-
there were no soldiers there to defend. You know, the soldiers were on vacation for those 2 or 3 or 4 or 8 or 10 hours.
So they were
there
targeting the
multiple-
children.
There were
They were targeting
multiple
civilians.
Groups. No, they weren't targeting the civilians. There were
Did they
multiple
miss?
Groups, right? There
Were they
multiple-
in? Were
there
they?
multiple
Were they
groups.
living in
Hold
a
on.
military
I'm asking you a
installment?
question. There were multiple groups that went out, right? So there's brigades, but there were others when the walls went down. There were others that went out, and there were murdering individuals, right? There
you're
was
not getting the
lots of
point.
groups involved, and I'm saying the point of the mission. You're stating that because those civilians died, that ipso facto, that must mean the point was to slaughter the civilians. I'm saying that wasn't the point of
The point was
the
hostages.
attack, right?
How
You're
was
just
that not
stating
the
that's the
point?
That's
point.
They literally,
No, hold
That's
on.
what you-
Like, Lactoid,
they
No,
literally, hold on.
and then he says that, and then he says, "Well, okay, now that you've linked these two, right? Now that you've linked
They're
these two
obviously
with
linked.
the
They're in the
article,
same paragraph.
I listened to you. Don't worry. I know. I listened to you. Don't worry. I was paying attention. Yes. Now that you've linked these two things, that must mean what she is saying, that all the Jews must die if they don't leave. Right? She's saying no. Okay. So let's apply this. Hold on.
I'm ready.
Let's apply this to Trump administration, because the Trump administration says, like, oh, we want to get rid of the immigrants, right? We want to send them out. Hey, does that mean that the Trump administration wants to slaughter all the immigrants? Is that what you're saying?
If the overwhelming majority of the targets of ICE raids were killed, then yeah, you would have a good point. But that's not the case. It's like a tiny fraction of a percentage. In this case, it was the majority. The vast majority were civilians that were shot in the street and in their homes. Yes.
That doesn't matter, but that doesn't matter in terms of the larger project. What I'm saying is for the larger project she's talking about, it doesn't say she is.
Yeah, I guess the larger project involved killing civilians, which is what the author's advocating for. The larger project is removing all the Jews. And hey, also, when they wiped out a bunch of civilians this time, that was a really good thing.
She's saying that for a
she called it miraculous.
Act.
Wait, she called it the most.
Yeah,
I don't necessarily
you're
agree
freaking
with
out
the
because
author.
when she says miraculous, you're seeing it from your perspective, in which it was like a brutal operation, like a genocide act. The intention was to kill civilians. That is not her belief about the Al-Aqsa flood. Her belief is this was a mission to take hostages, to free the hostages that Israel has had in their detention centers. They've been raped, tortured, etc. for fucking years.
They shot a bunch of them to take them hostage.
Hold on. Okay, again, Lactoid. There were multiple groups that went in, right? And again, these people, they do not believe that Hamas went around killing civilians. In fact, there are videos, and I'm sure this is like propaganda or something, right? There are videos of Hamas commanders telling their soldiers, "Hey, treat them with respect. We're Muslims. Don't hurt them."
Testimonies from Israelis saying the exact same thing.
Hold on.
And we know
so she just rejects that most civilians were killed,
and the IDF was shooting at the civilians, but you don't pay attention to any of that. You just say a bunch of them died, and so the point of the mission must have been to kill them all.
No,
I have no idea. Come on, who shot who? Who shot who? You have no idea.
I understand. No, I understand the point. I understand the point of confusion, and it's so frustrating because I'm trying to put into words to like get it across to you. Okay, she did not granularly specify only the members of Hamas Al-Aqsa brigades that specifically targeted the hostages, the ones that shot civilians, they were all wrong. That is not what she said. She called the operation was miraculous. The operation, October 7th was miraculous. No, I'm not missing the point. I promise I'm not missing the point. I can repeat. I can repeat your point back to you.
Operation in history.
Let me repeat your point back to you. Your point is when they went in there, it was not actually to target and kill civilians. It was to fight back against the colonial project that is Israel, that had for a long time been colonizing the West Bank and causing many other problems. And this was their way of fighting back. And their goal here was strategic. It was to like fight the state of Israel. It wasn't actually just to kill civilians. Is that your point?
It
Yes,
was to take
and-
hostages to free
and-
Can
detainees.
you repeat my
and-
point now?
And there were many civilian deaths. Some of them, of course, were due to the Al-Aqsa brigades. Well, absolutely, no one is denying that here, right? But there were
hard to
other
tell
groups that
sometimes.
went out too. We've done as the world audience, right? We've done no work in trying to disambiguate what happened there, right? We just said, hey, they were all the same, right? She is doing that, right? Now
Aren't
you
they
can disagree
collectively
with her doing
responsible?
that, and
Is
that's
Connor's
fair.
point?
We're
but hold on,
criticizing the
but hold on.
article.
No, but hold on. You keep saying, okay, back to it. You keep saying from her perspective, the argument that she's trying to make, right? You keep saying that. Well, then from her perspective, like Doobie said, from her perspective, the Al-Aqsa brigades themselves actually, their mission was to do X, right? Along with X, other people were involved, and the IDF murdered a shit ton of civilians. We know that.
Prime.
Right? We know that too. From her perspective, Blacktoid, if you understand her perspective, then you know that's built into the conversation. So from her perspective, then what she's saying here is that there's this genocidal Israeli regime, right? And there's these individuals, like, to dismantle that, these Jews have to leave. Right,
Mhm.
this is her words, right? Not mine.
Yes.
She's saying these people have to leave, right?
Yep.
And this was an example of making that happen. This
Mhm.
brigade, right?
Yeah, it was an
but
example.
you're smuggling a whole bunch of other stuff
I'm
that's
not.
not in her argument.
I'm
Every
not.
time you say that,
So, Prime, I repeated your argument back to you. Can you repeat mine? Can you characterize my argument? What do you think my argument is here? Because I fully understood what you said, and I
yes,
repeated it back to you.
Sure.
And I'm
Yes,
I'm telling
yes.
you, and you
Sure, I
respect.
can
You
repeat
think I'm a
it.
pretty smart guy.
Sure.
You know that I understand. And in fact, by the way, the
I'll-
position
I'll
I'm
repeat
taking
it.
is not incompatible with the idea that they had a broader strategic goal. Like, for example, like, you could have a broader strategic goal of removing all the Jews
I can repeat it.
in order to make more room for Palestinians by killing
Repeat
them
it for
all,
you.
right?
Your point was, hey, she's linking multiple ideas within the same paragraph.
Mhm.
She's linking multiple ideas. And the key point is
Mhm.
linking the October 7th attacks, right? In which many Jews die,
With
right?
what?
So the implication, most Jews. Sorry.
No. So what is she linked? So she put in the top part of the paragraph, all the Jews need to go and the state of Israel needs to go. And then the second, and then in the second part of the
removal.
paragraph,
And
she's
the second
praising
part, yes.
a explicit attack on
Yes,
Jewish
an
civilians.
attack where many civilians and most
Most.
most of the people involved were civilians who
Mhm.
died, right?
Yep.
And so you're saying the implication is that, like, yes, either they leave, right, which is explicit,
Mhm.
right, or they die, which is
Yeah.
implicit because of the. Yes, I
Yeah.
was listening to you.
Okay.
Of course, I was listening to you.
So that's like the obvious. Okay, maybe then I was misunderstood. If I was to tell you, let me use a different group. All black people need to go. Oh, and by the way, there was a glorious bombing of Black Wall Street, or a
Tulsa
glorious
Massacre.
glorious
hail
Tulsa
Tulsa
massacre.
Massacre.
Dude,
All
how about
hail,
Derek Chauvin?
all hail Derek Chauvin and the lynchings. All hail that, and all the black people need to go. I'm not necessarily saying
He was a good
Sure,
police
sure.
officer,
Was
really.
there?
He did it. He killed one guy, but
Did
he
we
also
have a
was a police
misunderstanding
officer
of
for
the
20
Tulsa
years.
massacre? Was there another goal for that we
Right,
didn't
you're right, you guys. So
understand?
this is what it hinges on. If this woman is genuinely just fucked in the head and just thinks that most of the people that were shot and killed and targeted by like the guns of the people that went in there to shoot them, if she thinks that most of them were military and like some minority of them were civilians, then I guess I sort of understand.
No,
like,
that's
then it
not
doesn't.
what
it
No,
doesn't-
she
it doesn't-
separates. No,
then-
no,
then
no.
it
She
doesn't-
separates
stop,
the
wait, let me
groups.
finish the sentence. Let me finish the sentence.
Well,
Then it doesn't
yeah, but
necessarily follow. But if she's that only, it's assuming that she's insane. But if she's down in the real world with the rest of us, even the people who are against me on this panel, the vast majority of the
Wait.
people that were shot and killed were civilians that were
Yeah, that's
in their
not what she was
homes,
saying.
Yes,
She was
on the
she was
streets.
saying that there's a difference between the brigade that went in and there were other groups. There were other groups that also went in with this brigade, right? So what she's saying is the operation of the Al-Aqsa flood was a specific thing, but then other groups also joined in on that operation. They committed the murder. Well, not they.
No,
committed
she's
murder,
not
but
saying
that's
that
what-
at all.
I mean, that's what
She- yeah,
Prime's
she has
trying
one,
to explain.
but
to
that's
you.
Where?
That's what
Where
I'm
is
saying.
she saying
Hold on,
that?
hold on. Oh my God! Hold on, Lactoid, please help me here.
I'm
right?
trying to help you.
Could it be the case? Sure. Could it be the case, right, that like you are outside of this discourse, right, and so you don't understand the implicit the implicit implications, right? Like now that doesn't we'll leave it there. Yeah, that
You don't
you're
have
outside
enough
these
political
discourse.
conversations, Lactoid.
No. I'm not trying. Hold on. I'm not. I am not being condescending here. I'm saying that like there is shorthands, right? I know these groups because I've talked to these people. Right? Who speak exactly the way she does, right? And this is what they believe. That's what I'm telling you. I understand that you don't know that. And that's okay, right? You aren't part of those conversations. And so this wouldn't be a part of it. I literally had a conversation where people like thought I mentioned the words, right? Hamas terrorist, right? I was talking to lefties like this, right? I mentioned the words Hamas terrorist. They jumped on me. It's like, how could you call Hamas terrorist, right? But I did that within the context of like a quote from the IDF. Like the IDF calls them Hamas terrorists. But just me saying those words, right? They jumped on me. Prime, do you hate the Palestinian resistance, right? That's a conversation that I had. Like, if you didn't know that they thought that way, you wouldn't have seen that coming because you're not privy to those conversations. So, right, when she's talking about the Al-Aqsa flood, like the implicit description, and you could say that you can fault her for this. I think it's fair to fault her for this, right? It's implicit in that Al-Aqsa, the point was to strike back against the larger Israeli project to take the hostages, not necessarily to slaughter civilians, because that's what they do within their circles. Could that be the case? Could it be the case that you're missing something that because you're not part of that discourse? Is that a possibility?
Yeah.
No, why are we steel manning Hamas? What the fuck?
Sorry. Yeah, you're right. In any sentence, this is always a possibility. I could say all black people need to, TOS, and then you could say, wow, Lactoid, that's kind of fucked up, and then I could say, well, hold on, Prime. Okay, in my circles in which we have these conversations, by that, what we really mean is that like food stamps are a little bit too much, and like we got to like cut down a little bit on crime, and it's like that's what I'm saying,
I understand.
Right?
I hear you. Right. I'm saying that's a fair criticism, right, in of itself. But you're telling me, hey, what her argument is, right? I'm trying to push back on you. What it seems her argument is from a person who's more familiar with this discourse. That's what I'm saying. Now that doesn't mean that she got her point off correctly, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I am wrong, and maybe you're completely right, right? And that's a possibility as well. But I'm saying, the point you're saying, hey, from her perspective, her argument without actually examining what the discourse is within those circles. That's what I'm saying. That's
okay, and I'll say this. And as somebody who was asked to be on a panel and discuss this, I should not be expected to go back and read every single one of these person's writings to know for sure what exactly they're meaning. What I'm doing is I'm reading in the manner most obvious. I'm reading her writings and what they mean very clearly. According to my reading, right now, you're right. I could be totally off. Anybody could be totally off in any of the articles that any of us are reading. And sure, if you have some specific evidence that actually this author meant something completely different when she was talking about the miraculous Al-Aqsa flood, and then she actually thinks blah, 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 and there's totally something different. Okay, I can be moved. What I'm saying is that based on the information I have access to now, this comes across to most likely explicit genocidal or implicit genocidal language.
Okay. Then I'll leave it there. Let's go to our friend Connor. And we have a bunch of super chats afterwards. We're going to get those super chats. Go ahead, Connor.
So I think we might be missing the thrust that I was actually excited to talk to Doobie about because, I'm a capital L liberal. I believe in maximal human freedom. I don't like ethno-religious laws that discriminate against people. So, for instance, I think Israel writing a capital punishment law where if you engage in terrorism as a Palestinian, you get executed, but they don't have a similar law for Jews, and that's not a universal law. I think that's bad. That's condemnable. Same thing with annexing southern Lebanon. Listen, I'm a tepid Zionist. I wish I could sweep for Israel right now. There's no capacity to say, hey, just annexing up to the Litani River and displacing 600,000 people is totally cool. Like, there's no way to steelman that. But what I want to point out, because Doobie said an interesting statement that I actually objected to during the original thing, is that this is the lowest moral point in Jewish history. And I think that's really fucking funny. And the reason why it's funny is because Jewish history is the story of Abraham, who was promised this territory. It's the story of Moses, who led an exodus of the Jews into the lands of Canaan. It's the story of the Battle of Jericho and the conquest of Canaan. It's the story of King David, who not only killed Goliath, he also ran around fucking in that territory killing Philistines. And do you know what he paid in order to marry his wife? 200 dick skins. He killed 200 Philistines, chopped off their dick skins, and paid that as a bride price. And then after that, he ordered his general, one of his generals, into battle repeatedly because he wanted to fuck his general's wife. And so he got his general friend killed so he could fuck his wife. So I know that that's 3,000 years ago or 2,000 years ago. So I get that, like, it's ancient history. But the whole reason why we're fighting over this territory in the first place was because God, 3,200 years ago, allegedly promised it to a certain people. Half of the people no longer believe in that mythology anymore. They just want a safe place to exist. And then half of the people kind of believe that mythology. So, and then also the people they're fighting believe a separate mythology. So the reason why I bring all that shit up is, number one, if you think this is the lowest point in Jewish moral history, you're fucking crazy. Go read what Samuel had to say about the Amalekites. It makes what's happening in Palestine look chill by fucking comparison.
That's what
they killed the men, the women, the children, and the fucking livestock. Okay. Then on top of that, what I would say is that's not the most interesting point of the conversation. It's not whether or not Israel's bad. Who gives a fuck? Okay. The most interesting point of the conversation is, how do we hold people collectively responsible for the guilt of their ethno-religious identity or racial identity or linguistic identity? And then how do we come up with a rule that doesn't suck? Because right now, if I hold anti-Zionist Jews accountable for the sins of Israel, then, you know, lots of spicy shit starts getting justifiable.
But I mean, like, we've been doing this with other groups. I don't understand why when it gets to all of a sudden the Jews in Israel, we stop doing this to other groups.
Sure, well, hold on. But Ali, just real quick, just because I've been waiting patiently for a few minutes, and I promise I'll shut up for an extended period of time. But Ali, when we come to you, we don't say like, Ali, you, the Lebanese immigrant into fucking America, are personally responsible for jihadist terrorism. So what we say is, as a group, hey, if you see some wild shit being said in your community, then you should probably call it out. That's
what she's advocating for.
That's not what she's saying.
Call it out.
That is absolutely what she's saying.
No, Doobie, I read the article. In the article, she said this is where Lactoid is totally correct. In the article, she says, if you don't praise Hamas, you are not a good anti-Zionist. And I think that this is identical to what Lactoid was saying. Hold on, I'm almost done, I promise. It's identical to what Lactoid was saying, which is like walking up to a black person and saying, hey, your community's responsible for disproportionate criminality. Derek Chauvin was an American hero. And if you don't praise Derek Chauvin for laying his life on the line as a police officer, then you're a fucking piece of shit. And you're not serious about solving criminality in the black community.
But you have
it's
to see
almost analogous.
Hold on, but you have to see it from his perspective, and from his perspective, he sees it
kind of a common
as
conversation.
In these Blue
really
Lives Matter circles, it's very different.
Yeah, it's what really he means is just
Yeah, I can. Okay, I'm gonna respond. So first off, Connor, to be clear, I don't believe that this is like the lowest point morally for Jews. I'm saying that this is what she references like their ancestors who fought fascism, for example. And so she's referencing Jewish people in the past who fought fascism, fought exactly this kind of colonial project. And she's saying that basically the argument is that they've abandoned that fight and they've become the colonial project. Right? That is what she's saying. She's not saying, you know, it's the worst Jews have ever been morally. She's not saying that. She's saying that there was a spirit of anti-fascism within Judaism, anti-colonialism within the Jewish community, and they have abandoned this from her perspectives. So I think that's what she's saying. But to you, I think so. I think we see this all the time, right? With Muslims, for example. So post 9/11, if you were a Muslim and you didn't immediately condemn Osama bin Laden, ignore all the reasons he gave for this terrorist act, right? Ignore all the hundreds of thousands of people that died that led to him responding in this way, and groups forming to respond to us in this way. If you don't condemn them all, fuck their causes, fuck their reasoning, then you're not doing enough to fight like a jihadism in the Muslim community. You need to condemn all that. Fuck the context. Fuck what we did to them. History starts from 9/11 moves forward. All that came before is irrelevant. That's essentially
Who
what
were the
was
hundreds of
done
thousands
to
of
Muslims.
Muslims who got killed prior to 9/11 2001?
So he references the not just
Sabra and Shatila massacre, which was around 3,000 people.
yes,
Yeah, there
but he
was
also
the
references the
Nakba, there was-
he also references the sanctions, right, that we place on
In Iraq. Okay,
yeah,
okay,
that
okay.
killed- I
Yeah,
think-
and he
I think
says
it's
it's
like
around
up to like
300,000 dead
2
Iraqis. Okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
well,
That's
I think
fair.
the
That's fair.
actual numbers are around 2 million. That could be attributed to it, like 500,000 Iraqi children, something like this, right? And he mentions that specifically in one of his letters to America, right? So,
Sure.
but at the time, if you're a Muslim and you dare to speak about this, right? Even today, if you dare to speak about this and say, hey, actually, maybe we did something that led them to react in this way. Maybe we should stop doing those evil things.
You're anti-American.
Well, I'm a terror sympathizer. I'm anti-American. I just hate America, right? Like so. This kind of thinking has been applied to Muslims and to people who are like anti-imperialists in general. So I don't understand why would it have a different standard for Jewish people.
Right.
Yeah, but
I'd like to answer.
has there been a conversation, at least, maybe you have had these conversations. Maybe I'm sure you've had these conversations with Admiral Gibbs, but like, did Admiral Gibbs ever go like, if you don't like George W. Bush as a Muslim, then you're a traitor to America? Like, has that conversation happened? I mean, maybe with Gibbs, it actually did happen. I don't know.
I don't remember.
Gibbs is a big fan of
Gibbs
you,
saying
by the way.
specifically that.
Yeah, Gibbs
I fucking hate that motherfucker so
Let's
goddamn
go.
much. Holy
I
shit.
see you, Hunter. We're gonna
He's an intel.
let me
He's a good guy.
let me
He's not a
hit
good
some
guy. I'll be
super
quiet
chats,
for a minute.
and then let's go to Hunter. Okay. All right. So okay. I think we haven't done this one. From Fell Runner, $10. Thank you so much, Fell Runner, for the kindness. DB refuses to answer this. Is it true you believe that solution is to re-educate Palestinians, disarm Israel, and force it with outside power and expel expatriates? Maybe
Expect.
Oh,
I don't know what expect means.
Expect.
So,
Israel
so
to
Fell
absorb
Runner,
all
Fell Runner,
mortal
He meant to
danger.
say expect.
yeah,
You,
he meant
you
expect.
expect Israel to absorb all
Expectation.
moral danger during.
So Fell Runner really only cares about Jewish lives in this conflict. So the idea that Israel would need to put up with a reduction in security in some way, they couldn't have the IDF with their boot on people's throats in the West Bank or Gaza. That idea to him is anathema, right? Because from his perspective, the Palestinians should need to handle the mortal danger. They should need to lose all the children and all the lives. But the Jews, the Israelis, actually with him, I'm going to say the Jews, because he really only cares that they're Jewish. They can't be expected to shoulder any of the burden, right, to end the conflict. I think he's just a Jewish supremacist retard. However, that being said, yes. So that is an oversimplification, right? But I do think that both sides need to be re-educated. I think both sides dehumanize each other consistently. I think this is due to trauma. I think both sides have been traumatizing each other for a very long time. There are legitimate grievances on both sides, obviously. And I think that the only way to undo that is you need both sides to be forced to come down from their fucking hills, right? And I don't trust the United States to do this. Israel cannot do it on its own because everybody in Israel is traumatized. The Palestinians, everybody in Palestine is fucking traumatized. So I think you need outside forces to come in, force them to put the weapons down, and go through like a very long fucking process of de-radicalization on both sides, not just the Palestinians. If you want to call that re-education, sure. But also something like the Truth and Reconciliation process that went through in South Africa, to undo the harm, right, to unwind things. I think it's totally necessary, and I do think that outside forces need to come in and provide security for both sides, right, to ensure that people on either side don't fuck things up.
Falviner, even though I'm sure you disagree with me, I appreciate the $10. Hopefully you don't regret sending that in, but I appreciate you. Let's go to Ginger Miss Prime. The irony being, ultra-Zionists make the same argument as the other side. We're the indigenous people who are displaced and seek to return home. Yeah, but they're fucking wrong, though. So it is what it is. It just happened to be wrong.
How are they wrong?
But $5.
Because there are already people living there. You don't find your home.
They
where
were
other
there
people
How
first,
did
are.
the
though.
people who were already living there get
3,000
there?
years ago, the
Yeah.
Native Americans were here first.
Yeah, land
Wait,
back.
that's
That's
your
your
argument.
argument. That's your argument.
No, it isn't.
This person's argument at the very least.
No. My
I
argument
don't-
is that 80 years ago, there were people living on the land, and then they came and took over the land, claiming,
Yeah.
"Oh, this was our land."
How do you
3,000
think
years ago, we were
Palestinians
indigenous
got
to
there?
it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
how,
immigration-
how does
they
that
were there
entire
when
territory
many of them
become
were already
Muslim?
there.
You know, not you
Yeah.
know that like the,
The
Jews,
Jews
didn't
were
leave, and all of a
originally
sudden
there.
this new group
Yeah.
of people.
They
Why
didn't
did
spring
you-
out of the
Wait,
ground.
wait,
overnight.
how did
They
that
were
area
already
become
there.
Muslim
Some
again?
people just converted into Christianity. Some people denounced
Ali,
their Judaism.
how
and
did those
remained
people
there on the
become
land and
Muslim?
became
Wasn't
the
super
Palestinians of
peaceful.
today.
Yeah, and they
Yeah,
were
how
all
did those
it was
people become
peaceful.
Muslim again?
and it was all bad.
There was
we can all
conquering.
agree.
Yeah, this was
Like,
conquering.
Yeah,
in
so
the
we just
modern
need
age.
land back. We just need land back.
Oh
Yeah.
my God!
Because
The
Hamas isn't a
I'm
terror
right.
group, right?
Jews.
So Hamas
Yes.
isn't a terror group because
We
we
get
can engage.
we got the Native Americans get their shit back. The Jews get their shit back.
Wait, so we can engage. We can engage in barbaric warfare since might makes right in all of our conversations. Then Hamas isn't a terrorist group. Hezbollah isn't a terrest group.
What?
We're like that's a conversation we're having,
No,
right?
right now, you're totally
That's what we're
dodging
saying,
the point
right?
we're making.
What does that have to do with what we're
Exactly.
saying?
I don't
Like,
think
you
it's
guys are
nothing.
saying that you guys are saying that Israel conquered, right? And now it's their land, and now the
No,
Palestinians are
no.
saying they want their land
No,
back.
that's
No,
not
we're
what
saying
we're
that's your argument
Wait,
to the.
hold
if
on,
you take
even
your
by that
argument from first
logic.
principles, and then take the logic. That really means that Israel gets a right to their land too.
Why?
That Native Americans get a right to
Because
their
they're
land
with-
too.
They're
I never
kicking your
said
fucking
actually give Native
ass.
Americans their land back. I'm
So-
saying you guys agree with giving Native Americans their land back, since you guys agree with giving Israel their land that was promised to them 3,000 years
I
ago.
don't. I don't.
I
think
don't.
that's
So then we're not.
Wait,
so then
hold
we're
on.
not-
Okay,
Hold
then-
on, but even if we
hold on,
apply
let's
this
go
logic, Ali, even if we apply this logic, they're kicking Arab Muslim fucking ass right now. So regardless of
Yeah.
whether or not you say land back, the Jews could say land back for 3,200 years ago, and then if you say fuck land back, nobody likes
Yeah,
land
just
back,
make right.
then we could just say they're kicking
Yeah.
your ass now. So sucks to suck. Like, dude, no matter what, the
yeah.
Jews have an argument.
No, they don't. What the fuck?
Is the argument might
but-
be
I mean, literally, I just
Nazis-
explained how
Nazis
there's
were
two
correct because they
arguments
were
and they
winning,
have
right?
both of them
The Nazis were in the
simultaneously.
right because they were
I mean,
winning.
Nazis-
I
guess
The
Nazis did have
the
a point.
Holocaust. It was legal for them to do the Holocaust because they own that territory. So fuck them, right?
Yeah.
Wait, sorry,
Is that
say that
really-
again because that might actually be
Might
funny
not
to
be right.
Nazis were doing
explore.
the Holocaust.
I'll
It
get
was
back to
totally
What's that?
fine because when the Nazis were doing the Holocaust, it was totally fine because it was legal for them to do the Holocaust. So they owned that territory. They conquered that territory. So we really have nothing. We can't say anything about it, right?
No, because they came and kicked our dicks in, the United Kingdom and Russia, and then Russia and the fucking United Kingdom and the Allies went in and kicked their dicks in.
Hold on, yeah, but
So
hold
no,
on, but
by
the
right of
the
conquest,
German Jewish
Germany had to
population
fucking,
that
they
was
had to
murdered,
get fucked.
You think that's totally fine, right? Because German they won. The Nazis were winning.
No, they clearly didn't because they got their shit
Hold
pushed
on,
in.
they
What
were
the fuck
winning
are
when
we
they were doing
talking
the
Holocaust.
about?
At the time.
Hold on, they were winning at the time. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, at the time.
When they
Okay,
sent
well,
Jews out to
hold on,
concentration camps
okay.
and murder camps.
To
Yeah,
be
absolutely.
clear, I'm like mostly memeing and none of this is okay. But what I'm trying to point out is that the Jews claim this territory because they conquered it 3,200 years ago. Ali is saying there were people 80 years ago prior to the new, or 150 years ago prior to the new settlement of Jews. But then what I think Lactoid and I were kind of meaning on is the fact that like they didn't fall out of a coconut tree. You know, they conquered that territory as well. And
That's not true,
arguably, why Ali said, oh, well, I might be slightly Jewish is because he could be part of the Jewish population that was conquered and then partially forced to convert. So like,
But
so
that's
like
not true.
pretending that this has just been like, oh, the Muslims were just in there fucking singing kumbaya, drinking
No one
fucking
said the Muslims
coconuts
were
and
just
eating
in there
olives for the
kicking
past 3,000
kumbaya.
years is
No one
bullshit.
said that.
No,
but
You said they were already there.
Your arguments is that 3,000 years ago or over the thousands of years that conquering and might makes right was the way of the land. I'm arguing that in the over the 100 years we kind of stopped doing that shit except for this one country. Right when it,
I mean,
when it came
that's
to
true. That's
Israel,
just
when it
descriptively
came
true.
to Israel conquering new lands, kicking people out, ethnic cleansing, perceived genocide, that's okay within the past 100 years for Israel
But-
specifically. But for everyone else, it's not okay. But you guys want to
but
lead
here's the
back to
thing.
well, the Muslims took over the land and blah, blah, blah,
shifting
blah,
the
blah.
But here's the thing,
conversation.
Ali. Here's the thing. You guys try to kick their ass in 56, 67, 73,
You guys.
2005. You lost every single fucking time. So at what point do you
Who's
just go, well, I guess we're not good at winning this war. So
Muslims.
Why
fuck
would
it.
Yeah.
hold on,
Yes, all
Connor,
Muslims.
that's ridiculous, right? So
I don't.
Wait,
actually-
no, hold on.
First
It was
off-
literally like
first
6
off,
different nations
I
every single
understand,
time,
Connor,
including
I
Lebanon, and
understand.
he's
But if we were to
Lebanese.
apply
Why
the
is that
standard-
ridiculous?
if we were to apply
Shout
the
out to the
standard,
boys.
if we were to apply the standard to Jews, like what's that saying? You know, if your friend gets kicked out of 109 bars, eventually it's his fault. Like I said,
6'7"?
at some point, it's he's the asshole.
107. You click
Yeah,
Back in
at
6,
some
7.
point, he's the asshole, right? So if
Yeah,
we're just applying the
sure.
standard, we say, oh well, hey, well maybe Jews are just bad. Maybe they're just evil, and that's why they get kicked out all the time. Like obviously, that's
Maybe
not
they're
true.
just evil.
Yeah, we don't.
Yeah, so
Well,
why don't
that's
you
what
give
he's
them a
saying. He was
small
saying
piece
maybe
of
that's his
land and
argument,
leave them the
but
fuck
he's not
alone?
making that argument.
Oh, like,
He's
can
not
I?
making that argument.
Can
about
I?
Jews.
I just
No,
want to be.
no, but we do. But we
Okay.
do.
I think Hunter's
evil.
evil. I don't think all Jews are evil though.
I just want to get through the super chats real quick, right? And our friend Hunter has been waiting. He does want to say something, so I want to get a Hunter. I want to get Lactoid, and anyone
Sure.
else wants to jump in. Okay, so $20 to Grassroots. Thank you so much again. At a certain point, I don't actually care. Habe,
Have you?
Sorry, thank you. Have you considered conducting and winning a war without brutalizing, essaying a bunch of teenagers?
I agree. Israel should stop doing that.
Yeah, Israel should stop doing that. I mean, I agree 100%. But they won't stop. They never stop.
The
Like,
standard
look
only
to the
applies
camera,
one
love
way. The standard
Yeah.
only applies one way. Only Hamas
Yeah.
does this.
No,
Yeah.
it applies both ways. I think
Yeah.
Really?
both should stop.
So then how come?
Yeah, hold on.
This never gets mentioned that the Israelis do the same thing, that the IDF does the same thing. Well,
Yeah.
oh my
Even
God,
on
not by
TikTok
you.
in the past
In
3
the
years,
greater
that was pretty much all
conversation.
of TikTok.
Oh,
What the
okay.
fuck are you talking about? We
I-
don't talk about
I
Israel's
don't-
war crimes.
It never gets mentioned.
Like literally.
We don't talk about it, I guess.
I would agree
Not in any
that
meaningful way.
Hold on.
I would
Not when it gets compared to Hamas.
I think it's true.
I caused a holy war. I would agree that everyone should not rape and brutalize
Thank you.
teenagers.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Hold on,
I'll
but
be
I think what
brave.
what
Thank
Eli's saying.
I agree.
principle
I
that-
appreciate that.
I think what Eli is saying isn't that it's never spoken about,
Brave.
but that it is only spoken about because anti-Zionists like myself and like him and like Prime, we talk about it. But the Zionist side, the pro-ethno-state side, like Connor, they regularly
They make light of all of Israel's
downplay the evil,
atrocities.
excuse it, downplay all the atrocities. That's what they do, right? So what we're pointing out is, hey, you guys have I'm not going to say all of you, right? But people on
You
the
people.
Zionist
You
side,
people.
you people on the Zionist side tend to downplay all this when Israel does it, but hyper fixate on when it happens within the context of like Hamas or something.
Can I
And-
tell
and
you
think-
why,
I
though?
think
No,
I
wait,
want
can I-
to be fair,
this
Connor,
to be
Connor,
applied-
you were
It is my turn.
I wanted the same to be
Yeah.
applied across the board, like you guys do
It's
apparently.
my turn next.
So,
Sure.
I
wanna-
I do have.
Can I be added to the list?
You're on the list. So we're gonna Hunter. We're
I'm
going
going
to
before Connor.
Lactoid, and then we're going to do a Connor, right? The full white man circle. All right. I'm
Hell
moving on.
yeah. Okay.
Then we'll end it with the Arab.
Well, and the Arab. Well, that's fine.
According to the census,
Exactly.
you're also white.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we fought hard for that.
Yeah, exactly. The census describes. Okay,
Congratulations.
that's fine. You don't have to go back there. Fashion 40 says secular talks for the win, $5. I don't know why. But I do like Kyle Kalinske. I don't know. Did someone mention him before?
No,
Yeah,
but
Kyle's
no,
great,
he's
though.
been in the sphere again lately.
Oh, okay. Well, shout out to Kyle
Getting my boy
Kalinske.
Hassan.
Yeah. Oh, he usually fights a good fight, so I like him. So shout out to him. $5 from Grassroots Hegemon, who's been helping out a lot. Thank you so much, Grassroots. So the difference is you don't have a choice. You pick the fight. Now win it and accept the consequences. But could you tell me which perspective you're saying this from? Because I can read it.
Isn't that
he's a
funny? You
Zionist.
can't tell?
He's a Zion- well, hold on. Well, he's a Zionist, right? So from their perspective, it's totally the Palestinians should just take the boot and shut the fuck up. And if they don't take
Okay.
the boot, then they're fighting, right? And that's bad.
If you pick a fight,
Let's go to thank you Turing Giuliano, sorry, for gifting counterpoints a membership. Enjoy your benefits. They aren't really benefits, but like thank you for the counterpoints. Thank you for the kind gift, 2 counterpoints. And then finally, there are genetic studies that link Euro Jews to the Levant. Prime and Co are on the anti-vax levels of anti-science cope. That Euro Jews to Levant. I never said that they didn't. Yeah, sure. Did I deny that? I don't remember saying that.
No.
I don't remember saying that at all. But thank you, Ginger Remus Prime for the $5. I guess Australian. Yeah, I think we were talking about is like the ultra Zionist, right? That they have a claim. Right, I say fuck their claim because of how they they didn't try to integrate. Right, there was an attempt at the very start, right, of the Zionist project to integrate with the society. Right, that was great. I wanted more of that. great, and there was welcome that was extended towards them, right? But then the mass slaughter, the expelling, right? That at that point I say fuck your claim. But they're absolutely right. Yes, there are Jews that came from Levant, whatever, right? Fuck them. Anyway, let's go to our friend Hunter.
Cool. I want to say one quick point, and then I'll go to my main point. Quick point. Doobie said that Connor just keeps erasing all of the crimes that Israel committed. I just want to be clear that Connor started the conversation by offering the issues that he had with Israel that no one had mentioned. The annexations. I can't remember other things that he said, but he talked about the bad things that he did that no one else was talking about on the panel. So it feels very weird to pin him in this corner. But I'll go to my main point, which is, look, to Ollie, I will 100% concede that there were small little Muslim kids in elementary school who, shoes were thrown at him in 2004. Tell me how you feel about Iraq, right? Tell me how you feel about Afghanistan, 9/11, whatever. Like they're thrown in these corners. And you know what? Maybe they have complex feelings about it, especially in the 2004 when they're going so hard against Muslims. They're starting a war that really Al-Qaeda is not, involved in. It's a really complex situation. And they're suddenly pivoted in this corner. 100% I agree that this sort of rhetoric was happening in 2004. I'll concede all that.
Mhm.
But wasn't that bad? Wasn't that not good that Muslim kid was forced to make a really snippy, trite comment about a war just so he could appease his classmates? And the idea that they saw him as somehow responsible for what, a bunch of people in a country he's never visited in that he's a part of. Why is he suddenly responsible for that? And then you're using that as ammunition to target that other people. And I'm just saying, can't we just drop the guns? Can't we just say stop? Maybe actually no one should take responsibility for it, because it feels like you're just maybe frustrated with what happened in 2004.
I think there's a difference though.
Yeah.
So the difference is that I'm born Muslim and I'm just existing, and then there's this attack being put on me versus the Zionism thing is an active choice, right? There are things
born Jewish.
Yeah, but are you as
Jewish
the
and
question
Zionism
becomes,
aren't the
are
same
you a
thing. You know
Zionist?
that, right?
Hold on. I am born Jewish. I'm ethnically Jewish.
Yes. Are you now
Are
Zionism?
Jewish and Zionism the same
Zionism is
thing?
a chosen ideology,
Wait,
right?
hold on.
Right?
The article was
jihadism
yes
is
all
a
Jews,
chosen
not yes all
ideology.
Zionists.
I understand.
Yeah,
Why
yeah,
does
hold
it
on.
say yes all Jews?
sorry.
You understand the context of why it says yes all Jews.
90-something percent of
considering
Jews
that-
are Zionists.
Every time you make an argument against Zionism, it goes 98% of. Well, then at that point, then I guess all Jews. I don't know what you want me to do. If the Jews themselves are collectively for joining this ideology, right? There's being a Muslim, then there's being an Islamist, right? If you hold Islamists accountable, right? If you choose this thing, you're choosing the ideology. You're choosing to be a jihadist.
Okay, so
versus you're not just choosing to be a Muslim.
Gotcha.
Right?
So you think that it's good for a 12-year-old in 2004 to get harassed and asked, "Do you stand by Islamism?"
I don't
Do you
think
stand
this
by
applies
these
to
radical
12-year-olds. I don't think this article is necessarily talking to 12-year-olds or people who don't necessarily make their
Jews.
own decisions.
All Jews.
Yeah, okay, all Jews. But we're not talking about children, right? Obviously, we're talking about
I don't
adults
know what
capacity
we're
to
not
make
talking
these
about.
He
decisions.
invokes children in the article of how children in Israel are raised to be Zionists. So I think
Yeah, no, but
yes,
that's a
yes.
critique of the parents.
Children,
though. That's a critique of the parents who are raising their children in.
I know it's
ideology
a
that she
critique
believes
of them,
is
but it's
fascistic.
still that the kids
so
are
then-
responsible
so
for what's going
that.
on.
Not a
Okay, yep.
speck is what the article says. I'm pretty sure that includes the
100%.
children.
Not a
This
spec of
Mott and
Zionism.
Bailey,
or the
where we
colonial
look at the
colonial
article and we
project, whatever
pretend
the
like
fuck
that's
word is.
not what they're advocating for, is bullshit.
Hold on, can I respond to this because it's silly? So I like Hunter. I agree, right? But I also don't think that this really works with Islam, right, or with Muslims. So because we don't have any polls that I'm aware of, I say 95% of Muslims support 9/11 or something like this, or support jihadism, or support whatever, support whatever, right? They're polls about
Islamism or
specific.
Sharia.
Yeah, so there were posts about specific Muslim communities, right? In Indonesia, for example. A lot of people. This is just a side comment. A lot of people talk about the Middle East as being that's where all the Muslims are. But actually, most of them are in Asia, right? like places like Indonesia. There are posts about those specific groups, and a lot of them do favor apostasy laws and whatnot, right? That's true. Absolutely. So if you were talking about that, like one of those communities, and you said, hey, if you're a Muslim in Indonesia, it is your responsibility to call out this kind of thinking within your community, right? To call out people who support suicide attacks, for example, right? So there are Muslims in there who support suicide attacks or attitudes that are like negative about women or whatever the fuck. I think it's totally reasonable. The difference here with Zionism is that the polls we have aren't talking about like a specific Jewish community in the United States. It's
Okay.
all Jews on the planet,
Awesome.
like 90 something.
Great.
Well,
I
hold
have
on.
a-
To
I
be
have a
clear, I want to be
question.
very clear though. Hold on, I want to be very clear because I think the numbers actually decreased recently. So it used to be like 95% of Jews are Zionists, right?
Mhm.
Like identified as like Zionists or believed in the existence of a Jewish state or supported the existence of a Jewish state, which is I think what most people would call Zionists. Of course, there are like different levels on the spectrum of Zionists, right? That doesn't mean they're all like in favor of ethnically cleansing Palestinians, whatever. Now today, I think it's actually been reduced, and I think it's a result of obviously what Israel's been up to.
Okay.
So they're God.
Okay, sorry. Okay, question. What is the demarcation? Like, would you say that 75%, if 75% of Jews still supported Israel, this is still a fair article?
Yes.
Great.
Now,
okay, perfect. Thank you.
Now,
Wait, hold on.
So like God.
Okay. That was a little bit of a 75% was a specific number I chose. Mostly because 75% of Muslims in 2004 did not support the Iraq war. So is it fair to harass a Muslim teenager for the Iraq war, throw a little shoe at him and say, yo, well, how do you feel about the Iraq war? And he has to timidly figure out the nuance in front of his classmates. Because how is that
So
not
no,
what
you
we're
shouldn't
advocating?
attack kids. Can we talk about adults now?
Hold on. So I think that's
No,
the correct
because-
position.
no, I'm
but also,
focusing on
but I
kids.
also wouldn't say.
No, okay.
I'm
So-
trying to
so I
focus on
think
kids
that- so I
because if the
Did all
article
Qassam
was
differentiate
only
between
all
kids and
Jewish
adults?
adults,
Okay.
okay, well then now we could have a different conversation.
Okay, so to be clear, I think that's the correct position, right? Like not supporting the Iraq war, but at the time, vast swaths of the country were also opposed to the Iraq war, right?
Right.
So but if you were going to talk to specifically a Muslim kid and ignore all the Democrats or liberals in the school that also didn't support this thing,
Right?
then yeah, it might make sense to assume that he didn't support the Iraq war, right? If he was politically aware at all as a
Do you
kid.
think it's fair to harass him and ask him, how do you feel about the Iraq war when all he is Muslim? That's it. That's the only information you know about him.
I think it'd be fair to assume that he does not support it. Absolutely. Now, but about
No, no, no.
harassing him? No, hold on. Now about
So what are
harassing
we
him-
advocating for then?
quick. Well, what she's advocating for in the article isn't for
that people change
harassing
their minds.
Jews. It's not for harassing Jews.
But to
in
hold them
school.
accountable. So what does
Hold
that
on,
mean?
No, it's for
Listen,
Jews
let
to
me finish.
change their minds.
Hold on, wait one
That's
second.
the point of
this
the article.
This article is directed at Jews, the Jewish community themselves. So
Yep.
it's not at other people saying, "Hey, you guys need to harass Jews or be
Mhm.
mad at them or whatever." It's
It's an
Jews,
internal
us,
critique.
Jews. Yeah, it's Jews. She says explicitly, "I'm talking to Jews now," right? So she's
So
talking
there's
to her
no
community
prescription of
and saying, "Wait,
external
really-
responsibility.
No, listen. No, she's talking to Jews.
She's
That's
talking
the
to
point of the
Jews this
article.
entire time.
So, and
Maybe you
what
should have
she
read the
says-
article.
Okay,
but
so-
she's
Hold on, what
talking
she
to
says,
Jews
Hunter,
the
real
entire
quick.
time.
So
And
why-
what she says explicitly, what the prescription, right?
Why don't you
so-
hang this in a synagogue? Why
Oh,
is she
God,
publishing
listen.
this on the internet?
She's
She
saying
should've.
it should be hung in the synagogue.
Yeah.
In it, she's talking
so what
about
she's
that.
saying.
Actually, you should be having this conversation. Sorry, go, Doobie.
So what she's saying is that it's the responsibility of Jews within her community, right, to call out this ideology because she sees Zionism, she lays it out as a fascistic, basically evil ideology that has infected every aspect of the Jewish community, all Jewish institutions.
Mhm.
Parents are sending their children off to Israel for summer camp or to Zionist camps where they're taught to be Zionists, right? And from her perspective, this is like the Hitler Youth, right? This is like Germans sending their children off to the Hitler Youth. And her issue is that it's been totally normalized within their community. This is just what you do, right? You send your kid off to summer camp where they learn to be a Zionist and to love Israel, right? So she's saying, hey, it's been normalized in our community to be Hitler Youth enjoyers. So we need to cut this out. We like actually separate Zionism from Judaism, not just in like in theory, right? Not just in the fact that like Zionism is an ideology, Judaism is like an identity, like an ethnic identity or whatever, but like in actual reality, we need to separate this ideology from our community.
Just to be
Right.
super
So-
clear, that's not what the article advocates for. It specifically
It
says that
absolutely
we
is.
should wait. Hold on, could I read this? The day one Jew, and we really mean just one Jew, shuts their mouth and carries arm against Zionism to liberate Judaism or to defend those oppressed in their name, we will then differentiate between Zionism and Judaism. In the meanwhile, and for the past 100 years, there is no difference. There is no difference between Judaism and Zionism. That's what this article says.
Yeah.
Okay,
They
listen,
don't separate themselves.
Sorry, go ahead. You go first.
yeah. So
Sure,
what
but
she's
that's-
arguing. Okay, but hold on, you need to read the article because
I did. Wait, hold on. I know
Okay,
that
cool.
I started
Okay,
this.
yeah, you said earlier you skimmed it. So yeah,
I know.
I'm you read it.
I read it while
trust
everyone
you.
was doing their openings.
I trust you. So what she's saying, my understanding, and I've read it a few times now, my understanding is that
Oh,
she's
he's got the one
saying
up on you.
that yeah, I got the one up front because I read multiple times. My understanding is that what she's saying is that what's the word I'm looking for?
They're
That-
using it's an excuse, right? That they're saying that like that Zionism is separate from Judaism, but it seems
Yes.
like it's one-to-one. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So she's saying that, hey, we claim like anti-Zionist Jews will say, hey, Zionists isn't Judaism, and this is true. Like I say this all the time when people bring up, oh, you hate Zionism, so you hate Jews. It's true, right? These are separate things. What she's saying is that within her community, they're treated as the same thing, right? That Zionism equals Judaism.
It's
You're a bad
intrinsic.
Jew unless you're a Zionist,
But
right? So what she's saying is that she wants to cut this ideology out of her community, and that requires treating all Jews like they're Zionists unless they are as anti-Zionist as she is, right? Which I
Well,
So we
think
got
is
we
extreme.
gotta
Supporting
decide,
Hamas.
It's extreme.
We gotta move. We gotta
Hold on,
move
to be clear,
forward,
I think it's
forward.
extreme, but that's what she's saying.
We got we gotta go to Lactrode. We gotta go to
Yeah, I'll
Connor.
pass
We're gonna
it.
go to
Me?
Ali and then Doobie.
Yeah.
So okay, and I just want to say something real quick. One, there's a super chat, so I'll say that real quick. Grassroots Hegemon Connor makes Kalinda Ahmad
make
Oh,
Kalinda
you
Ahmad.
make Kalinda Ahmad. Ugh.
I will
No, don't do that. Kalinda's
tomorrow.
retarded.
She's awful.
I love. She seems like a nice person, but she's a dumb dumb. I'm sorry.
I don't know about that.
Belinda has the
Um,
exact same version of historical autism that I do.
And
Okay.
she's still
Lacto-
lost to
la-
lactoid. Easy
Wasn't that the
lactoid
person that
dominant.
lactoid debated?
Thank
Yeah.
you, Grassroots.
I watched that today, by the way.
$5.
Watch it.
But in any case,
Yeah.
cancers a debate. In any case, just quickly, like we keep like equivocating these things, and I think Doobie was doing a fine job of like breaking down why this doesn't make sense, but like equivocating, hey, like people like harassing Muslims after 9/11 with like Zionism and Jews confronting that, right? These aren't the same thing. One, the article, as far as I isn't saying outside people like the external forces should be harassing Jews. I didn't see that within the article. Maybe I missed it. I might have missed it. If I did, I apologize. But the article didn't say that. But the article is talking about how yes, like Jews are actively, right, Jewish Americans are actively supporting this project, right? And that's okay then to say that the people who are actively supporting the project might actually have some responsibility towards it, right? That should be fair. I don't know why we're pretending otherwise. It wasn't the case for Muslim Americans. Most of them weren't supporting Al Qaeda, right? They didn't support Al Qaeda. They didn't support ISIS. They didn't support any of that nonsense, right? They had so much trouble fighting people that the FBI had to entrap Muslim kids when they invaded those mosques, right? When they were spying those mosques to try to find someone to call a terrorist, right? That's how little support they had in America. That's not the case. when we're
Get
talking
the
about
fuck
Zionism
out
at
of here,
all.
bro.
No, we'll talk.
Get the fuck
we
out
can
of
ar-
here.
we can
I could
argue. You wanna-
literally go to
we can-
Pew
we
Research
can
polls right
argue-
now,
we can
polling
argue
for
about-
Al Qaeda, for ISIS,
we
for
can-
suicide
we can
bombing
talk-
against civilian centers.
can talk
That's
about it.
horse
We
shit.
can
And on top of
talk
that,
about it.
pretending that
We
jihadist
can talk-
terrorism wasn't a thing in the thousands
talk-
and the tens is total fucking
I didn't say
coke.
that it wasn't.
That's a
Hold on.
total
I never
rewriting
said,
of
I
fucking
never
history.
said that it
Oh,
wasn't.
the
Hold on.
FBI
I
had
never
to go
said that
and
it
trap
wasn't. I never
Muslim
said
kids
that.
in order to
I
find
never said
jihadists.
that. I
That's
never said that.
horse
Don't put that
pussy.
in my mouth. That was
Horse
I never
pussy.
said any of that. Good thing, because I
You
didn't say
did
that.
say
I
that the
didn't say
FBI
any
had
of
to
that.
go
I didn't say
harass
it was
Muslim
doing
teenagers in
jihadist
order to
terrorists.
find terrorists. You just said
The
that.
support is hold on. It was okay. Well, tell me with these polls. Well, they tell me that the polls of support for Al Qaeda that equal the support of Zionism. Did it for among Jewish Americans? Did it?
No,
equal
but
that?
it's still like
No, it didn't.
20 or
No, it
30%.
didn't. No, it
It's
didn't.
still
No, it
30%.
didn't.
20 or
30%
30
is
compared
way
to
too
95?
low.
No,
compared
it
to
didn't.
95,
Okay,
right? 30
okay,
compared to
okay,
95, right?
Okay, so it didn't, right? And then, sorry, I'll leave that on side. We can have a conversation about that later.
Wait.
love
So
that
do you
conversation.
support the
I'd love
existence
to-
of a
I'd
Jewish
love-
state
I'd
is equivalent to
I'd
do you
love-
support
yes,
suicide
actually,
bombing
fucking
civilians?
Yes.
Yeah, they're the same
Actually,
thing.
Yes.
Same
Hold on.
thing.
No,
Unironically,
that's
Same thing.
cringe and
unironically,
gay and fucking lame.
unironically,
I'll let
I'll
you
fucking
proceed.
do it.
You have to
I'll
necessitate
fucking
certain
do it
things
right
that was
now.
retarded.
I'll fucking do it. Hold on,
Also,
hold
the
on.
equivalence
I'll
is
say-
if they're polling
no,
within
hold on, I'll say-
Palestine,
no,
right?
I'll
Because
say-
the U.S. was
because, hold
actively
on,
attacked.
The Jewish state, hold on. Exactly. Actually, this matters. This actually fucking matters because the Jewish state is an ethno-national state, right? A Jewish
Islamism
keep it
pulls
Jewish-
the same
to
way
keep
that
it Jewish,
as
to keep
Zionism.
it- hold on. No, hold on. You want to answer?
Yes, it does.
95%.
You want to make a fucking yes, it does. I guarantee you, it's like
95%
fucking
of people support
80%.
Islamism.
Hell yeah! You want me to pull that shit?
I
I'll
have
pull
a
that
stats. I have a stats
You
in front
asked
of
the
me.
question.
I can-
You
I
asked
can
the
read that.
question. I'm going to answer the question. Right. So, think a Jewish state, right? Supported that hides a bunch of stuff, right? Oh, it sounds lovely, right? Oh, just a state for the Jews, a state for the Jews to be safe, right? Where is that state? That state is in a place where they've had to ethnically cleanse the population, to genocide the population, to torture, to rape the population, right? To actively steal their land right now. That's smuggled all in, like the supporting the Jewish state.
Jewish
Now,
state.
Wait. So how does that apply to the 20% of Arab Muslim Israeli citizens right now? Are they being raped and murdered and sodomized and holocausted right now?
Every Arab Israeli that
don't care what
exists,
anything
the
you have to say
tokens
until
of
time is
Israel,
done.
they can go
Prime
fuck
is going to
themselves.
finish his point.
They're 1
Prime
out
will
of
finish his
5
point.
of the total
Prime
population.
Barking
Listen
dogs,
to it.
they're
Prime
dogs.
doesn't care what it is,
Dude,
right? Until Prime
see how
finishes his
fucking
point.
racist
They're
that shit
gonna
is,
fucking finish
too?
my point.
You say they're
Don't
all
worry.
being holocausted
I'm
and
gonna
1 out of
fucking finish
5
my
Israeli
point. I'm gonna
citizens is
fucking
fucking
finish
Arab
my
Muslim,
point.
and he
Don't
says
worry,
they're
I'm gonna
fucking
finish my
race
point.
traitors.
I'm going to
They're
fucking finish my point.
ethno-religious
I don't give
traitors.
a
I didn't
fuck
say
what
they're
you're
race
saying,
traitors, I said
Connor.
they're
I
dogs,
promise you,
Connor,
I don't care
dogs.
what you're saying.
Yeah.
I don't care what you're saying. I'm
'Cause
going
you're
to finish
wrong.
my point. And I haven't even heard it. I'm not going to engage with it until I fucking
Okay.
finish what I have to say. That's what's going to happen. Great. Thank you.
Go for it.
Any which way, right?
I think he likes you, Connor.
I like him
Um,
too.
I do like.
We just fight.
We
It's
fight a lot.
fine.
I mean, it's cool, right? It's okay if he's wrong. But no. Fuck. What was I saying now?
You're screaming at Connor. Go
You were
for
saying
it.
all
See it.
Arab Muslims were being genocided and raped by Zionism.
All no, I didn't say all Arab Muslims.
I think you were saying all hail
Arab.
Netanyahu. I think that's
I might have been saying that. No, yeah. So the Palestine. Well, I'll finish this with this. The Jewish state smuggles in a whole lot of violence. The average liberal, right, like ignores that, right? Pretends that doesn't. There's a liberal. Sorry, by my I mean
as
the
a liberal, I do
Zionist.
ignore that. Yeah.
No, sorry. I actually really meant liberal Zionists. I didn't mean to, but like also liberal Democrats too, right? They actually do a lot of that too.
It's always
But like,
them.
but like specifically liberal Zionists, right? They'll ignore all that. Well, no, I don't want any all the other stuff, right? I just want the Jewish state, and I don't really. But I'm not going to examine how the sausage is made. But the sausage has to be made somehow, and this is how the sausage is made. So when you ask me, hey, are those two statements equivalent, right? Like supporting a Jewish state, and then what was it, bombing
Yeah,
civilians or something?
suicide bombing.
Yeah, right. Like horrible terrorist violence, right? I say horrible terrorist violence are in both of those statements. I don't support either of those.
What about Islamism?
And also, and the
Because I
last
just
thing
sent you a
I'll- very,
Pew
very
Research
last
thing.
study
I- I-
that
I-
says
yeah.
very
that it
last
pulls
thing,
as
last
high
thing.
as 80% in a shitload of Muslim countries.
Very last thing.
Does
I'll say.
Islamism imply violence?
Very last thing I'll say
99%
is that like I don't. Very last thing is that like I don't necessarily support this article. There's a whole bunch that I don't actually support in this article. And I've had a lot of arguments with people who believe who align this article. I've had a lot of debate and discussion, right? That might not be clear with this conversation, right? That I don't necessarily agree of like a fucking lot of it, right? But like I think that what we do in these conversations is we like trivialize these things and say, well, of course, this is just ridiculous, right? And how could anyone think of this? So I'm trying to elucidate what like people within those spheres, as far as I can tell, hopefully I'm doing a good job, maybe I'm not. I'm trying to elucidate like what a lot of those people think so that like the broader audience can like try to wrap their minds on it, because I know all of this is new to you, right? For most of the audience, you've probably not been exposed to exactly this type of ideology, right? So it might be all new to you. So I'm trying to elucidate that. But I have big differences as well. All right, so I'm gonna leave it there. I'm letting our friend Lab do it.
Okay.
All right, I got a couple points. I've been writing down points, so I want to go through the points real
Sure.
quick. I'll try to machine gun them. First point, Connor is right. I posted the Pew article with some very specific parts highlighted. The people who want specifically Sharia law as defined as legal code based off of Islamic scripture to be the official law of the land It's 91% in Iraq, 89% in the Palestinian territories, 83% in Morocco, 74% in Egypt, as high as 99% in Afghanistan. Not really much of a surprise there. 86% in Niger. When you look at the most populous Muslim country, Indonesia, it's still as high as 72%. Countries that are very also high population countries like Bangladesh and Pakistan, 84%, 82%. It is, I mean, just population-wise, these are the massive population centers. It's fair to say that most Muslims worldwide want to have like Islamic law established as the law of the land in their area.
Is that a bad thing?
I think so. I think religious law is a bad thing.
And I never said anything about
and it
that,
implies violence, by the way.
Sure.
Everything implies
Let
violence.
me
just go through them real quick, and I know that's going to be responded to. But just before we get away too far away from it, the second point, because this was in directly a response to what Ali was saying before when he was saying you guys never bring it up when it comes to Israel. There's always this exception when it comes to the Jews.
Yeah.
You know, I'm somebody whose position has been moved in many ways when it comes because of the stats and conversation on Israeli war crimes that have happened in Gaza. That's pretty well documented, and they're really terrible civilian to military casualty ratio. But the reason that I was getting a little bit frustrated is because, you know, we're here to talk about a specific article in which the author very explicitly, I think, is glorifying October 7th, which is chock full of war crimes, and it also had a horribly high civilian to military casualty ratio. And so I'm looking for the same, in my opinion, the same level of consistency. And then the last point here, going back to the might makes right argument that Connor was making, which I don't fully agree with. You know, I'm interested really in the self-determination of established communities that live in the area now. And the reason why I care about that is because I think the land back argument suffers from two problems. The first problem being is that it ties blood to land, which I think has like an inherent basis in race. But then the other problem is just kind of what we were memeing about, is that there's really no discernible endpoint, which is that, you know, how far back and why. So yeah, the Jews were there before the Muslims. Should they get their land back? Was that too far? The author of the article is advocating for the complete destruction of America. Okay, so now we're talking about 500 years. So clearly 500 years is not too far back for her. So, you know, there doesn't seem to actually be any kind of discernible endpoint. At what point is land back Israel, or at what point is land back Palestine? At what point is land back, you know, giving everything back to the Native Americans, or at what point is land back depopulating everything except for the original people who came over the Bering Strait? Like there hits a point of, I think, absurdity that it's just completely unworkable. So those are the points I make. I know that Doobie wants to respond to the first one, but if any of the three of them, anybody can respond.
Well, that was next, so I'm gonna
and quickly before you do that, just some money came in. 300 bits from Feder Mephistus says Zionism is the greatest decolonization project in history. Okay, thank you. The real FQ, thank you. I gave a handful. She gave pocket change, but like I appreciate it. Thank you, the real FQ.
Wow,
it was little. I don't even know. It doesn't tell me. It doesn't tell me. It doesn't tell me how much it was. It's just like literally one cheer, like a cents. Like I literally. It doesn't tally it for me. I don't know how much she gave.
Does Twitch take a cut of that 1 cent?
Probably.
Sure.
And there's probably other pieces. And if I know I missed a few, and I do apologize because I know one person, Gazamat, I know you redeemed a few highlighted messages with 100 bits, so thank you. It's not showing up. I apologize, but like thank you for the 100 bits. I apologize into your message, but if I see it again, I'll read it. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, who wants to go?
Yeah, I just want to. So like my thing when I say like people don't really talk about it, and then you guys are like, what do you mean? Everyone's talking about it. I think the issue is when we talk about what's happening to like Palestine or what's happening to Lebanon or what's happening to like these regions, it's like dwindled by like this thing of what's happening to the Jews, right? Like because Israel is the Jewish state. I think like Connor was like, he was saying, he's like, I'm a tepid tepid Zionist. I wish I could support Israel, but right now it's kind of hard because, you know, they're taking over the Litani River, and it's they're taking over southern Lebanon. They're annexing southern Lebanon. It's like
they're pretty aggro,
yeah, I know, but he says that, and it's kind of like in a like it's just so calmly said, right? There's no anger behind it. There's no like fuel or like deterrent, right? But when it comes to, for some, like particularly like Jewish Americans or like Jews in Israel, there seems to be this fire and fury behind it that no other group other in the world seems to get, even in America. So I say this because like I was watching the debate with Doobie that Doobie had with Wick, and the way Wick gets fired up about anti-Semitism, it's like they're like, and I see this in the greater liberal sphere. They get so fired up about anti-Semitism. I've never seen that kind of fire against sexism or racism or the Islamophobia that's happening. Like for months, Jake Lang was going to Muslim communities, walking around with a Quran and pigs' heads. I didn't see any of the liberals stand up and say anything about that. I don't see them saying anything about the Islamophobia or the racism that happens. But when it comes to the anti-Semitism, when it comes to the anti-Israel speak, the Avengers line up. And like it seems that like our figureheads, our politicians are kind of in support of this, right? We're talking about like bombing Lebanon and taking over Lebanon and going to war with Iran, right? We're at war with Iran. I'm sorry, but that is at the lengths and for this other country, right? Like we're doing all these things, and when you have a conversation about it, it instantly gets met with anti-Semitism. So we're now shutting down.
Can I build a quick bridge?
Wait, no, wait. Just let me finish real quick. It just gets met with a million things, but then when you want to talk about the Islamophobia, when you want to talk about things that are going, it gets really, really minimized. And it's like the conversation isn't being taken seriously.
Sure.
But when we have a conversation about like Israel, like Hamas attacks Israel, oh my God, Hamas attacked, they killed 1,200 civilians, so on. But like Israel's currently, they dropped 100 bombs in 10 minutes in Beirut, right? Nowhere near Hezbollah. So it's like we never give it the same gravitas as we do the terrorists that attack Israel. But when Israel does it, we don't have that same passion. So
Sure.
I don't know.
Let me build a quick bridge with you. I understand where you're coming from, and I do think that there's people who do, in the emotions seem to betray that they instinctively are valuing some life over the other, and I can understand that can be frustrating. What I can guarantee you, and I don't know if I'll have the opportunity to do this because there's really not that many of them, but what I can guarantee you is I have in the past argued with people and gotten in big fights with people who have taken the more extreme pro-Israel positions. And yeah, if I was on a panel and the article was basically this but reversed, and the author, let's say, was very explicitly like celebrating some sort of like mass attack on Gazan civilians, or the killing of journalists, or the bombing of Red Cross workers, or the rapes, like the stuff that has demonstrably happened, I would be aggressively arguing with them as well. And I'd be saying like, this in particular is fucked up. I just need you to acknowledge that. And it wouldn't be enough for me if they said, oh, but look at October 7th. Okay. Yes, it's fine to attack October 7th too. That was horrible. But right here, I mean, this is fucked up. Why are you defending this? And I'm not saying you are defending October 7th, but I feel like this author is. And that's why I have aggression towards the author. And that's why I was
I'm not taking it personally. I'm not like attacking you, but I'm saying that does happen in this conversation. It just does. It gets overtaken. It's something about the Jews where if you say anything, it's shut down instantly, and it's tough.
I will counter this by just saying there is a reason why Wick gets so fired about it, and it's because Doobie's right in front of him. No one who's a Jake Lang is not on the panel, the guy with the pig heads, and there is a bias, right, that like you're going to get frustrated with the people in front of you rather than things.
I don't think that's it.
No, I think
because Wick has hosted.
You don't think that that's at least part of the conversation?
No, I think Wick has hosted many panels on anti-Semitism.
I know, I've been on them.
Yeah. Wait, but I've also, I know that Wick sees what's going on with the Jake Lang thing, and these are conversations that he should be having, right? If he's someone who has conversations across all spheres. But it doesn't seem that he cares about these conversations. It really does seem that like the anti-Semitism Israel thing is kind of like the DGG like core argument that they have right now, is that they support the Jews, and everyone else who's Hassan Piker fans are terror sympathizers. That's really what it is. It's just anti-Hassan rhetoric.
Terrorist sympathizers, and that's what's so frustrating about this argument.
Are the IDF terrorists?
Are people who support the IDF and what they're doing terror sympathizers as
If
well?
you,
or are they
wait,
not
hold on.
terrorists?
If you're saying I like what the IDF is currently doing, then
I'm not
yeah,
asking
I
if
would
you
say
like
you're a
them.
terror sympathizer.
You support Israel
not-
in the way that they're doing. You don't
Yeah, I'm
condemn
not
them.
asking
You
if
don't
you
then
like
I would
condemn
say
them
you're a
the same
terror
way.
Do you
sympathizer.
think the IDF
Yeah.
performs
Okay. Cool.
terrorism?
So they're terror
Uh,
sympathizers too.
Great.
Yeah. Okay. Great. I mean, as
No,
long
can
as
I-
we,
can I res-
as long as we're being even with it. Sorry. We'll go, yeah, DB, you can, and then we'll go to our friend Connor, who's been
You
waiting.
guys are never
So-
fucking even about it. You know, you don't criticize Hamas ever.
What? Of course we
Of course
do.
we do.
Like, what the fuck?
I spent the first
Yeah, we
30
actually
years
do.
of this conversation
And, like,
condemning
he does, like,
Hamas
the
every
basic
5
Zionist
minutes.
thing. I haven't heard you criticize Hamas. Of course, people criticize Hamas. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, you just
Like,
criticize him in the
3 years
context.
later, and
you
they were-
criticize him in the same way you'd criticize Nat Turner, right, and his rebellion. So
Yeah.
killed children,
Ew.
killed women. It's a terrible thing to do.
Wait, that was fucked
but
up,
you
right?
don't- Yeah,
was
I
bad.
just said terrible
Yeah.
thing to do,
Yeah.
bad thing to do.
Should've done it.
But you do it in the context of, yeah, this is awful, but the root of this evil
people have a
is
right to
this
fight for
other
their
thing,
struggle, for
and
their own
that is where the
struggles.
focus should be.
No, hold on. Let me
So,
ask this.
only
wait,
freedom.
wait, hold on. I need to get
direct
some
response to
okay,
that.
go ahead.
Direct response
Go
to
ahead.
that, Doobie.
ahead.
So Haiti was a colonial slave state for a long time, and then when they kicked out the French, they didn't just kick out the French; they massacred all of them, genocided all the
Yeah.
French,
Makes
even the
sense.
babies, stabbed them with bayonets and all that stuff. Very specifically, and I know you're not going to say it, so I'm not I'm just making a point here rhetorically. You wouldn't call that miraculous, right?
No, but again, in the
Why not?
this is what
Why
this way I
why
think
would
it's
you not
important-
call that miraculous?
Okay, because the intention there was to genocide these people, right? They're so angry, and again, I understand. I think the hatred is a natural human reaction, right? So even there, this is evil, right? To kill these people,
Mhm.
but the root of that evil, it was the slavery, right? And
But it certainly
Just
wasn't
because they want to
miraculous.
kill the French.
So hold on, but
Well, no,
sorry,
the motivation
really
was to
quick,
get rid of
really
French
quick.
influence. It wasn't
No,
actually
hold on,
to kill
Lactose,
specifically
Lactose.
kill
Why?
the French people.
no, really
Because
quick,
they were they're slavers.
Please, really quick. So the intention there, I think, was to end slavery, and
And make sure it
to
never comes back.
genocide these people, like actually genocide them.
Well, that was
So,
the means to the end,
hold
which was to
on.
make sure the French never come back.
Guys, can
Yeah.
can I interrupt?
Oh,
My
sure.
my older kid woke up and he's not going back to bed. So can I
Okay,
kind of
yeah.
do like the
Sure.
counterpoint I wanted to do in an outro?
Weren't
Can I
you
just point something
responsible
out
for
really
putting him
quickly?
to bed?
Because my response was actually for you.
I'll
what you
listen
said
to it.
earlier. Just really quickly. So what Lactose was Connor Prime was saying earlier about the FBI needing to like entrap Muslim teens or whatever, because there was so little support for jihadism in the U.S. See, I posted Pew articles, right, Pew Research polls about specifically American Muslim support for Al Qaeda, support for terrorism, support for suicide bombings, and it was extremely low at the time, extremely low. So it's true that in other parts of the world, I mentioned this earlier, you'll find higher levels of support, absolutely. Right, but in the United States specifically, the levels are extremely low. We're talking about like 1%, right, for some of these things. It's very,
Yeah,
very
but
low
you-
support.
Well, if I may, if I ask 100 white motherfuckers, is it okay to massacre civilians in the name of a political ideology? 100 out of 100 are going to say fucking no, right?
That's not true.
So
What?
what's that?
That's not true.
You
Pl-
you
hold on.
wait, hold on,
White
hold on.
people will say
So,
no?
so explain yourself. So you think
will.
that if you ask 100 white people, you'll find somebody who's like, yeah, just gun down civilians. It's awesome.
Yes, actually.
Yes.
Yeah.
What?
Fascist,
So
that
In
hold on,
is-
reference
really quick.
to what
on, I can do
political
this- I can- I
ideology
have
do
no
you think
issue-
they
I have no issue-
support that enables that
No
line
issue
of
with this at all.
thinking?
No, I have no issue with this at all. So yes, I think here in the
If
United
you're
States,
if you're going to extend this
Please,
to
let him
collateral
know.
damage in
No,
American
let's tell you
military
what it is.
operations, this is
Listen,
not analogous.
no,
but
let
I think
him-
continue.
here in the
tell-
United States, you'll find plenty of white people, white Christian evangelicals typically, that will absolutely support wiping out, turning Gaza into a parking lot. quote unquote.
Indirectly, though.
No, turning Gaza into a parking lot, killing all these people because they're
Not the
evil,
same.
right? It's absolutely
I
the
already
same.
said, I already said
It is
collateral damage
absolutely
military
the same. That is not
operations
cl-
is
hold on,
not
that
the
is not
fucking
collateral
same.
damage.
listen, military
Hold on,
operation
when these
against the
Christian
Hold on.
preachers,
Hold
when these
on.
Christian
You
preachers
know what?
on
I'll build a
stage,
bridge
please-
with you guys. This
No,
is
listen.
hold
Oh
on.
my God,
his
there's no bridge
question
to be
was
built.
his question was, do they think to themselves? In answer to the question, the question was, do you think it's good to gun down civilians? No context is given. They don't even think that to themselves. Sure, they'll go, well, we got to bomb down Gaza, but they don't think to themselves, oh,
Okay. So if we're taking like a literal like interpretation of what he said, then yeah, probably not. But if you look at what I posted, right, with the American Muslims, right, and extremism, this is asking about suicide bombing, whether it's ever justified. So suicide bombing
In
/ other
defense
violence
of the
against
faith.
civilians. No, listen. / other violence against civilians is just justified to defend Islam from its enemies. 2011, only 1% of Muslims in the United States said yes. And often, 7% said sometimes, 5% said rarely, 81% said no. So never.
Wait, hold on.
Justified.
Add rarely, sometimes, and often together.
And it's not even 20%.
Yeah,
It's not even 20. Okay, so hold on.
Hold on, Connor. That's
No.
Lactoid,
Lactoid, be my mass shooter schizo real quick. Hey,
Connor,
hey, Lactoid.
Yeah, I'm with you.
In the name of Christianity, is it sometimes, often, or rarely permissible to massacre dozens of civilians?
suicide
Please answer that
bombing.
question.
He's not a
Often,
Christian
sometimes,
nationalist,
or rarely. If
Never.
you
He's
not a
answer
Christian
rarely,
national.
it's only 20%.
No, Connor.
So don't
Connor,
worry
you're-
about
you're-
it.
I
No,
think
this
you're being
is
dishonest
fucking
now. Hold on.
retarded.
So
You guys
hold on,
flatten
really
violence
quickly-
concepts.
No,
It's
no
dumb
one's
as shit.
flattening
I'm
it.
Yeah,
not
that
going
was
to
dumb
pretend
as
it's not
shit.
dumb as
Hold on,
shit.
Prem,
I would
please.
like to go do an outro
Wait, hold on, so
and
Connor,
help
Connor,
tuck my
if
kids.
you were to ask this question in Israel to Israelis within Israel, what percent of them do you think would say yes? Because I think like 40% of them
Israelis
say
would
like
mass.
fucking,
Didn't you say that Ben Gavir had like a mass shooter fucking poster in his room or something?
yeah. Hold on, and
Yeah.
there was
He
a,
had the
there was, there was
noose
a poll
pin
recently
when they
there was a poll
passed
recently,
that
somewhere
law.
around 40% of Israelis support genocide. Like 80
Wait,
something
sorry.
percent
Is
support ethnic cleansing.
Hunter's our resident Jew, right?
Irrelevant. I'm talking about Israelis.
Barely-
I don't
I'm
think Hunter's- I don't think
Jewish.
he's Israeli.
Okay. Answer for the 20% of Israelis who want to massacre Gazan civilians.
It's not 20%.
Answer for
It's
them
not
now.
20%.
Answer for the 80%
It's not
of Israelis
20%.
that want to
It's not-
massacre fucking
It's
Gazan
much higher,
civilians.
Connor. It's
Yeah.
much higher. So
It's
I think
okay.
if you would ask that
Okay,
question,
I need to
even
do an
American
outro.
Zionists,
I need to
you're
tuck
gonna
my
find
kids
that
into
a lot of
bed.
them
I gotta,
absolutely
Doobie,
support
I'll
it.
call you tomorrow during the workday. We can hash this out, just you and me. But I gotta roll.
Sure. Yeah, go for it.
Okay. All right,
Okay.
have a good one.
Sorry. So, one of the questions that was asked probably 45 minutes ago was, why do you downplay the Palestinian side of the story? And what's interesting about that question is I clicked on the hyperlinks for this article. And one of the article links was the accusations of organ theft. Okay. And the reason why I'm so dismissive so quickly is because there were Palestinian corpses who had been killed by IDF forces, taken into IDF custody, and returned without their vital organs. So the inference by the writers of the article was that these organs were stolen and that they were implanted into Israelis who needed them. But I've done autopsies before, okay? And what medical examiners do, particularly when it comes to homicides, is they take out the fucking vital organs. They literally chop a fucking Y in the center of the fucking chest. They open that bitch up and they remove all the vital organs for analysis, including the brain, the heart, the lungs, the intestines, all that kind of shit. So I'm not in Israel. I don't know whether or not the Jews stole these organs. I mean, they're cheap, so maybe they would. I have no fucking idea. But,
I don't endorse.
but,
End quote.
but,
Yes,
End
you
quote.
do.
I need to
but
respond to
if
this.
I had to bet dollars
Yes,
to
all Jews,
donuts,
Prime.
yeah, if I had to bet dollars to donuts, it was not because they were cheap and stealing organs. It's because they were doing autopsies by people killed in homicides. So that's the kind of thing where you take something that's real, like corpses not having vital organs, you expand it into something with which you do not have evidence, and then when you like assert it as fact, it makes me less likely to believe you in the future.
This is because you don't
Now-
know anything. You don't know
Hold
anything
on.
about this. They're
Well,
there
then
have been
send me
cases of
evidence about
organ
the fucking
theft.
organ trade or whatever, but I gotta go to bed. I gotta
put it in
do
the group
shit.
chat.
I gotta do shit.
Okay, go
Let's
for
talk about it tomorrow. So, anyways, the point is that I don't think the conversation about Israel Palestine is interesting. We can fight about it forever, whatever. But what I didn't get out of this conversation that I thought was the most interesting part of the evening is, how do we assign collective guilt? What are we actually demanding of the parties with whom we assign collective guilt? And then how do we come up with a rule set so it's not just white people and Jews taking on collective guilt? Because if I can do it to the black, like, listen, I don't like it. I think it's a bad rule set. I think it's going to fuck up our national conversation. But if you do it to me, I want to do it to the blacks. I want to do it to the Muslims. I want to do it to the Jews. I want to do it to the Hispanics. So you guys come up with a rule set to how to hold each other collectively guilty, and then we'll do that.
Thank you, Connor, for being here. Much appreciated. And to Connor's audience, there's an article talking about Palestinian organ theft 20 years ago. Much appreciated, though. Have a good one, friend.
Okay.
Counter.
Very socially love you
reply
guys.
to my
See you
messages. I've
soon.
sent
Have
you
a beautiful
few
night.
messages. Reply.
And also, we have someone else who wants to join, Dad Katie. Okay, so I'll let her in. But yeah, anyone else, if you want to say anything first, go ahead. Anyone else? You're complete.
But a very important question for Katie: are you the recipient of stolen organs?
It's
You're
very
very,
quiet.
Barely.
quiet. We can't hear you.
Yeah. So we'll wait for her to work on that, and then she can make
I
an
do.
intelligent retort. Before then,
That's fine. Go for it.
we got some super chats that came in later on.
Boo.
Boo. Hello.
we can hear
There
you.
we go. We
Much
can hear
louder.
you
Yeah, much better.
clearly. Sorry. So we have Newman X, who says, "I understand, but is this whole ass debate more ignoring of the issue at the center of it all, which is extremism in any direction? It's always blaming something else instead of changing." Maybe.
He admitted.
Yeah, that can happen. It can happen that where we aren't actually like tackling the heart of the issue, right? And then we're equivocating, right? It happens. People do it on both sides. But thank you for that, Newman X, for the kind $10 and for the kind support throughout the stream. And then Grassroots Hegemon says, $10. I was right. Everyone should be in prison. Universal basic jail. Dibs on Doobie as a celly, by the way. $10. I have dibs on Doobie as a celly. I think that'd be pretty fun. I think we'd have a good time.
Make
okay,
jail
whatever.
tolerable.
Just to be clear, I'm a top.
Yeah.
Just to be clear.
What'd you say?
So just to be clear, I'm a top.
I mean, he means top bunk. He means top bunk. That's fine,
That's what I
buddy.
meant,
Okay, all right. We'll let. All right. So, Hunter, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I do. I do fully agree with Connor that is probably the more interesting conversation is the responsibility aspect rather than just I wish that could we just take for granted that Israel is doing some horrific war crimes and that largely I am interested in the responsibility aspect of this. But yeah,
Okay.
I also want to make sure that we give the new person
continue
a
this
voice.
convo next week.
Okay. Well, let's go to with
Said Katie?
because I'm curious what your thoughts on this are. Yeah, I'll just
Well,
let you have the floor.
I have to answer Lactoid. So, not that I'm aware of, but Israel has a weird thing with consent. So, it's possible. I don't know what they do to me when I sleep. But I did link an article for the Guardian talking about Israel stealing organs from Palestinians. So, that's in the chat. And you can have that if you want. I don't think that even addresses the skin bank situation. I think this is just organs and bones.
You're
but I'm
talking to
not-
no one. Connor already left.
No, but I think this is.
I'm
this is
talking to
the issue.
chat.
Yeah. She's
Okay.
talking
I
her
think
own.
people need to know this stuff.
Okay.
Okay.
Shut down.
I haven't read the full article, but as the second resident Jew now, you can direct those questions to me. Also Jewish, it's depends on the day that you ask me.
I
The
already
wa-
I already made the joke, so don't
No,
fucking cut
it's-
into my shit, into my shtick.
It's a build up on your joke. Don't be cheap. It's very Jewish of you.
Prime does not endorse, but go ahead.
It's okay. It's Jew on Jew crime. We're allowed.
She's just criticizing her own community, Prime. It's okay now.
True.
Prime-
Let the
Prime
Semites
does not
let
endorse.
Semitic racism be between the Semites, okay?
To be fair, there was actually a super anti-Semitic comment earlier, and none of you gave a fuck. So that was cool about like the author of the article like killing herself or deporting herself or whatever. Apparently, if you're an anti-Zionist Jew, a Jew can say whatever they want about you, and this panel is fine with it. I'm not sure that me and Hunter are in community though, because I'm an anti-Zionist, so I'm not in community with Zionists.
I
Which
largely
she,
consider
the author,
myself an
considers.
yeah, exactly.
She
I
would
largely-
probably not.
Okay. Where do we disagree then?
Well, a lot of things, but can I make a point for myself first?
Sure, totally. Sorry.
Yeah. The one thing that I did find interesting that you guys referenced about the article was that I think you, Hunter, specifically, or Lactoid, read that part about that there is no distinction between Judaism and Zionism.
Mhm.
And I tried looking up some details about this author. She doesn't seem to be religious. I don't know what synagogue she's saying this at or whatever, but that 10% of anti-Zionist Jews are highly Orthodox, ultra-Orthodox. So I actually took quite an offense that she is making it about Judaism and not because the most avid anti-Zionist advocates are ultra-Orthodox Jews. So I thought that was weird as fuck, but I wouldn't be surprised why someone who's Jewish but not religiously Jewish would make it about Judaism. So that was
Are
my
you-
point.
Is that I don't know if I followed that point. I'm sorry. Was that to me or to the author?
Well, the author isn't here, but I made a general point. You don't even have to address it. That was just something that bothered me. I think it's really
Yeah.
weird to make it about Judaism when the vast majority of anti-Zionist Jews that exist are way more religious than all of us. They are not
Sure.
Jewish, they're
Sure,
just
sure, sure.
Jewish.
Sure.
Yeah, that
So,
makes sense. That's true.
So okay, so Katie, what? And this is what our friend Lactoid, I think, wanted to elucidate. Like, where are your points of disagreement? So, okay, we got the ultranationals thing, right? But
I haven't
like,
read the article. I can read
Yes,
it
true.
really
You
quick.
haven't. That's
I
You
didn't
cannot read
either.
it. You cannot read it real quick. It is a long fucking article.
It's
It's
a-
not.
it's
It's not on
okay.
you.
That's fine.
It's
I'm
a
a quick
fucking
long
reader,
long.
but okay. Thank
Okay.
you.
No, I am too, and it takes a
Okay.
little while. Yeah.
Okay.
I wonder
Sure,
how
sure,
AI
sure.
would summarize
Okay.
it.
Then
I
I'll-
read
I'll-
Yeah, you can do that too.
I read half of the first paragraph and I was like, "Oh, this is not how I like to talk about this. This is
Yeah.
this is how we
For
talk
sure.
It's pretty normal
with,
to you then.
with
That's good.
people that we like. This is how we talk with people that we trust. This is not something that we put outside like this." And
Which goes to my point, which what I was saying earlier, right? And Lactoid, I understand your criticism of me, and that's fair, right? But like the point that I was trying to make earlier is that like the language here is actually pretty insular. Now that doesn't mean you can't judge it otherwise, right? I think you're correct to say that you can make an honest
Sure.
external critique, right, of the language. I think that's fair, right?
Yeah.
But like I think my interpretation
You critique
could
those
be wrong.
Republican leaked group chats, right?
No, and that's fair. That's fair too, right?
Ooh.
Exactly. Like within there's all kind of language. Maybe they don't mean kill all Jews, even though they keep saying it over and over again. They might not.
They actually probably
they-
don't. Honestly.
But even
They-
if that's
they might
their
not-
code,
they-
that's
they
probably
might not.
bad, right?
It might. No, yeah, that's fair, and that's fair too. But I'm just saying that, well, it doesn't matter. Anyway, while we're here though, right, and I know we're near the end, so
Mhm.
I just want to ask a few things or talk about a few things that happened at the very start, and I never got a chance to address. Okay, at the very start, for Lactoid's opening, right, he talked about like how he dismisses this article immediately, because the individual, the author, wants to dismantle America. Now,
It wasn't the
I
only
know
reason.
that. That's true. It's not the only reason, but that's the one I'm talking
It's
about.
one of you.
Fair. Like, and I get that you disagree with that. That's fair, right?
I do.
But is that a crazy idea? That's the thing I want to talk
Yeah,
about.
yeah.
What does
Why
that
would
mean, though? Can we
This-
clarify what
So,
that?
don't
yeah,
think it's a
so
crazy
what she
idea.
what she
That's fair.
clarifies is the complete destruction of America, returning all the land back to the Native American tribes, and then all white people fuck off back to Europe.
Yeah,
That is
like
what
where
she-
do I go?
That you go to Europe. That's where we go. You and I have to get on a
Poland
boat
or
and go to
something. I don't know
Europe.
what you're up to.
I- now look,
Sure.
I
they're
get
gonna-
to stay. 'cause I'm
they're
like,
gonna
you know,
take me.
100% indigenous, but fuck the rest
Sure.
of
Can
it.
I, can
I
I
mean,
ask a
I
quick
have to go
question?
to Sweden. It's not the worst thing, okay? I'm gonna be fed. It's
Yeah,
not
but
a big deal.
I'm going to some fucking nonsense place in Poland.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
like
good luck.
Lactoid,
I
you
don't
read
speak
it,
the language.
Yeah, I did
and
read it.
Doobie said he read it a few times.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when she says
He
the
studies
complete
it.
okay, when she says the complete destruction of America, whatever the fuck, does it actually say go back to Europe, or is that something that you're inferring?
That's something that I think can be inferred from what she says the solution for Israel should be.
I'm
So-
asking if it's written there.
Just to be clear, that's her
Have you read it a
prescription
few
for. I don't.
So-
It's
So she didn't say that about
Like-
America.
Okay, well,
But
She
she
okay,
does
does,
say that
so
about
she does
Israel.
stipulate that for Israel, and then says.
Let me
like,
read.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
let
I
me-
just want to know if it's written in there or not. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, so she doesn't say that about America, but she does say that about Israel. So that the I think she said like not a speck of Zionist colonial
Okay.
whatever should be
Yeah.
left here, and they should be like and then you need to make sure that they don't victimize people where they go, basically.
Yes, yes. But
No,
she's basically saying Zionists can't stay.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, she basically explicitly says it. And here's why. So the article here, I'm going to read this part. Quote, genuine Jewish anti-Zionists unwaveringly support the total eradication of Israel. She used the word eradication. And then in parentheses, and the greater Satan, America, spelled with a K. Full land back without a speck of Zionist or Euro-American imperial settler colonial control. Now, when you click on the link, because this parentheses has a link to a different article she writes about how she wants to destroy all of America, and in here she advocates for a ignite instead an eighth fire prophecy from Cherokee to Dene to Iroquois Confederacy and beyond. Raise a tufan floodstorm of every red nation's, she calls them red nations, okay, red nations banners high in the respective lands and hallowed territories. So yeah, all of us have to go back to Europe.
So to be clear,
Okay.
oh, you can respond to that, Kate, if you're looking. to.
Maybe I'm just culturally unaware of where what he read meant. Maybe there's like a mythology that I'm unaware of about going back to America or whatever. But that's like, I'll take your word for it that it says that.
So I
haven't heard that part when you read it.
The point that I was trying to make is not that I agree with necessarily dismantling America, right? But this idea of like why. Actually, I don't know. Hold on. I was going to say she's an outsider, but I don't know if she was born here or not. I have no idea. Actually, it's not clear to me. I don't know her background. Whether she's
she's born in San Diego.
She was born in San Diego. Okay.
Yeah.
Of course she was.
He studies it.
I don't know.
Californian student.
Okay, fair enough. Okay. Well, so she's not an outsider. Okay, fair enough. Right. But like
California, she's kind of an outsider.
There is it does it make sense for other people? I won't speak on this person because I don't really know their psychology. But is that crazy for other people to want America to be dismantled, considering like what America has done to the world, what America is doing to the world right now, right? It's like we're in an oil shock because of America, like right this second. Like basically what I'm saying is like, let's have like the great Satan debate, right? Like now I wouldn't call America the great Satan. I wouldn't use that terminology, but it makes sense to me like others would. Right, like, hey, like, why would the Iranian kids say those things, or and burn the flag? Well, because of all the horrible things that we've done to Iran, including what we're doing right now, right? And like, if you go to countries around the world, they'd have similar arguments. Not all of them, but a lot of them, especially in the global South, would have that. So what I'm asking here is that actually a crazy idea to want the imperial core to be dismantled?
Wouldn't you like? We have to be clear about what we're saying here. Like when you say the imperial core should be dismantled, are you just saying America should just stop funding the military and maybe Europe takes over a little bit, maybe China takes over a little bit, or are you saying, and on the other far end, you're saying that Native Americans should rise up and then kill every American and we should all be deported? And I don't know where in that spectrum you lie.
I think it's fair. I think it's fair to ask for a definition of that. Now,
because I would say this is reasonable. Sorry, it's not reasonable. I disagree with it fully, but it's a normal ass take. You could walk around and be a normal person and have that take.
Yeah.
Okay, Katie, I think you want to answer that.
I have a clarifying question. So when I hear words like this country needs to be eradicated is a strong word. I'll give you that, Lactoid. That article is very emotionally charged, and that's why I said I don't necessarily think that language is outside language, because I'm not saying that feelings are bad, but not everyone needs to hear your feelings all the time in the way that is not polished to some degree. But when I hear something like dismantling country, I think something about how we dismantled Nazi Germany and we dismantled Imperial Japan. And when those countries or those entities were dismantled, people weren't deported or mass killed. Now I didn't, but America and other allies did perform many war crimes there too. To be fair, so did Nazi Germany and Imperial Japan. But my question is more like, why when I hear the word dismantle, I think, well, everyone who lived in Nazi Germany continued living there after it was a Nazi Germany, same with Imperial Japan. But then when it comes to dismantling Israel or dismantling America, it's always like, well, do you mean kill all of us?
No, it doesn't necessarily imply that, but this article does. So let me just.
For Israel, it's the racism of Arabs.
This is the wrong direction to go.
When we say dismantle Israel, people get worried that the racist Arab Muslims are going to just genocide the Jews. If you
no, I know, but I'm asking.
You're right. So
I know.
So what I said before is genuine Jewish anti-Zionists unwaveringly support the total eradication of Israel. Okay, so you agree eradication is kind of a bad word, but I also agree that sentence doesn't necessarily state that like all the Jews have to leave. It could just mean that Israel has to disappear and like be replaced by something else. And then it says, and the greater Satan, America, and then it links to a different article advocating for
Okay,
a
but
complete
your
land back.
your
Hold on.
starting
Let
your
me
starting
put-
argument was that it's genocidal, and now
Yes.
you're saying that it
I'm
doesn't
almost
mean
there.
that.
I'm almost there.
Okay, sorry.
Full land back without a speck of Zionist or Euro-American imperial settler colonial control. This
Mhm.
includes Jews supporting removing fellow Jews from Palestine while ensuring they don't do harm wherever they go or further displace indigenous peoples elsewhere.
Mhm.
And open reverent support for Palestine's armed resistance. Gaza's Mujahideen are at the heart of the struggle, currently spearheaded by Hamas's Al-Qassam brigades, who executed the miraculous, she uses that word, Al-Aqsa flood on October 7th, 2023, an operation that genuine Jewish anti-Zionist unequivocally recognizes one of the most prolific anti-colonial operations in history. So when you look at this paragraph, what's it saying?
I hear you,
Yeah, eradicate
but I'm
Israel.
not talking about the paragraph. I'm talking. So if someone says, if I said I support the dismantlement of Israel, you don't think I'm advocating for ethnic cleansing or
Not
genocide
necessarily.
of Jews?
Not
Okay,
necessarily.
cool. Now,
I
that's all
I
I
agree,
want.
not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
Okay,
I would
In
need to
case
hear,
you're curious.
I would need to hear more. But what I
Okay.
think, what in the article, and I understand that you know you haven't read it, and that's totally understandable. So that's not being held against you here.
No.
But
I hear the paragraph,
Yeah.
and I see.
That's in much more
disagree
detail.
with your interpretation, but it is much more detailed, and there's stuff that I disagree with in too. There.
And that's why when Prime said, "Do you support this? Like, do you think that that's crazy?" I'm like, "Tell me more, because I don't know what dismantling really means."
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
But I
just
think
want to
this
know
is right. I think this is crazy when you're advocating for full land back without a speck of Zionist or Euro-American imperial settler control, which concludes removing all Jews from Palestine, fellow Jews from Palestine, while ensuring they don't do harm wherever they go, while in the same paragraph glorifying October 7th, which was a direct attack on civilians.
First of all, I completely understand not wanting to take this paragraph down into chunks, and I think that's fair. I don't necessarily think this paragraph can be fairly taken into parts and be like, well, do you just agree with this part? Do you just agree with this part? Because it is part of a greater whole. I agree with you. Exercise outside of it. When I talk about, and again, I wouldn't phrase it like removal of Jews from Palestine, but when I talk about solutions from stuff like that, I think there are American settlers that came to Israel last year, right? If Palestine is free tomorrow, do I think they need to get the fuck back to where their dual nationality is from? Yes, I do. Do I think the parents of my brother-in-law who came to Palestine when they were 15 need to go back to a country that they can't go back to? No, that's unfeasible, right? But you see that you agree with me that there's a difference
There's
there,
a difference.
right?
Yeah.
Totally.
Okay.
There is a difference.
'Cause you're
My
saying
accusation
all
is this.
Jews?
I believe this author is anti-Semitic. I believe this author is advocating for a kind of genocide or extreme ethnic cleansing at the most charitable. I really do think there's a genocidal aspect to what she's saying. I don't agree that everybody who I'm not saying that you guys and you guys have explicitly said that like this bitch goes pretty extreme, right? So fair enough. I get that. I'm just saying that based on the language that she's using here, I mean, to me, my interpretation, I think, is by far the most likely that she does want there to be a complete removal of Jews, and the ones that resist get shot.
Can we
Okay.
focus the question? I don't think we've danced around it a lot, right? And I don't feel like we've fairly like actually dealt with it. Okay, right? This idea that at least Jewish Americans. I'm not sure if she necessarily disambiguates Jewish Americans. She might be meaning Jews worldwide, but I'll talk about Jewish Americans because I have a greater idea there, right? Jewish Americans hold a responsibility for this project because specifically because they've been actively partaking in this project.
Supporting it.
Do we agree that there is a level of responsibility here?
I don't know what we mean by responsibility, genuinely, and I'm not trying to quibble. Like I
understand.
Because I keep saying, like, how do we hold them responsible?
I think
it's
I can
like,
answer that one.
Yeah. Because I'm like, well, should we harass them? And you're like, no, we don't harass them. And I'm like, okay, well then, like, what do you do with like a Jew who seems to be quiet about this whole thing? Like, what?
Well,
How do
I think
you
it's what I
guys
said
hold them
earlier.
So
responsible?
I think it's a greater social like conversation. I think honestly it kind of may have started with the non-vote for Kamala, right? Or the greater conversation we're having right now about not supporting like AIPAC funded or Zionist politicians, right? I think it starts by taking the norm that like we are the norm right now is that Zionism is the correct ideology to have, and that the support of this country is the correct. Right? I think it starts
my
by
big
having
issue.
Yeah.
Here's my big issue with that. That's a
ahead.
responsibility for all Americans.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
I think
And like
okay,
it feels weird when we're
my
saying what about
problem-
Jewish Americans? And it's
my
like, wait,
problem. Okay,
I share the
think-
same responsibility you do.
I think this
Go ahead, sorry.
article. I think
Yeah.
the way this article is written is like I said, it's an internal critique, right? It's a Jewish woman who's talking about her community and what the problems within her community and what she thinks she needs to stop because it's an ideology from her community, by her community, for her community, right?
Yeah.
So first and foremost, that's where it starts. I'm saying the way you have this conversation is not by attacking random Jews in the street
No,
and
sure.
calling them out for their Zionism, but you do start with having the grander conversation of like what Zionism is. Do you support those who support Zionism, right? And when you start with the politicians, when you start by making your voice heard, right, then you can trickle down into having you're then going to start having more debates on like should Jews be Zionists, right? And then you have this grander conversation and it trickles down. I don't think you're going to go around harassing people. I don't think that's going to work.
But wait. I feel like you kind of avoided my question because, like, again, every time you answer the question, you talk
Trickle
about
down.
very fair responsibility, but like one that
I think it
we're
ends
all
up trickling
responsible for.
down to the community that it started with, right? So you start by saying like right now people are doing the like not advocating for AIPAC funded politicians. right?
Totally.
The
yeah.
conversation starts there. It's going to trickle down eventually when it starts at the grander scheme. It eventually trickles down into the personal and the social, right? And then you'll start having more of these debates, right, where it's like smaller panels of people discussing like how to handle this, and then it becomes a conversation of like should Jews support Zionism? And then
but
no
I
one
think,
should
but
support
hold on, but
Zionism.
really quickly. So to be clear,
I don't
like Hunter, I think that. So I'm going to address what I think you're saying directly.
Yeah.
So my reading of this article is it's totally an internal prescription and internal critique, right? So she says at the start, she says I'm talking to Jews now, right? So she says explicitly she's talking to Jews, and I agree. The language in this article is very fucked, right? Not very productive, I think. But she's talking to her community and not to people on the outside. So what she's advocating for explicitly is for Jews, specifically Jews, to call out what she thinks is an evil ideology within her community. I used the example of like Nazism earlier, right? If we have some kind of poll that said like 90% of white people were Nazis, I think it'd be fair to say, hey, if you're a white person, you're probably interacting with Nazis, and in your community is probably enabling Nazism. If we were to like just swap it in for Zionism, right? They're sending their kids off to Hitler Youth Camp. They're sending money to Nazi settlements, et cetera, et cetera.
Genuine
so
question.
if this is happening within your community, you have a responsibility to call it out, or you're complicit. That's what she's saying.
Here's where I feel like we're being a little bit dishonest here, where we're saying this is an internal critique. I think that that's a little bit dishonest because, Doobie, are you Jewish?
She published it.
1.1%. Okay.
Shut up. You're not Jewish. You're not Jewish.
I'm claiming it. I'm claiming it. It'd be enough for Hitler. Fuck you guys.
It's not really her fault that Prime took her article, put a bunch of non-Jews on it, and
No.
then
But you should be
right?
aware of your.
She
You should be
published it to a
aware of your
non-Jewish
audience.
I
Exactly.
agree with you.
That's why I said
Hunter,
you didn't
but
hang it
there's
in a synagogue. I said that, and everyone laughed at me. But I'm like, she didn't hang it in a synagogue. She posted
But
this
Hunter, there's
online.
no,
Wait,
like-
hold on.
It would have been fucked up even if she hung it in a synagogue, just to be clear.
I agree, but like,
No,
for-
Yeah, it would.
Then you're
But
making
at
a
least it's-
disingenuous argument.
Yeah. So
No,
Wrong.
wrong. I'm not making a disingenuous argument. I think it would be fucked, but at least that is an internal conversation.
Right.
This,
But
I'm
Hunter,
saying,
there's no.
I'm saying this is
message
not an
service
internal
that only
conversation.
Jews have access to. So she has to put it up publicly on the platform she has.
No. But
Hopefully
it's
they-
not.
they
Wait, hold
explain
on.
the Jewish community.
Hold on. It didn't start the conversation by saying, "Hey, by the way, this is just for the Jews. This is like genuinely. Don't read this." And they use like it's full of Yiddish. It's full of like conversations about
silly.
like what?
It's silly, right? So we never have this critique. Hold on, we never have this critique of black people, right?
Because
So-
I would
and-
never say they're having
hold
a
on.
solely internal conversation.
But hold on,
Go ahead.
but wait, hold on. But
Sorry.
I think I heard this from you, Prime, where it's like,
Mm.
oh yeah, this is like fuck, it's like inside talk, or it's like a talk that we have with ourselves. It's not something that the white community realizing
Mm. Yeah.
business
It's
is
an
talking about,
in-group-
right? So if we're
it's
talking
a-
about like cultural issues within sections of our community, that is an in-group conversation white people don't really have anything to say about this, right? I
Mm.
heard that a lot from BAM,
Yeah.
from Gambit, etc. Right?
Yeah.
I disagree with that, right? Because we're not like atomized communities; we all impact each other. So I think it's totally reasonable for everybody to have some kind of some kind of input. But there's no real way to like have those conversations in a way that only is going to be like
They're not going to be completely insulated.
Hold on,
yeah,
hold on,
there's
hold
no
on,
way
hold
to
on,
do that.
hold on.
Like,
I solved it. I solved it. Okay, you agree that there's a language game happening here. That's a little linguistic term for having some sort of like in-group conversation.
Yeah.
What community is having that type of rhetoric? Because it's not the Jewish community. It's the It's the pro-Palestine community. She's using
that a
rhetoric
problem?
that's no. There's no problem
This-
with it, but it's not an internal. It's not an internal conversation just between Jews anymore. It's an internal conversation
What?
between pro-Palestinian communities.
But how do you? Okay, so
Jews
how?
can be pro-Palestinian.
What? No, I'm not saying
No, no.
what. Why are
No,
you
I
taking
think I
my
think I understand
conversation
what you're saying. No, I think what you understand. What
get
you're
what you're
saying is
saying.
that like if so what I was saying to Lactoid previously is that hey, like like it seems like the references she's making and the way her perspective seems to be of a like highly left individual.
No, but she's also signaling towards
anti-Zionist
that.
who yeah, hold on. I'm trying to help you out here.
Sure.
That a highly left individual who has some extreme anti-Zionist takes, right? And then within that circle, right, like this is how like they converse with each other, right? So like that is an in group, right? But that's not necessarily the Jewish community, right? There are many people within that in group, but and some of them are Jews, but that's not necessarily the Jewish community. But then I think you're saying that now we're sneaking in the rest of the Jewish community by saying, also this is an in group between Jewish Americans as a whole, when clearly that's not the case, because like you're saying, so many of them are Zionist, right? They wouldn't even have that language, right? If you don't have that language, if Lacto doesn't have that language, then the larger Jewish American community wouldn't have that language either.
Right.
Is that what you're saying?
Yep.
Yeah. Katie, you want to try to tackle that?
Well,
Or
not
whatever you wanna
really,
say,
but I
fine.
could. Like,
Why not?
You don't have to.
no, I will. It kind of implies that, like, what is the implication of that? Now,
The implication
I'm
is-
actually no.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry. I thought that
I'm
was a
trying-
question. My bad.
Sorry, no. I am going to try to be productive. This is emotional for me. I'm sure this can't be for you as well, but I believe in this for a second. Okay.
Okay.
For me, what you're saying is we're kind of assuming that there's like a right way to speak within like the Jewish community. Like you said, it could have been in Yiddish or something. Like she's posting it on the internet because it turns out that not all Jewish people know each other. Now, I will say this. If you want to talk about how you have an issue that the article that non-Jews can see it, then that's one thing, and I can't address that because I didn't make that choice, right?
Okay.
But I make conversations where I'm addressing the Jewish community and I say not the same things, but my opinion, right? And there is a non-Jewish audience listening to that. But what I'm hearing from you is that's like the argument, well, it's not really tailored to the Jewish community. It's like, well, what? Because she's using leftist language or
No, could I-
pro-Palestinian language? Yeah.
Yeah, here's really what I'm trying to say. I think really at the core of it, I'm saying if you're speaking on a public forum, you should probably be aware that your audience could be anyone.
Yes.
Your audience doesn't necessarily it's not going to be necessarily Jewish. It's not going to be necessarily pro-Palestine. It could be some psycho like Doobie or some psycho like Connor. You know, it could be a lot of different psychos.
Or Lactoid. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Or Ali. Yeah.
Some psychos here. I resist this rhetoric that this is an in-group conversation. I feel like in-group conversations cannot happen on the internet, or they can only happen in chat rooms. An in-group conversation implies that like you as an author, if you're not having a conversation in a chat room and you're aware that other people could hear it, should probably tailor and understand that people outside of your bubble will interact with it, and you should accommodate for that. or maybe not accommodate it, but you should not be so aggressive in your language that you could be so easily willfully misunderstood.
I completely agree with you. Okay,
Okay.
I completely agree.
Can
I
can
don't
step in
agree
real
with
quick?
you.
I have to bounce first, guys. Really appreciate
Have a
it.
good one.
Yeah,
You got a
I gotta
dance
go
party
soon.
looming. Take care,
Hell
Lachlan.
yeah.
What's up?
I said you got a dance party waiting for you. I'm sure.
Hell yeah, yeah. I'll make sure to actually leave the room this time. Don't worry.
No, don't. I
TV.
want to see the
Let's
dancing.
go
We want to see the
TV.
dancing.
Let's do it, TV. Do it.
These fuckers right here. These fuckers right here. All right, I appreciate y'all so much. Thanks for streaming. Well, thank you, Ty Guy. I appreciate that a whole bunch. We're gonna go ahead and raid on out into Prime. Let me just make sure I'm not actually. Am I actually off?
I really have an inside
Yes,
conversation.
I'm off. All right. All right. Fun times, fun times. Good conversations. Hopefully I was reasonable. Hopefully, I think I was. Usual. All right. Raid Prime guys. Good night, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode of Lactoid TV. And I'll catch you guys next time. We got some good numbers tonight. I like it. All right, peace.